Chapter 1532. From the 5th round onwards, the survival rate of the Dragon God Valley increased. Although the Heavenly God Sect, Empyrean Demon Sect, and Desire Poison Sect continued to send out their experts to challenge the weaker members of the Dragon God Valley, it became more difficult to kill them. In the 5th round, one person managed to escape from the fighting stage, saving his life. The other two had almost escaped from the fighting stage, but they were killed in the end. In this round, the Dragon God Valley had lost 2 and lost 2. There were 17 people left. No one challenged Lu Ming in this round. It seemed that they were not confident and wanted to wait until the end of the round. In the 6th round, the Divine Dragon Valley lost again, but they managed to keep their lives. Although the Divine Celestial Sect and the other 2 sects wanted to kill the Divine Dragon Valley's people, they were all pushed off the battle stage. The atmosphere in the Dragon God Valley finally became better. After this round, there were 13 people left in the Dragon God Valley. Other than the Life and Death Sword faction, the Dragon God Valley had the least number of people left. This was only the 6th round, and most of the other sects still had around 30 people left. Some of the smaller sects had around 20 people left, while others had close to 30. The Heavenly God Sect and Empyrean Demon Sect had around 30 people left. Then 2 more rounds passed. There were only 5 people left in the Dragon God Valley. They were Lu Ming, Han Sun, Tianquo, Xuaningxin, and Ziyu. After so many rounds, no one had challenged Tianquo and Xuaningxin. In the battle 10 days ago, Tianquo and Xuaningxin had displayed their terrifying battle prowess. To be able to fight against Mo He, Wu Qindu, and other geniuses, their battle prowess was incomparably strong. It was normal that they had not been challenged before. At this point, the 8th round had passed. From the 9th round onwards, the Heavenly God Sect's faces started to turn sour. The remaining 5 people from the Dragon God Valley were not weak. They did not know who to challenge. I'll go and kill Lu Ming. A young man in the 6th layer of the Martial Royal Realm stepped out and flew onto the fighting stage. Lu Ming, come out. The young man in the peak 6th layer of the Martial Royal Realm condensed a spear of divine punishment and pointed it at Lu Ming. That's what I want. Lu Ming smiled coldly. He took a step forward and landed on the fighting ring. Buzz, buzz, boom. The Heavenly God Sect's genius emitted a light screen from his body. Even the armor of an emperor's spiritual weapon appeared. Evidently, that person had learned his lesson. From the very start, he had set up layers of defenses around himself. He's much more careful now, but he's still going to die. Lu Ming said. Shameless boasting. You're the one who's going to die. Kill. The Heavenly Divinity Sect's genius shouted. He took a step forward and turned into a ray of sacred light, rushing towards Lu Ming. Whoosh. The spear of divine retribution streaked across the void, emitting a terrifying whistling sound. Boom. Lu Ming punched out, colliding with the spear of divine punishment. With a loud explosion, Lu Ming remained motionless, while the other party retreated several steps. Your combat strength is just SOSO. Lu Ming smiled faintly. I'm not done yet. The other party snapped furiously as a milky white book flew out from his forehead. The book was an emperor's spiritual weapon. The book flipped open, emitting rays of white light that landed on the figure of the Heavenly Divinity Sect's genius. His aura became stronger. A long spear appeared in his hand, which was milky white in color. He lashed out with the spear, which was stronger than before. Boom, boom. Lu Ming threw out a few punches in succession. Terrifying fist intense swept across the void, aiming at his opponent. His opponent kept lashing out with his spear, which transformed into terrifying spears of divine punishment that collided with Lu Ming's fist intense. Terrifying explosions took place on the fighting stage. In the blink of an eye, the two had exchanged more than 10 blows. That Lu Ming's strength is incredible. He's only a peak 4th layer Martial Dominator Realm cultivator, yet he's able to fight against a peak 6th layer Martial Dominator Realm genius. It's indeed terrifying, but Lu Ming's cultivation is 2 layers lower than his. I'm sure he's going to lose. Not necessarily. The person from the Heavenly Divinity Sect only has a middle-tier earthly astral body, while Lu Ming has a superior-tier earthly astral body. The crowd discussed among themselves. Die. The strength of the genius from the Heavenly Divinity Sect became even more ferocious as he continued to attack Lu Ming. Is this your limit? Let's end this then. Lu Ming said in a cold tone. Boom. It was as if Lu Ming's fist intent could penetrate the void, shattering the spears of divine punishment that the genius from the Heavenly Divinity Sect had thrown out. Bang. Then Lu Ming took a step forward and threw a punch that destroyed everything. He landed a heavy blow on the other party's chest. The force surged and broke through several layers of the other party's defense, bombarding the other party's armor. The armor vibrated as the genius from the heavenly divinity sect was sent flying. He slid on the fighting ring for a long distance and spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. Lu Ming had not used his full strength just now. Now Lu Ming unleashed his full strength. Although his opponent's cultivation was 2 layers higher than his, Lu Ming's astral body and chaotic domain were much stronger than his opponent's astral body and chaotic domain. He was able to make up for the difference between their cultivation levels. The genius from the heavenly divinity sect was furious. He did not expect Lu Ming to be so powerful. Lu Ming took a step forward and closed in on his opponent. I have an emperor spiritual weapon to protect me. You can't kill me. The genius from the heavenly divinity sect roared and retreated quickly. Is that so? Lu Ming sneered as an emperor spiritual weapon spear appeared in his hand. Swoosh. The long spear pierced towards his opponent. 13th strike. The terrifying spear radiance shattered his opponent's counterattack and pierced his armor. It's useless, his opponent shouted. However, in the next moment, his face changed drastically and became filled with fear. At the tip of Lu Ming's long spear, 13 layers of attack power were instantly stacked and erupting with terrifying penetrating power. The terrifying penetrative power directly pierced through the other party's spiritual emperor armor. The long spear pierced through the other party's heart. Then the long spear vibrated and the land of destruction exploded. His opponent's spiritual deity disappeared before he could escape. The genius from the heavenly divinity sect was dead. His gasps could be heard from the crowd. A genius who had cultivated a medium earth spiritual body and was at the peak of the 6th layer martial royal realm was killed by Lu Ming. The genius from the heavenly divinity sect wanted to kill Lu Ming, but he was killed by Lu Ming again. This level of prodigy was considered the pinnacle of existence among all the participants of the treasure peddling meeting, except for the prodigies who had cultivated the superior earth spiritual body. However, a superior earth spiritual body was extremely rare. There were not many of them in the entire Zhangzhou. Of the 13 top sects in the treasure sorting meeting, each sect had at most 1 or 2 superior earth spiritual bodies. Some sects did not even have one. It could be said that Lu Ming's combat strength was one of the top geniuses in the treasure sorting meeting. Chapter 1533. Good job. Tian Shui yelled excitedly. So did the people from Dragon God Valley. The Celestial Divinity sect had lost 3 level 6 martial royal realm geniuses. Lu Ming had killed 2 and Luo Xiang had killed 1. Damn it. Lu Ming deserves to die. Someone from the Celestial Divinity sect shouted angrily. There weren't many geniuses with medium earth spiritual bodies in the Celestial Divinity sect. Now that Lu Ming had killed several of them, it was a great loss. Lu Ming put away his spoils and returned to the platform. Next, it was the Sky Demon sect's turn. I'll go. Someone from the Sky Demon sect stepped forward. It's him, Mo He. Mo He is going to fight personally. Who will he challenge? Many people were shocked. Mo He was a top genius in the Sky Demon sect. He had a high earth spiritual body and was at the peak of level 6 martial royal realm. He had a high chance of becoming one of the top 10 geniuses in the Tsang prefecture. The top 10 geniuses of the Tsang prefecture all had high earth spiritual bodies. In theory, anyone who cultivated a high earth spiritual body would have a chance of becoming one of the top 10 geniuses. Of course, it was just a chance. Even if one had a high earth spiritual body and had the same cultivation, there would be differences in combat strength. For example, the strength of one's domain martial technique, one's combat strength, and various secret techniques would determine one's combat strength. Mo He's gaze landed on the 5 people from the Divine Dragon Valley. His gaze swept across them before finally landing on Ziyu. I knew he would challenge me. Ziyu said with a smile. Ziyu, if you can't beat him, get off the platform and save your life. Han Sun warned. Although Ziyu's combat strength was strong, he didn't have a high earth spiritual body and was no match for Mo He. I know. Don't worry. Ziyu stepped onto the platform. Without further ado, the battle began. Ziyu was a genius from Purple Dragon Valley. He cultivated the Purple Dragon Battle Body, which was a medium earth spiritual body. His domain had reached the peak of level 7 and his domain martial technique had reached the peak. His combat strength was astonishing. Although Ziyu's spiritual body was inferior to Mo He's spiritual body, the difference in their combat strength was not too great. It was impossible for Mo He to kill Ziyu in a short period of time. The two exchanged close to 100 moves before Ziyu lost and was blasted off the battle stage. Ziyu had failed. There were only 4 people left in the Dragon God Valley. The challenges continued and soon, it was the Desire Poison sect's turn. The leader of the Desire Poison sect looked at the 4 from the Dragon God Valley and hesitated. None of the remaining 4 from Dragon God Valley were simple. If they wanted to send someone to fight, they could only send someone with an earthly spiritual body, a peak 6th layer Martial Emperor Realm cultivator. Moreover, they wouldn't be able to kill Lu Ming and the others. Even if they could defeat one of Lu Ming's group, they would be injured, which would be disadvantageous for them in the following battles. In the end, the Desire Poison sect sent out a weakling. For the first time, they didn't challenge the Dragon God Valley but another sect. The Heavenly God sect's leader's face darkened. However, he knew that the Heavenly God sect, the Sky Universe Demon sect and the Desire Poison sect had teamed up to deal with the Dragon God Valley. However, the 3 sects all wanted the final victory. If they sent out their best geniuses now, both sides would be injured and it would be disadvantageous for them in the following battles. After the Desire Poison sect, the 9 Heaven Sword sect sent someone to fight. Soon, it was the Dragon God Valley's turn. A cold killing intent flashed in Han Sun's eyes as he said, "Now let's start the counterattack. Tian Shui, you go." "Good, haha, it's finally my turn." Tian Shui laughed. He was about to explode from holding back. Now it was finally his turn. Boom. Tian Shui landed on the battle stage and his eyes fell on a young man from the Heavenly God sect. He shouted, "You come down and die. Do you think I'm afraid of you?" The young man from the Heavenly God sect jumped onto the battle stage and attacked Tian Shui. "Go to hell." Tian Shui roared. He was like a mad dragon as he swung his giant hammer at his opponent, ignoring his opponent's attack and defense. Boom. The young man from the Heavenly God sect screamed in pain as he was smashed into a pile of meat by Tian Shui's hammer. "Die, die." Skyhammer roared. His huge hammer danced in the air, causing the void to rumble. His eyes were filled with malevolent killing intent. Good, good kill. The disciples of the Dragon God Valley cheered happily. Han Sun and Lu Ming revealed a cold smile on their faces. The Dragon God Valley's counterattack was finally going to start. This was Lu Ming's plan. First, protect the people, then counterattack. This was to preserve the lives of the Dragon God Valley's disciples and leave the strongest one alive. At the beginning, many people were killed. They had no choice but to do so. If they didn't do so, the weaker disciples would all die. Saving the counterattack for the last was the only way to preserve the lives of the Dragon God Valley's disciples. The disciples of the Heavenly God sect gritted their teeth in anger. The people from the other sects were deep in thought. They seemed to have thought of something. Skyhammer returned to the platform. After that, another 3 matches were held. This round ended and the 10th round began. It was the Heavenly God sect's turn to challenge again. At this moment, everyone's eyes were on the Heavenly God sect. How would the Heavenly God sect fight? Would they continue to challenge the Dragon God Valley? Who would they send? At this moment, the leader of the Heavenly God sect looked gloomy and hesitant. He was in a difficult situation. The remaining 4 from the Dragon God Valley had terrifying combat strength. If he were to send someone to challenge them, he would definitely send the strongest Sky Prides. Sending the others would only be sending them to their deaths. Moreover, it wouldn't be easy to defeat Lu Ming, Tian Shui, and the others. Even if they could win, they would definitely be injured and their combat strength would be greatly reduced. If the Heavenly God sect's strongest cultivators were injured, the other sect's strongest cultivators would definitely not let go of this opportunity. They would challenge the Heavenly God sect's strongest cultivators. In this way, the Heavenly God sect's strongest cultivators would probably be eliminated. Without their strongest cultivators, the Heavenly God sect might not even be able to enter the top 10. The Heavenly God sect was now in a passive position. The Sky Prides of the other sects had obviously thought of this and were looking forward to it. How could this be? The leader of the Heavenly God sect clenched his fists tightly. Similarly, the leaders of the Sky Universe Demon sect and Desire Poison sect felt the same. Hey, are you guys going to challenge them or not? Don't dawdle and waste other people's time. Lu Ming said calmly as if he was waiting for the Heavenly God sect's challenge. Lu Ming. Many disciples of the Heavenly God sect gritted their teeth and glared at Lu Ming. However, they definitely wouldn't dare to challenge Lu Ming. They would only be courting death. Brother Wu, brother demon. At this moment, the leader of the Heavenly God sect sent a message to the leaders of the Sky Universe Demon sect and Desire Poison sect. How about this? Let's put the Dragon God Valley aside and eliminate the weakest sects first. Then we'll gather our strength to deal with the Dragon God Valley. What do you think? Alright, I agree. Chapter 1534. The leaders of the Heavenly Divinity Sect, Empyrean Demon Sect, and Desire Poison Sect discussed and decided to eliminate the weakest sects before joining forces to deal with Lu Ming and the others from the Divine Dragon Valley. They had no choice but to do so. If they went all out to deal with Lu Ming and the rest, the other sects would most likely take advantage of them. In that case, they might not even be able to enter the top 10 and participate in this year's treasure exhibition. They could not accept that no matter what. If they eliminated the weakest sects, they would at least be able to enter the top 10 and participate in the treasure sorting meeting. They would then deal with Lu Ming and the others after they entered the top 10. That was their plan. Sure enough, the Heavenly Divinity Sect sent out a LV5 Martial Royal to challenge a LV4 Martial Royal from the Piyuan family. The Piyuan family was one of the weakest forces. It seems like the Heavenly Divinity Sect is afraid. Why don't you dare to challenge my junior brothers from the Divine Dragon Valley? LV7 Martial Royal from the Divine Dragon Valley said as he looked at the Heavenly Divinity Sect with disdain. They had been mocked by the Heavenly Divinity Sect, saying that they would definitely not be able to participate in the treasure sorting meeting. Now they could finally fight back. What's the rush? That's right. The best part is yet to come. The Heavenly Divinity Sect's LV7 Martial Royal and above snorted. Hansun, that's a good plan. An old voice came from a pavilion. It was the Saint Realm Elder of the Divine Dragon Valley. Elder, this plan was proposed by junior brother Lu Ming. Han Sun bowed to the pavilion and said, Not bad. Continue to work hard. Make those sects pay a price. Otherwise, do you think that the Divine Dragon Valley is easy to bully? The Saint Realm Elder of the Divine Dragon Valley continued. Don't worry, Elder. I guarantee that you'll be satisfied. Lu Ming said with a smile. At that moment, the battle had already begun. The Heavenly Divinity Sect's genius defeated the Piyuan family's genius easily. Then it was the Heavenly Divinity Sect's turn. They also sent out an expert to challenge the Piyuan family and defeated them easily. When it was the Desire Poison Sect's turn, they would also challenge the Piyuan family. Everyone understood that the three great sects of the Heavenly God Sect were going to join hands to eliminate the weaker sections. The Piyuan family was helpless. They couldn't even resist. This time, the Piyuan clan didn't have anyone with a spiritual body who had reached the top of the 6th Huangqi layer. They only had one spiritual body, so the cultivators of the 4th Huangqi layer couldn't fight back. Soon it was Dragon God Valley's turn. This time, Xuaningxin had challenged the Heavenly God Sect to a duel, and had killed a 6th layer martial dominator realm genius of the Heavenly God Sect, causing the crowd of the Heavenly God Sect to wear unpleasant expressions. Previously, they had hunted down the disciples of the Dragon God Valley. They were so arrogant that the Dragon God Valley could hardly retaliate. But now the people of Dragon God Valley were hunting them down, and they couldn't fight back. They were so depressed that they wanted to die. In the 11th round, the Heavenly God Sect, Sky Universe Demon Sect, and Desire Poison Sect continued to challenge the Piyuan family. When it was Dragon God Valley's turn, it was finally Han Sun's turn. Han Sun also challenged a 6th layer martial dominator realm genius of the Heavenly God Sect. Han Sun had a spiritual body, and his cultivation was at the peak of the 6th Huangqi layer. He was extremely powerful, and his opponent couldn't even rush down the fighting stage. He was easily killed by Han Sun. The Heavenly God Sect could only endure. They had to endure until 3 other sects were eliminated, and then they would fight back. In the 12th round, the 3 great sects of the Heavenly God Sect continued to challenge the Piyuan clan. Because there were other sects challenging the Piyuan clan only had a few people left. They were doomed to be eliminated. This round it was finally Lu Ming's turn. Whoosh. Lu Ming stepped forward and appeared on the fighting stage. He looked at the Heavenly God Sect. The crowd wasn't surprised at all. Dragon God Valley had come to take revenge by killing the people of the Heavenly God Sect. When Lu Ming looked at the remaining geniuses of the Heavenly God Sect, their faces changed drastically. A few of the 6th layer martial dominators turned pale. In the end, Lu Ming's eyes fell on a white-haired young man. You come down and die. Lu Ming said coldly. What? Lu Ming is going to challenge by MO. The crowd was shocked. This is going to be interesting. It's going to be exciting. Indeed. I didn't expect that Lu Ming would challenge by MO now. In recent years there have been many geniuses in the Celestial Sect. There are many powerful people. It is said that there are 3 superior grade Earth spirit bodies who are attending the treasure sorting meeting. BMO is one of them. That's right. BMO is one of the top experts in the treasure sorting meeting. Many people spoke excitedly. The battle between the top experts was about to begin. Junior brother Lu Ming. Han Sun's eyes lit up. Lu Ming's action was out of his expectation. He thought that Lu Ming would challenge an ordinary 6th-layer martial dominator. "You want to challenge me?" Bai Mo said coldly as killing intent surged from his body. "That's right," Lu Ming said. "Well, I wanted to kill you later. Since you're in a hurry to die, I'll send you on your way first," Bai Mo said coldly. His body moved and he appeared in the fighting ring, facing Lu Ming. "Is that so? The Heavenly God sect will be heartbroken if I kill you." Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. White energy cut. At this moment, Bai Mo moved. A snow-white sword gleam slashed toward Lu Ming at an astonishing speed. Before the sword arrived, the sharp intent pierced the air and produced a whistling sound. Not everyone in the Heavenly God sect practiced the divine skill. Many of them practiced other skills. Bus. A sovereign spiritual weapon appeared in Lu Ming's hand. He shook the long spear and it turned into a spear radiance that pierced through the air. The spear radiance and the sword radiance collided and a dense force spread out in all directions. Lu Ming and Bai Mo were already engaged in a fierce battle. Bai Mo's realm was very special. It was a vast expanse of white and every ray of white radiance was a ray of sword chi. Coupled with Bai Mo's realm martial technique, its power was terrifying. The dense sword radiance pierced towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming used the 13 strikes. His long spear was like a dragon, sweeping across the void. Each strike contained 13 rays of attack power. The endless sword radiance was destroyed by the long spear and dissipated in the air. The two figures intertwined on the fighting ring and collided with each other from time to time. In the blink of an eye, the two had exchanged more than 50 blows. Divine Gate Seal. In the process of the battle, Lu Ming used the 9 seals of the Divine Gate. Suddenly, 6 sealed doors appeared and emitted rays of light to seal Bai Mo. Bai Mo's pupils contracted and he shouted, "God Bai, Sword Shadow." Bai Mo's body emitted a white light like a sword. In a flash, he rushed out of the 9 seals of the Divine Gate. What a wonderful spiritual body. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Chapter 1535. He could not help but admit that the upper earthly spiritual body was extremely talented and powerful. Bai Mo's strength was absolutely shocking. With his cultivation of the peak 6th-layer martial dominator realm, he could easily kill an 8th-layer martial dominator realm expert. Divine White Sword Formation. Bai Mo uttered a roar as he charged out from the 9 seals of the God Gate. His eyes turned completely white as strange runes appeared in them. Bus. In the sky, densely packed patterns suddenly appeared, like a huge white array formation. Following this, the same runes appeared under Lu Ming's feet, which looked like a giant formation. They surrounded Lu Ming from above and below. This is not a formation, but a secret technique of the spiritual body. Lu Ming was startled. Some powerful spiritual bodies were able to produce secret techniques of the spiritual body. In other words, they were brought along by the bloodline. For example, Lu Ming's devouring force was brought along by the bloodline of the 9 dragons. Even after refining the divine dragon flesh, it still retained the devouring force. Other bloodlines might also retain some powerful secret techniques after transforming into the spiritual body. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Countless sword intents were emitted from the 2 runes and fired toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming had no way to retreat in all directions. Wind Element Technique. Lu Ming's heart shuddered as a blue force from the air-frozen bead entered Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming executed the Wind Element Technique, causing his figure to turn into a breeze and float in the air. Lu Ming's figure swayed, leaving behind a string of afterimages. He flashed among the infinite sword auras, avoiding the sword auras. However, there were too many sword intents. In such a narrow space, Lu Ming could not dodge them all regardless of how fast his movement was. Whoosh! A sharp sword intent pierced toward Lu Ming's chest. Lu Ming's body was covered with the primal chaos domain, resisting the sword chi. Sizzling sounds could be heard as the sword chi pierced through the primal chaos domain and stabbed into Lu Ming's chest. It wasn't that the chaotic domain wasn't strong. First, the sword chi was too terrifying. Second, Lu Ming's chaotic domain was too weak. It was only level 4. At least for Bai Mo, his level was too low so he couldn't defend against it. If it was a level 5 chaotic domain, the sword chi would not have been able to break through its defenses. However, the primal chaos domain had greatly weakened the power of the sword chi. At that instant, a dragon's roar could be heard from Lu Ming's body as a layer of dragon scales appeared on his body. Clang. The sword chi struck the dragon scales, causing sparks to fly. The sword chi collapsed, and the dragon scales on Lu Ming's chest were slightly damaged, revealing a trace of blood. What terrifying sword chi! Lu Ming's heart stirred. Even an 8th-layer martial dominator realm cultivator would be slain by the sword intent from the two patterns. Whoosh, whoosh. More energy poured into the air-frozen pearl. Lu Ming activated the wind origin skill to the maximum and his speed increased. Lu Ming's figure was everywhere in the sky. However, Lu Ming couldn't rush out of the two patterns because the two patterns had covered the entire fighting ring. If he rushed out of the pattern, it would mean that he had rushed out of the fighting ring. In that case, Lu Ming would lose this round. If it had been any other place, Lu Ming would have rushed out long ago. Haha, Lu Ming is doomed to die under Senior Brother by Mo's White God Sword Array. That's right. Senior Brother by Mo's Eye technique has killed many high-level martial dominators. Once one is trapped in it, one will die unless one's cultivation is much higher than his. Humph, Lu Ming actually took the initiative to challenge Senior Brother by Mo. He's courting death. Seeing that Lu Ming was in danger, the disciples of the Celestial Sect were in a good mood. They couldn't help but mock and ridicule him. On the other hand, Tian Shui and Xuaningxin were worried. In the fighting ring, Bai Mo's eyes had turned pure white. There were lines on his pupils that were exactly the same as the two patterns. Bai Mo stepped on the void and landed on the pattern above. His territory seemed to have merged with the pattern. Suddenly, the pattern became even more terrifying. The sword chi whistled and its speed increased greatly. Lu Ming, today is the day you die. Bai Mo said coldly. It's too early for you to be happy. Lu Ming said indifferently. At the same time, Lu Ming continued to form seals with his hands. 9 seals of the Holy Gate. A deep voice could be heard as 6 sealed doors appeared. However, this time the sealed doors were not facing Bai Mo, but Lu Ming himself. The 6 sealed doors floated around Lu Ming and shone brightly. The sword chi that was aimed at Lu Ming was suppressed by the power of the sealed doors and stopped in the air. 9 dragons stomping the sky. Following that, Lu Ming took 9 consecutive steps. The power of the 9 dragons' sky-stomping steps erupted, dispersing the sword aura below him. With the help of this force, Lu Ming's figure soared into the sky. Unknowingly, the Emperor's spiritual weapon Long Spear appeared in his hands again. He merged with the holy spiritual weapon and unleashed the 13 strikes. He shot up into the sky and attacked by a Mo swoosh, swoosh. In the process of shooting up into the sky, 2 black holy swords appeared in Lu Ming's eyes. Holy Sword Skill. Holy Sword Skill was a spiritual attack. It broke through Bai Mo's pattern and rushed into Bai Mo's body. At that moment, Bai Mo screamed in pain. It was as if his soul was being torn apart. As a martial emperor's cultivation increased, his spiritual spirit would become stronger and stronger. At the same time, his soul would become stronger as well. The higher the cultivation level, the stronger the spiritual strength. Lu Ming's soul had been refined by the alchemy Calamity Bell. His spiritual strength was dozens of times stronger than a martial artist of the same level. During this period of time, he had been cultivating the Holy Sword skill and his spiritual strength had become stronger. If Lu Ming was facing a martial artist of the same level, Lu Ming would be able to destroy his soul with the Holy Sword skill. Even a genius like Bai Mo, whose cultivation level was 2 levels higher than Lu Ming's, felt as if his soul was about to be torn apart. At that moment, the 2 patterns under Bai Mo's feet dimmed. Bam! Lu Ming broke through the patterns and pierced Bai Mo's body with his sharp spear. Bai Mo screamed in agony. Then, under Lu Ming's destructive power, his body and soul were destroyed. Bai Mo was dead. At that moment, there was a sudden silence around the fighting ring. Almost everyone opened their eyes wide and looked at the fighting ring in shock. Just a moment ago, Lu Ming had been completely suppressed and his life was in danger. However, in the next moment the situation had been reversed. Lu Ming had killed Bai Mo with 1 blow. The change had happened so quickly that no one could react. Bai Mo had been killed and the patterns on the fighting ring had disappeared. Bai Mo's body fell heavily on the fighting ring and it had awakened everyone. There was an uproar at the scene. Senior Brother Bai Mo. Junior Brother Bai Mo, Lu Ming, you deserve to die. Angry shouts could be heard from the divine sect's side. Bai Mo had a superior earth spiritual body. There were not many geniuses like him in the divine sect. Every one of them had the potential to become one of the top 10 geniuses in the Tsang state. In the future they would have a great chance to become a martial sage. They might even have a chance to become a supreme sage. To a sect, each of these geniuses was an immeasurable amount of wealth. Chapter 1536. On the other hand, the disciples of the Dragon God Valley were very excited. Good job. Isn't the Heavenly God sect arrogant? That's the way to kill them. Lu Ming is invincible. Many people shouted. Chiu Yingying, Chiu Hao, and the others who were close to Lu Ming were so excited that their faces turned red. Previously, many disciples of the Dragon God Valley had been killed. The disciples of the Dragon God Valley had nowhere to vent their anger and frustration. Now they had vented all their anger. A genius with a superior earth spiritual body was more valuable than all the disciples of the Dragon God Valley combined. The Heavenly God sect had only sent 3 such geniuses to participate in the small meeting. Now one of them had died. It was a great loss. Trash. Lu Ming said coldly in the fighting ring. He took Bai Mo's storage ring with his hand. Lu Ming, I'll kill you. You're dead. Some geniuses of the 7th layer martial royal realm and above shouted angrily in the stands. What? Disciples below the 7th layer can't do it. Do you want to fight? The disciples of the 7th layer martial royal realm and above said coldly in the stands. The disciples of the Heavenly God sect looked even more upset. Lu Ming's strength has reached this level? Zi Wuji said in the Heavenly God sect stands. He clenched his fists tightly. Beside him sat Eden and Ji Hongqian. They were all from the continent of godly ruins. A few years ago they had competed with Lu Ming. Now Lu Ming had completely surpassed them. The strongest among them was Eden. However, he was only a 2nd layer martial emperor at the moment. Zi Wuji and Ji Hongqian were still stuck at the peak of the 1st layer martial royal realm. Eden and Ji Hongqian had a complicated look on their faces. Zi Wuji, Ji Hongqian, after this meeting I plan to leave the Heavenly God sect and train myself. What about you two? Eden sent a message to Zi Wuji and Ji Hongqian. The 3 of them were not on good terms in the continent of godly ruins. They were even competitors. However, after coming to the Yuan continent, the 3 of them became closer. After all, they came from the same place. You want to leave the Heavenly God sect? With your current cultivation, it's very dangerous for you to leave the sect and venture outside. Zi Wuji's face changed. Only danger is worth tempering. If I die on the road of tempering myself, I can only blame myself for not being skilled enough. But if we stay in the Heavenly Divine sect, outsiders like us won't be able to receive good training. We'll be no different from odd job workers. We'll never be able to catch up to Lu Ming. Eden seemed to have made up her mind. I'll go with you. Ji Hongqian pondered for a moment before he spoke. Zi Wuji's complexion changed for a while before he grit his teeth and said, I will continue to stay in the Heavenly God sect. All right. Eden nodded. Everyone had their own ambitions and he would not force them. On the fighting ring, Lu Ming put away the storage ring and returned to platform number 10 in a flash. Lu Ming, well done, haha. Tian Shui laughed loudly. Xuaningxin and Han Sun also smiled. The disciples of the Celestial God sect flew down to the fighting stage and took Bai Mo's body away. The competition continued. Soon this round ended and a new round began. It was the Heavenly God sect's turn to challenge again. The leader of the Heavenly God sect glanced coldly at Lu Ming and the others. But in the end he still sent people to challenge the Piyuan family. They could only endure for now. Now that they had lost a top expert, their strength was greatly reduced. They did not dare to fight with the Dragon God Valley now as they were afraid that they would not be able to enter the top 10. After the Heavenly God sect, the Heavenly Universe Demon sect and the Desire Poison sect followed in the footsteps of the Heavenly God sect to challenge the Piyuan family. When it was the Dragon God Valley's turn, Tian Shui challenged and killed a 6th rank expert. Just like that, a few rounds passed. The first sect to be eliminated was finally born. The Piyuan family was eliminated by the Heavenly God sect, the Heavenly Universe Demon sect, and the Desire Poison sect. Now there were only 12 sects left. The competition continued. When it was Lu Ming's turn to challenge, he did not challenge the top expert of the other side this time. Instead, he chose a weaker opponent. The competition went on one round after another. The atmosphere became more and more oppressive. The faces of the Heavenly God sect became more and more unpleasant. Every round, the Dragon God Valley would kill one of their sky prides. Those who were selected to participate in the small gathering were the top sky prides. The loss of each of them would cause the Heavenly God sect heartache. But now they were being killed one after another. When the 19th round ended, the Heavenly God sect only had 16 people left. The losses were beyond imagination. The Dragon God Valley still had 4 people left. At this time, another 2 weaker sects were eliminated. Finally, there were only 10 sects left. These 10 sects were equivalent to obtaining the right to participate in the treasure meeting. When the 20th round began, it was the Heavenly God sect's turn to challenge again. Brother Wu, Brother Mo, it's time to eliminate the Dragon God Valley. The leader of the Heavenly God sect said coldly. His voice was filled with endless coldness. Great, that's what I want. The Heavenly Universe Demon Sect's Emohi's eyes were especially cold. I've been waiting for this moment. The Desire Poison Sect's Wu Qindao's eyes were even colder. Poisonous insects crawled out of his body and swam around him. Brother Wang, why don't we work together to eliminate the Dragon God Valley? The leader of the Heavenly God Sect looked at the leader of the Nine Heaven Sword Sect. The Nine Heaven Sword Sect had a good relationship with the Heavenly God Sect. On the contrary, they didn't have a good relationship with the Dragon God Valley. He wanted the Nine Heaven Sword Sect to deal with Lu Ming and the others. The eyes of the Nine Heaven Sword Sect's leader flickered as he looked in the direction of the Dragon God Valley. He said with a hint of fear, "I won't get involved in your business." He didn't want to get involved in the conflict between the Heavenly God Sect, Heavenly Universe Demon Sect, Desire Poison Sect and the Dragon God Valley. Moreover, the Dragon God Valley wasn't easy to deal with. The leader of the Heavenly God Sect's face darkened when he heard the Nine Heaven Sword Sect's rejection. "Hey, are you guys going to challenge us or not? Stop wasting time." Tian Shui carried his hammer and looked at the Heavenly God Sect's direction. "Since you guys are in a hurry to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Luaning, you're up." The leader of the Heavenly God Sect said to a black-robed figure. "I've been waiting for this moment." The black-robed figure said coldly, causing the hearts of many Heavenly God Sect's disciples to tremble. They were well aware of how terrifying the black-robed chaos shadows was. Whoosh! A shadow flashed and Luaning appeared on the fighting stage. Many of the weaker ones didn't even see how he appeared on the fighting stage. "You come down." A pair of cold eyes stared at Tian Shui from within the black robe and said coldly, "Ah, it's finally my turn." Tian Shui laughed. "Tian Shui, you have to be careful. This person is one of the 3 superior earthly spiritual bodies of the Heavenly God Sect. He specializes in assassination techniques." Han Sun warned with a serious expression. "Don't worry. No matter what he's good at, I'll crush him with my hammer." Chapter 1537. Boom. Tian Shui, carrying a huge hammer the size of a water tank, rushed towards the battle stage like an iron tower, and landed on the battle stage, causing the entire stage to rumble. "Shorty, let Grandpa Skyhammer's hammer take care of you." Skyhammer brandished his water tank-like hammer, revealing a malevolent killing intent. "Die." At this moment, Wanning moved. His body was like a shadow as he suddenly appeared in front of Skyhammer. A thin and long sword stabbed towards Skyhammer's heart. Fast, accurate and ruthless, he was like a trained assassin. Boom. Skyhammer stomped on the ground and quickly retreated. Then he used his huge hammer to block in front of him. Clang. Wan Ying's sword hit Skyhammer's hammer and bounced back. Wan Ying used the force of the rebound to appear above Skyhammer's head. A terrifying sword light stabbed towards Skyhammer's head. Scram. Skyhammer roared and smashed his hammer towards Wan Ying's head. The hammer smashed down, creating a terrifying gust of wind that caused the sky to rumble. Clang. The hammer hit Wan Ying's sword. However, Wan Ying's body seemed to be weightless. He could appear wherever he wanted. Shwa. In the next moment, Wan Ying's body appeared behind Skyhammer and stabbed out with his sword. Skyhammer used his huge hammer to block Wan Ying's attack. However, Wan Ying's movement technique was too fast. He constantly moved around Skyhammer's body. His sword was like a poisonous snake, aiming for Skyhammer's vital points every time. Shadow Domain. On the stage, Lu Ming's eyebrows slightly furrowed. Wan Ying had comprehended the Shadow Domain. He moved like a shadow and cultivated the assassination sword Dao. His perfect combination made him shockingly powerful. He could usually kill cultivators stronger than him in one hit. It was obvious that the opponent had arranged for Wan Ying to challenge Skyhammer. Wan Ying could counter Skyhammer and prevent him from using his brute force. Scram, scram, scram. Skyhammer became more and more furious. He kept smashing his huge hammer, creating a terrifying gust of wind that swept in all directions. Whoosh. Suddenly, a sword light stabbed out from under Skyhammer's feet. This sword came without any warning, and it was inconceivably fast. This sword was actually thrust out from the Heavenly Hammer's own shadow. This exceeded everyone's expectations. Not good. Han Sun and Xuanixin exclaimed in shock. Tian Shui seemed to have also sensed the terrifying danger. With a roar, the muscles on his body squirmed and a layer of dragon scales appeared on the surface of his skin. At the same time, Tian Shui retreated rapidly to avoid the sword. The sword light continued to sweep across Tian Shui's leg. The dragon scales were cut open, revealing a deep wound. If Tian Shui had not reacted in time, one of his legs would have been chopped off. Whoosh. However, at this moment, under Tian Shui's feet, another sword light pierced towards Tian Shui from his own shadow. What a strange attack. Kill? Sky Hammer roared as the massive hammer in his hand smashed down heavily on his own shadow. Boom. The giant hammer directly smashed the sword light and smashed heavily on the shadow of the battle platform. The entire fighting ring shook violently. Not far away, Wan Ying's body trembled and he took a few steps back. It seemed that Sky Hammer's attack had hurt him. Whoosh. Next, Wan Ying's body flashed and disappeared. At this time, 8 more shadows appeared around the hammer. Every time the shadows appeared, a sword light would shoot out towards the hammer. Tian Shui used his massive hammer to block the enemy's attack. However, the attacks from all directions were too fast for Tian Shui to block all of them. Buff, buff. After a while, a few wounds appeared on Tian Shui's body. They were so deep that his bones could be seen. Haha, senior brother Wan Ying is going to win. A disciple from the Celestial God sect sneered. On the other hand, everyone from Dragon God Valley was watching carefully with a dark face. Barbaric Dragon Strike. Suddenly Tian Shui roared. He grabbed the handle of his massive hammer with both hands and swung it. His entire body spun rapidly. The handle of Tian Shui's hammer was extremely long. When he swung it, it was like a hurricane sweeping in all directions. Bam, bam, bam. The 8 shadows could not dodge at all. When they were swept by the hammer, they all collapsed. The 8 shadows collapsed and reformed into a single shadow. It was Wan Ying's shadow. At this moment, the black robe on Wan Ying's head was destroyed, revealing a dark and gloomy face. A trace of blood could be seen at the corner of his mouth. It was obvious that he was also injured by Tian Shui's attack. Shadow sword kill? A low voice came from Wan Ying's mouth. His body slowly became blurry and turned into a shadow. In the end, the shadow also disappeared. Wan Ying seemed to have completely disappeared from the fighting stage. Even his aura could not be sensed. A shadow-type spiritual body. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Whoosh. At this moment, a sword light pierced towards Tian Shui from the top of his head. Tian Shui swung his hammer upwards. However, at the same time, a sword light pierced towards Tian Shui's feet, left and right. Tian Shui roared angrily and quickly retreated to avoid the sword light. However, a sword light still left a sword wound on Tian Shui's body. Around the heavenly hammer, sword light constantly appeared, soundless and without any signs. Barbaric Dragon Strike. Tian Shui roared and used the same move again. He swung his giant hammer and spun it wildly. However, this time the sword light did not disperse. Instead, it pierced through Tian Shui's attack and continued to stab towards him. Buff, buff. A few more wounds appeared on Tian Shui's body. What's going on? Why can't we attack him? Some disciples of the Dragon God Valley asked anxiously. Tian Shui's attack was too strange. Tian Shui's attack could not hit him. It's not that he can't hit him. It's just that he can turn into a shadow which can greatly reduce the damage done to him. Tian Shui's attack was weakened when it landed on his body. At the same time, he's too fast. Most of the attacks were dodged by him. A genius of the rank 9 Martial King realm explained on the spectator stand. Tian Shui let out a dragon roar. He took a step forward and rushed to the side of the fighting stage. It seemed that he was going to rush down the fighting stage. If you want to rush to the fighting stage, stay here. Wan Ying's cold voice came from the sky. Tian Shui pretended not to hear it and continued to rush forward. Whoosh. A terrifying sword light pierced towards Tian Shui from behind. Tian Shui, who was rushing forward, suddenly stopped and turned around. Puchi. The sword light pierced through Tian Shui's chest. Blood splattered everywhere. Dot. A cold voice sounded. Wan Ying's figure appeared in front of Tian Shui. At this moment, Tian Shui let out a dragon roar. A giant barbaric dragon shadow appeared on his body. The barbaric dragon shadow clawed at Wan Ying. Oh no. Chapter 1538. Bam. The barbaric dragon clawed at Wan Ying's body. Wan Ying groaned as he was sent flying, spitting out blood. Kill? Tian Shui roared as he hurled the huge hammer in his hand. Like a meteor, it smashed into Wan Ying, who was in the air. Wan Ying screamed as his body was sent flying. The giant hammer carried Wan Ying out of the stage and landed heavily on the ground. Wan Ying spat out blood, his face as pale as paper. Wan Ying lost because Tian Shui was still on the stage. Whoosh. The giant hammer flew back to the stage and landed in Tian Shui's hand. Buff. Tian Shui's body shook as he spat out a mouthful of blood. Although he had defeated Wan Ying, he was heavily injured as well. Senior brother Tian Shui, come up and treat your injuries. Lu Ming shouted. Tian Shui channeled his true yuan and rushed up to the stage. He sat down cross-legged and started to treat his injuries. Just now, he had been injured by Luan Ying's sword multiple times. In the end, the sword had pierced through his heart. The terrifying destruction sword Qi was constantly destroying Tian Shui's spiritual body. Tian Shui had to destroy the destruction sword Qi first before he could heal. Damn it! The leader of the Heavenly God sect shouted angrily on the stage. Originally, he thought that with Luan Ying's strength and the fact that he could counter Tian Shui, he would be able to defeat Tian Shui. Although he might not be able to kill Tian Shui, defeating him shouldn't be a problem. He didn't think that Tian Shui would defeat Luan Ying in a way where both sides were injured. His plan was foiled. As a result, 2 of the 3 top experts of the Heavenly God sect had been defeated. Only the leader was left. This made the faces of the Heavenly God sect very ugly. The Heavenly Divinity sect had already announced that they would also take first place in the Treasure Ding Ding Party and achieve 3 consecutive championships. But now there was only one top expert left, the leader. The other 6th-level experts had almost all been killed, so there was no chance for them to take first place. This was all because of the Dragon God Valley. They wanted to deal with the Dragon God Valley, but in the end they got themselves into trouble. Before the competition started, the Heavenly God sect probably didn't expect this. I'll leave the rest to you guys. The leader of the Heavenly God sect looked at the Sky Demon sect. Whoosh! A figure rushed out from the Sky Universe Demon sect, carrying a demon saber on his back. It's Mo Xian. Someone recognized this person. There were 2 geniuses from the Sky Universe Demon sect who had reached the peak of the 6th layer martial royal realm with a superior earth spiritual body. One of them was Mo and the other was Ma Xian. Mo Xian looked at Xuaningxin and said, "I challenge you." Many people were shocked. Indeed, the Celestial sect, the Empyrean Demon sect and the Poison sect had sent out their strongest forces to deal with the Dragon God Valley. Xuaningxin stepped onto the fighting ring. Kill. The demonic saber was unsheathed, and demonic energy soared to the sky. Xuaningxin revealed her true form and turned into a snow dragon. The 2 sides clashed fiercely. This battle was different from the one between Sky Hammer and Luan Ying. This battle was a head-on clash and it was exceptionally fierce. Xuaningxin was a pure-blooded true dragon, and she was considered a genius even among true dragons. Her dragon body was as strong as a superior earth spiritual body, and she was evenly matched with Mo Xian. The 2 sides exchanged more than 200 blows, and in the end Xuaningxin won by a little and knocked Mo Xian off the fighting ring. However, Xuaningxin was severely injured, and her injuries were even worse than Sky Hammer's. Xuaningxin dragged her injured body back to the fighting ring and began to heal. The Dragon God Valley had won another battle, defeating a top expert from the Sky Universe Demon sect. Could it be that the Dragon God Valley was going to be the last one? Some people had such thoughts. The challenges continued and soon, it was the Poison sect's turn. Whoosh! Wu Qiandu of the Poison sect stood up and stepped onto the fighting ring. The Poison sect also had 2 top experts. Wu Qiandu was the leader of the Poison sect and he was going to fight personally this time. Wu Qiandu's gaze shifted between Han Sun and Lu Ming. According to the rules, Sky Hammer and Xuaningxin had just fought, so they couldn't challenge them now. Only by challenging Lu Ming and Han Sun could they challenge Sky Hammer and Xuaningxin. In the end, Wu Qiandu's gaze landed on Lu Ming. Lu Ming, you managed to escape with your sacred weapon the last time. Now come down and accept your death. Wu Qiandu said coldly. Last time, Lu Ming had used his black wings to create a gust of wind that rendered his poison gas useless. Now that he couldn't use his sacred weapon, he wanted to see how Lu Ming would defend against his poison gas. Another one who wants to die. Lu Ming smiled indifferently. He took a step forward and landed on the fighting ring. As soon as Lu Ming's feet landed, Wu Qiandu took action. Densely packed poisonous insects swarmed toward Lu Ming, covering the sky and the sun like a mass of dark clouds. Lu Ming's chaotic domain spread out and shrouded the endless poisonous insects. Fire! Lu Ming whispered and the chaotic domain turned into a flame domain. The flames engulfed the insects, and sizzling sounds could be heard as the insects were burned to ashes. But at this time Wu Qiandu waved his hand and toads appeared. Each toad was covered in pustules and emitted a foul smell. They pounced toward Lu Ming. In the air, the toads spat out poisonous water that enveloped Lu Ming. When the poisonous water landed on the chaotic domain, it actually emitted a sizzling sound of corrosion. Kill. At the same time Wu Qiandu charged toward Lu Ming. A soft whip appeared in his hand. The whip was covered with poisonous thorns and it swept toward Lu Ming. Boom. Boom. Lu Ming used the hell-suppressing heaven skill and punched out continuously, bombarding the toads and soft whips. However, when Lu Ming's fist force bombarded those toads, they actually self-exploded and turned into a pool of thick water that gushed toward Lu Ming, emitting a disgusting stench. Once he smelled the stench, Lu Ming felt slightly dizzy. Circulating his true yuan, he regained consciousness. What a terrifying poison! Lu Ming thought. Shwa, shwa. Poisonous insects kept gushing out of Wu Qindu's body. Next, there were toads and poisonous snakes that attacked Lu Ming. As for himself, he controlled the soft whip and was extremely agile as he whipped Lu Ming. Kill! Lu Ming suddenly shouted and used the divine sword art. 2 black sword lights burst out from Lu Ming's eyes and rushed toward Wu Qindu. But at this time, a layer of poisonous insects appeared on the surface of Wu Qindu's body, forming a shield. The divine sword art attacked the poisonous insects and killed a large number of them, but Wu Qindu was unharmed. Soul attacks can ignore ordinary defenses and attack the soul. However, these insects of mine have spirits. With spirits, your soul attacks won't be able to penetrate them. Last time you used it once. This time I'm prepared. Wu Qindu sneered. It seems that soul attacks are not omnipotent. There are still weaknesses. Chapter 1539. Soul attacks were something that ordinary defenses would not be able to defend against, and they would be able to pierce right through. When facing the evil spirit sect's elder Mo Hun, Lu Ming's primal chaos domain and bubble spacetime domain could only weaken a portion of the attack. One could imagine that normal defenses would be useless. However, soul attacks also had their weaknesses. If a living being stood in front of them, the soul attack would not be able to pass through. For example, Wu Qindu had used poisonous insects to block in front of him. Although the poisonous insects were small, they were still sentient and had souls. Soul attacks would attack the poisonous insects, and Wu Qindu, who was behind the poisonous insects, was naturally unharmed. He dared to challenge Lu Ming because he had a foolproof plan. However, Lu Ming's expression was still calm. If soul attacks were useless, would Lu Ming not be able to deal with Wu Qindu? Whoosh. Lu Ming covered his body with the primal chaos domain and soared into the sky. Boom, boom, boom. Following which, Lu Ming looked down from a high vantage point and threw continuous punches with his fists. Streaks of terrifying fist energy shot out like meteors towards Wu Qindu, the poisonous insects and the poisonous snakes. A large number of poisonous insects and toads were killed. The battle stage was littered with the corpses of insects, toads, and snakes. Pools of venom covered the battle stage, emitting a disgusting stench. Wisps of poisonous gas filled the battle stage. Haha, Lu Ming, thank you for your cooperation. The poison array has been set up. Now you can die. On the battle stage, Wu Qindu smiled coldly. Green poisonous gas spread out from his body and merged with the poisonous gas on the battle stage. The entire battle stage was shrouded in poisonous gas. 1,000 poison hands. Wu Qindu said coldly. The poisonous gas rolled and turned into poisonous palms that shot toward Lu Ming in the sky. Lu Ming used the wind origin technique to avoid the poisonous palms. In that case, I'll kill you first. In Lu Ming's hand, a Spirit King spear appeared. He became one with the spear and dived down, charging into the poison gas array and attacking Wu Qindu. You can't kill me? Wu Qindu let out a cold laugh. With a bang, his body exploded and turned into clouds of poisonous gas, which merged with the poisonous gas of the formation. Lu Ming's long spear swept out horizontally, the poisonous gas tumbling endlessly. Kill? Lu Ming roared and a formless soul attack erupted. However, there were countless poisonous insects flying within the poisonous gas. Lu Ming shouted and a group of poisonous insects fell to the ground. Hehe, Lu Ming, you can't hurt me at all. You can only passively let me kill you. Wu Qindu's proud voice rang out. The poison gas array churned, constantly surging towards Lu Ming. The terrifying poison gas enveloped Lu Ming, as if it wanted to corrode the primal chaos domain and then turn Lu Ming to ashes. Moreover, the poison gas would condense into attacks and attack Lu Ming. The long spear vibrated, destroying the attacks one by one. Lu Ming, rush down the fighting stage yourself or be killed by me. Wu Qindu's cold voice rang out. You think too highly of yourself. Lu Ming said indifferently. If Lu Ming wanted to kill Wu Qindu, he could do it now. He just needed to cast the chaotic flipping sky seal. The terrifying power of the chaotic flipping sky seal could directly cover the entire fighting ring. He could easily destroy this array and even kill Wu Qindu. However, now was not the time to use the primal chaos flipping sky seal. Lu Ming wanted to save the primal chaos flipping sky seal to deal with the leader of the celestial god sect, or Mo He. If he did not use the primal chaos flipping sky seal, he would have to use other methods. Bus. Lu Ming's primal chaos domain suddenly spread out, enveloping the entire fighting stage. Then, endless lightning appeared and filled the fighting stage, followed by flames. The entire fighting stage was enveloped by the power of lightning and fire. Chi-chi, poisonous insects were burned to death one by one. Kill. Kill. Lu Ming continued to roar as he used the divine sword art, forming invisible waves that rushed out in all directions. A large number of poisonous insects were killed and turned into ashes in the lightning and fire. I don't believe that your soul power can keep on erupting. Wu Qindu's voice rang out. There was a limit to a person's spiritual strength. Constantly using it would consume a lot of spiritual strength. However, after a while Wu Qindu became nervous. Lu Ming still did not stop. His soul attack continued to erupt, killing almost all of the poisonous insects. Kill? Lu Ming roared as the poisonous gas churned and Wu Qindu's screams rang out. A cloud of mist gathered and churned, as if it was about to condense into a human form. Devour. Lu Ming took a step forward and pressed his left palm in the air. The devouring power erupted and enveloped the poisonous gas. Wisps of poisonous gas were devoured and refined by Lu Ming. The poisonous gas was terrifying. However, Lu Ming's spiritual body had reached the superior earth spiritual body. Moreover, Lu Ming's spiritual body contained traces of primal chaos chi, which was stronger than an ordinary superior earth spiritual body. Hence, he was not afraid of the poisonous gas. Brr. Lu Ming's body faintly rang out with a dragon's roar. Wu Qindu's poisonous gas was being refined continuously. How can this be? My spiritual body is invincible. How can you refine it? Wu Qindu's terrified screams rang out from the poisonous gas as he desperately resisted. Kill? Lu Ming roared as two rays of sword light shot out from his eyes and pierced into the poisonous gas. Wu Qindu screamed and his resistance weakened instantly. Lu Ming continued to erupt with his devouring power, devouring and refining Wu Qindu's poisonous gas. As Wu Qindu screamed, the poisonous gas became smaller and smaller. He wanted to reform his body, but Lu Ming directly attacked. With a punch, he turned back into poisonous gas and was devoured by Lu Ming. Soon Wu Qindu's poisonous gas was reduced by more than half. Spare me, spare me. Wu Qindu was finally afraid and began to beg for mercy. This feeling of watching himself being refined made him extremely terrified. Moreover, he did not want to die. He had a great future. With his talent, he was very confident that he could break through to the Saint Realm in the future. A Saint Realm expert had a lifespan of more than 100,000 years. How free and unfettered was that? The people from the 13 sects were shocked. Wu Qindu was actually forced to this step by Lu Ming? In the eyes of these geniuses, Wu Qindu was definitely a terrifying existence. His 1,000 bathing poison body and his poisonous body made everyone wary. Even those geniuses who were at the same level as him were extremely wary of him. But now he was begging for mercy in front of Lu Ming. Spare you? Previously you sent people from the Desire Poison sect to kill my disciples. Why didn't you spare them? Why didn't you think about the current situation? Lu Ming said coldly as his devouring power continued to devour Wu Qindu. Wu Qindu screamed as his poisonous gas churned. Before the battle with Lu Ming, how could he have thought of such an outcome? All he thought about was how to kill Lu Ming. Chapter 1540. Young man, don't go overboard. Don't go overboard. At this moment, an old voice came from one of the pavilions. Judging from the direction of the voice, it should be the Saint State Elder of the Desire Poison sect. Hee, are you heartbroken? Why didn't you think about it when you killed my disciple? Lu Ming, you don't have to pay attention to this old man. The voice of the Saint State Elder of the Dragon God Valley came from the pavilion behind the Dragon God Valley. Young man, you should think about it. After all, you'll be traveling outside in the future. It's not good to go overboard. The Saint State Elder of the Desire Poison sect continued. Despicable. How dare you threaten my disciple? The Saint State Elder of the Dragon God Valley said. Hee. The Saint State Elder of the Desire Poison sect sneered. Kill? However, Lu Ming's response was only one word, kill. Lu Ming's eyes emitted two beams of sword gleams that pierced into the poisonous gas. Wu Qindu screamed miserably. The ball of poisonous gas completely collapsed and there was no sign of life left. Wu Qindu was dead. This was Lu Ming's response to the Saint State Elder of the Desire Poison sect. He was strong and merciless. At this moment there was no sound from the pavilion behind the Desire Poison sect, but a cold murderous intent filled the air. Of course, the Saint State elders were not allowed to interfere in this situation. Otherwise the other sects would gang up on them. Dead. Wu Qindu was dead. Most of the people present felt their hearts tremble. Another top-notch prodigy was killed by Lu Ming. In addition to Bai Mo, there were already 2 top-notch prodigies who had died in Lu Ming's hands. It was too tragic. In the past, very few top Earth spiritual bodies were killed. Even if there was a difference in combat power, it wouldn't be too big. It was possible to defeat them but difficult to kill them. This time it was only the 20th round, but 2 top prodigies had already died and several others were seriously injured. Because of Lu Ming, the small meeting this time was several times more tragic than the past. Lu Ming put away Wu Qindu's storage ring and returned to the platform. Then someone went up to the fighting ring and cleaned it up. After all, the poisonous insects and snakes that Wu Qindu had released earlier were all poisonous substances on the battle stage. On the platform of the Celestial God Sect, the leader of the Celestial God Sect looked at Tianque and Xuanixin coldly. This guy wants to challenge Tianque and Xuanixin in the next round, Lu Ming said. Right now Tianque and Xuanixin were both heavily injured. If the leader of the Sky God Sect challenged them, it would be very dangerous. The leader of the Sky God Sect obviously wanted to seize the opportunity to kill Tianque or Xuanixin. I won't let him succeed. Han Sun spoke, his killing intent cold. After cleaning up, the competition continued. Perhaps the atmosphere had been stirred up, but when it was the turn of the other sects, the atmosphere became even more intense. The other sects that had enmity with each other also began to send out their top experts to challenge the top experts of their enemy sections. After the battle between Lu Ming and Wu Qindu, there were 2 more clashes between the top experts. In the end, the top geniuses of the Intentionless Saber sect and the Demon Castle both suffered heavy injuries and fell off the fighting ring. On the other hand, the top expert of the Linglong Palace defeated his opponent and won despite being heavily injured. Soon, it was the Divine Dragon Valley's turn. Han Sun stood up and stepped out onto the fighting ring. Yu Sheng, come down. Han Sun said coldly. Yu Sheng was the name of the leader of the Sky God sect. Everyone was shocked. Han Sun was challenging Yu Sheng. The leaders of the 2 sects were about to clash. Yu Sheng's eyes turned cold. His original plan was to wait until the next round, when it was the Sky God sect's turn to challenge, and then he would personally kill Tianque or Xuanixin. Obviously, Han Sun had seen through his plan and challenged him directly. Yu Sheng stepped out and landed on the fighting ring. It's the same if I kill you first, Yu Sheng said coldly. His body erupted with dazzling holy light. His entire person was bathed in the holy light, and there was no speck of dust. Yu Sheng was a direct descendant of the Sky God sect, and he cultivated the Sky God sect's techniques. Shameless boasting. Han Sun sneered, and a terrifying cold air burst out from his body. The cold air spread in all directions, and half of the fighting ring was covered in white frost. Boom, boom. Yu Sheng and Han Sun charged at each other at the same time, and a fierce battle broke out. The 2 figures clashed continuously on the fighting ring, and their speed became faster and faster. Some of the weaker cultivators could no longer see the 2 figures clearly. They could only see the endless sacred light and the terrifying cold air on the fighting ring, forming a pillar of qi that shot up into the sky. Whoosh. Yu Sheng was bathed in the sacred light, and he held the god's punishment spear in his hand. He was like a god descending to punish the world. White dragon scales appeared on Han Sun's body, and his body was covered in a layer of ice armor. His arms turned into dragon claws and they were terrifying. Clang, clang. The dragon claws and the god's punishment spear clashed fiercely. Puchi. Han Sun's shoulder was pierced by the god's punishment spear, but Han Sun's other dragon claw clawed at Yu Sheng's chest, almost tearing his heart out. The 2 of them were injured at the same time, and their clothes were stained with blood. But the battle continued. To be honest, Han Sun and Yu Sheng's combat strength was terrifying, and they were even stronger than Bai Mo's. It could be said that in the future, they were very likely to be ranked among the top 10 geniuses of the Tsang state. After all, the top 10 geniuses were chosen by the younger generation below the Saint Realm. Once this year's top 10 geniuses broke into the Saint Realm, they would automatically be removed from the top 10 geniuses, and new geniuses would replace them. It could be said that these 2 geniuses of the future were fighting in advance. This battle went on for more than 300 moves, and their genuine essence and physical strength were gradually exhausted. In the end, it became a hand-to-hand fight. The 2 of them tangled together and blood stained the fighting ring. Bang. In the end, the 2 of them rolled off the fighting ring at the same time and the battle ended. Lu Ming moved and appeared beside Han Sun. His genuine essence flowed into Han Sun's body and he said, "Senior brother Han Sun, are you okay?" "Don't worry, I'm fine. That guy is worse." Han Sun smiled. Yu Sheng snorted, and with the help of the disciples of the Celestial God sect, he landed on the spectator stand, took a healing pill and began to heal. Lu Ming helped Han Sun to the spectator stand behind the fighting ring, and then returned to the fighting ring. In this way there were only 3 people left in the Dragon God Valley. However, the people of the Celestial God sect all looked gloomy. After Yu Sheng's withdrawal, the Celestial God sect no longer had any top experts, and it was a joke to get first place. The battle continued and soon this round was over and the 22nd round began. In this round, the remaining disciples of the Celestial God sect had lost their morale, and they randomly sent out one person to challenge the other sections. After that, it was the turn of the Sky Universe Demon sect. Mo He from the Sky Universe Demon sect stepped out with a demonic blade on his back. He landed on the fighting ring and looked directly at the Dragon God Valley. He glanced at Tian Chui and Xuaningxin. Chapter 1541. Mo He obviously wanted to challenge Tian Chui and Xuaningxin. In the end, Mo He's eyes fell on Xuaningxin and said coldly, "Come out. Fight." Xuaningxin said and stepped forward. "Senior sister, be careful," Lu Ming said. Xuaningxin nodded and stepped onto the battle stage. "I'll kill you in this battle." Mo He's demonic aura surged as the demonic saber on his back unsheathed and slashed toward Xuaningxin. Xuaningxin roared and turned into her true form. She opened her mouth and spat out a stream of icy air toward the saber. Boom. An intense collision occurred, and Xuaningxin's slender body trembled as she retreated. Xuaningxin had been severely injured in the previous battle, and it was impossible for her to recover in such a short time. She was at a disadvantage from the start. Demonic Saber Division. The demonic saber in Mo He's hand merged with his domain and slashed out again. The demonic saber division was the ultimate technique of the Sky Universe demonic sect. It was said to be able to split everything with a single slash. Snowflakes appeared around Xuaningxin and flew toward the demonic splitting saber with a whistling sound. But when the snowflakes came into contact with the demonic saber division, they seemed to be affected by a terrifying vibration and exploded. Clang, clang, clang. The snowflakes collided with the demonic saber, and the sound of metal clashing rang out. The snowflakes collapsed, but the power of the demonic saber was also rapidly weakening. Slash. Mo He's demonic aura surged as he slashed out again. Then he slashed out again. One slash after another, and each slash was extremely terrifying. It was as if they were going to split the sky. Xuaningxin's dragon claws stepped on the air and pounced toward Mo He. Boom, boom. Terrifying explosions were constantly heard as the two of them exchanged more than 10 blows. Gradually, Xuaningxin was losing. Her injuries were acting up, and she couldn't use her full strength. Puchi. Dragon scales were cut and fell everywhere. Deep and long wounds appeared on Xuaningxin's body, and blood dyed her snow-white body red. Die. Mo He's devil saber pierced through Xuaningxin's attack and slashed at her head, trying to decapitate her. Xuaningxin retreated quickly, but it was still too late. A wound was left between her eyebrows. Xuaningxin was already heavily injured, and now that she was injured, her battle prowess was getting weaker and weaker. She was no match for Mo He. "Senior sister, get off the battle stage," Lu Ming said to Xuaningxin telepathically. If this went on, Xuaningxin would be in danger. Xuaningxin shouted. She was unwilling to give up. After exchanging another blow with Mo He, she turned around and left. "You want to leave? Stay." Mo He's demonic chi became even more terrifying. She soared into the sky and slashed out with her demonic saber. 8 saber lights slashed down, blocking Xuaningxin's path. Xuaningxin's dragon claws stomped on the ground, and the ground was instantly covered in a layer of ice. Ice swords rushed out and rushed towards the demonic sabers. Bang, bang. Unfortunately, Xuaningxin's battle prowess was too weak to break through the demonic sabers. Instead, the demonic sabers left a deep wound on her body, almost cutting off one of her dragon claws. "You can't escape. Demonic dragon seal," Mo He said coldly. His hands formed a seal, and a black demonic dragon roared and flew toward Xuaningxin. The 2 dragons, one black and one white, fought on the battle stage. Then, Mo He split the demonic saber and attacked Xuaningxin. After a few moves, Xuaningxin's injuries were even more severe. Break. In the end, Xuaningxin roared. Her true dragon body shrank rapidly, and a layer of ice covered her body, making her look like an ice sword. Whoosh. The ice sword kept colliding with Emohi's demonic saber. Finally, it rushed out of the range of the demonic saber and reached the edge of the battle stage. At this time, the ice covering Xuanixin's body also collapsed. Xuanixin's aura became even weaker. She stomped her dragon claws and rushed out of the battle stage. She let out a sigh of relief and quickly withdrew her aura. Die. Emohi roared and stood at the edge of the battle stage. His eyes were ferocious and filled with cold killing intent. He slashed his demonic saber at Xuanixin's head. Xuanixin's fall meant that the battle was over, so she completely let down her guard and withdrew her true yuan. She didn't expect Emohi to be so despicable and attack her again. Xuanixin didn't have time to dodge this attack. You're courting death. On the platform, Lu Ming let out a roar and his true essence boiled. The black wings on his back suddenly extended. With a flap, he appeared next to Xuanixin and flapped the demonic saber. Lu Ming, what are you doing? You interfered and used a saint weapon. You broke the rules. Seeing that his saber had been blocked by Lu Ming, there was a look of indignation in Emohi's eyes. Shut up. Who broke the rules? My senior sister has already rushed out of the battle stage and landed on the ground. She lost. This battle is over, but you still want to kill her. Are you the one who broke the rules, or am I the one who broke the rules? Lu Ming stared coldly at Emohi. If he hadn't been watching the battle stage and immediately used a saint weapon to rush out, Xuanixin would have been in danger. Oh? Her foot landed on the ground? I didn't see it. Emohi quibbled. Lu Ming didn't say anything. He only stared at Emohi with cold killing intent. He had to kill this Emohi. Senior sister, let's go. Lu Ming helped Xuanixin to the spectator stand. Junior brother, thank you for just now. Xuanixin had returned to her human form, but her face was somewhat pale. Senior sister, there's no need to be so polite. I will kill Emohi to avenge you. Lu Ming said. I believe in junior brother. Xuanixin smiled. She swallowed a healing elixir and began to recuperate while Lu Ming returned to the platform. The challenges continued. As expected, when it was the Desire Poison sect's turn, an expert from the Desire Poison sect challenged Tian Chui. Like the Sky Demon sect, the Desire Poison sect also had two top experts. Wu Qindu had been killed by Lu Ming, so there was only one left. The Desire Poison sect hated Lu Ming to the core and wanted to kill Tian Chui to avenge Wu Qindu. However, Tian Chui's injuries were better than Xuanixin's. Moreover, Tian Chui cultivated the barbarian dragon body, so his defense was strong. However, Tian Chui was injured and couldn't defeat his opponent. After exchanging more than 100 blows, he was knocked off the stage. With Tian Chui's defeat, only Lu Ming was left in the Dragon God Valley. Countless gazes landed on the platform of the Divine Dragon Valley and on Lu Ming alone. Chapter 1542. The challenges continued and they were very intense. Now the competition had entered the second half, and the weak had been eliminated. The remaining people were all very strong and the battles were very intense. One battle after another, it was finally Dragon God Valley's turn. Lu Ming stepped out and landed on the fighting stage. Emohi, come down and die. Lu Ming's voice resounded throughout the area. As expected, Lu Ming is going to challenge Emohi. In many people's hearts, Emohi had violated the rules earlier and almost killed Xuanixin. Many people guessed that Lu Ming would definitely challenge Emohi. Emohi carried the demonic saber on his back and stepped onto the fighting stage. You've managed to escape the previous 2 times. Today I'll finish you off. Emohi spoke. Even though Lu Ming had already killed 2 top-notch powerhouses, he was still very domineering. Today you won't have any chance. You will die without a doubt. Lu Ming said, and he was also very strong. Bus. Bus. The two stood facing each other, and their domains burst out at the same time, rushing toward each other. Boom. Their domains collided with each other, and there was a loud rumbling sound. They were fiercely fighting. Emohi's demonic Dao domain was at the peak of LV7, while Lu Ming's domain was only at the peak of LV4. However, Lu Ming's domain was not at a disadvantage at all. Their domains continued to clash and entangle with each other, stirring up a terrifying energy storm. Kill, demonic saber division. Emohi shouted and unsheathed his demonic saber. A shocking saber light broke through the sky and slashed toward Lu Ming. A long spear appeared in Lu Ming's hand, and he used the 13th strike. A spear light burst out and collided with the demonic saber. There were 13 forces in the spear light, and they exploded with a terrible penetrating power. However, there was a terrible splitting power in the demonic saber that was rapidly splitting the spear light's power. In the end, the 2 forces dissipated. Lu Ming's eyes moved slightly. The demonic saber of the Sky Universe demon sect was indeed worthy of its reputation. Whoosh, whoosh. Then the two of them rushed forward and collided with each other like two bolts of lightning. The demonic saber and the long spear collided with each other, emitting a terrifying roar. Every time the two of them collided, a terrifying shockwave would erupt. The shockwave was rampant and swept out in all directions. Around the fighting stage there was a transparent light screen that blocked the overflowing chi. Otherwise, some of the weaker people in the spectator stands would have been injured. Kill? After exchanging several moves, Lu Ming roared. Two divine swords shot out of his eyes, shooting toward Emohi. Lu Ming used the divine sword art, and two pitch-black swords entered Emohi's body and attacked his spiritual divinity. However, Mo's body only trembled slightly and he was fine. A spiritual god defensive treasure. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed slightly. Your soul attack is useless against me. Emohi sneered. His demonic saber swept out, taking advantage of this opportunity to attack Lu Ming. Lu Ming's long spear shook, blocking the Devil Blade's attack. Then the two of them clashed again, exchanging dozens of moves. In truth, Emohi was indeed very strong. He was even stronger than Bai Emo and Wu Qindu, who Lu Ming had just killed. He should be comparable to Han Sun, the leader of the Celestial God sect. Lu Ming's spiritual body and primal chaos domain gave him a slight advantage. However, Emohi's cultivation was 2 levels higher than Lu Ming's. The two of them fought fiercely and it was difficult to determine a victor. Third bloodline. With a thought, Lu Ming's third bloodline appeared. A strand of energy entered Lu Ming's body, increasing Lu Ming's combat strength. Clang. Lu Ming's long spear swept out, and Emohi's body trembled. He was forced back a long distance along the fighting stage. Divine Gate 9 Seals. Lu Ming's hands quickly formed seals, and 6 sealing gates appeared around Emohi, wanting to seal him. Demon God descends. Emohi roared. Demonic chi surged, and a huge demon god with 3 heads and 6 arms condensed around him. It exuded a vast demonic aura. This was a secret technique, or rather, it was a secret technique brought by Emohi's spiritual body. It was very similar to Bai Mo's sword array. They were both secret techniques brought by spiritual bodies. Boom. The 3-headed, 6-armed demon god blasted out 6 palms, bombarding the 6 sealing gates. Boom. Boom. The 6 sealed doors trembled and directly exploded. At this time Lu Ming's attack had arrived. The long spear smashed towards Emohi like a mountain. Boom. Boom. The 3-headed, 6-armed demon god's 6 giant palms bombarded Lu Ming. 2 of them blocked Lu Ming's long spear, while the other 4 palms pressed down on Lu Ming like 4 mountains. Lu Ming's long spear shook, turning into layers of spear shadows and blasted out. The long spear collided with the demon palms. In the violent explosion, Lu Ming and Emohi's bodies were both pushed back. This brat, how long has it been? He has such combat strength. He must be eliminated. Emohi was shocked. Back when he led people to hunt down Lu Ming did not have much strength to resist in front of him. But now Lu Ming could fight him head-on, and it was difficult to tell who would win. In a while, what realm would Lu Ming reach? Wouldn't he surpass him in all aspects? Thinking of this, he felt a chill in his heart. He and Lu Ming were already mortal enemies. If they met in the future, they would definitely fight fiercely. One of them had to die. But in a while, he was afraid that if he met Lu Ming again, he would be the one to die. Therefore he had to kill Lu Ming now. Kill. Kill. Emohi roared. His demonic chi seemed to burn, and the huge demonic god seemed to become corporeal. Shockingly, 6 huge demonic sabers appeared on the demonic god's 6 arms. Boom. Boom. Emohi took a step forward and charged at Lu Ming. The huge demonic god brandished its demonic sabers and charged at Lu Ming. Kill? Lu Ming shouted. The power of his third bloodline continuously poured into Lu Ming's body, causing Lu Ming's killing intent to become even stronger. At the same time, devouring power burst out and enveloped Emohi, causing his demonic chi to become unstable. The demonic god's aura also weakened. Lu Ming took a step forward and soared into the sky. His long spear turned into a 1,000-meter-long spear light that smashed toward Emohi. Emohi's eyes were ferocious. He also used all his strength. The huge demonic god and the 6 demonic sabers continuously slashed at Lu Ming. The two collided fiercely. Spear light and saber light soared into the sky. Everyone, whether they were on the platform or in the spectator stands, held their breaths and stared at the fighting ring. They were afraid that they would miss the exciting scene. What strong combat strength! He can unleash such terrifying combat strength when he's below the 7th Martial Royal Realm. I'm afraid that even the 8th Martial Royal Realm would be killed by him. A genius above the 7th Martial Royal Realm said with a serious look. They're all peerless geniuses. In the future they have great hopes of becoming the top 10 monstrous geniuses of the Tsang Prefecture. That's right. I wonder who will win this battle. Chapter 1543. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming and Mo He had exchanged dozens of blows. At this time, the demon god that Mo He had condensed began to tremble. Clearly, maintaining this demon god was taxing on Mo He's true chi. Moreover, Lu Ming was constantly releasing his devouring power. Mo He could feel that his demonic chi was constantly being devoured by Lu Ming. This made his demonic chi even more difficult to sustain. Seal. At this time, Lu Ming used the sealed doors again. The 6 sealed doors shone brightly and suppressed the demon god. This time, the demon god was finally unable to break through the sealed doors and his movements became stiff. Boom. Lu Ming seized the opportunity. His long spear turned into a huge spear light and smashed heavily on the demon god's head. 13 different powers instantly superimposed and exploded. Mo He roared and the head of the demonic god exploded. Then, the body of the demonic god exploded as well. In an instant, the demon god's entire body exploded. Mo He's body shook violently and he spat out large mouthfuls of blood. His face was pale. Retreat. Mo He gritted his teeth and flew back. He knew that he had lost today. He was no match for Lu Ming. Now he had to rush down the fighting stage. You can't escape, Seal. Lu Ming said coldly. 6 sealed doors appeared in front of Mo He, blocking his way. Mo He slashed out with his demonic saber continuously, but he couldn't break through the sealed doors. At this time, Lu Ming had already put away his long spear. He was holding a large seal in one hand. Primal Chaos Flipping Sky Seal. Now, Lu Ming had cultivated the Primal Chaos Flipping Sky Seal to the peak of the 3rd level. While its power was increasing, he was also becoming more proficient in using it. When he used the Primal Chaos Flipping Sky Seal, he didn't need to use it at once like before. The consumption of true chi was terrifying. Now, he could control the power of the Chaotic Flipping Sky Seal. By reducing the power of the Chaotic Flipping Sky Seal, he could save a lot of vital essence and control it more smoothly. For example, the seal that Lu Ming was holding in his hand was the Chaotic Flipping Sky Seal that he had condensed. It had about 50% of its full power. However, if Lu Ming had used his full power, he would not have been able to hold it in his hand and control it to such an extent. With 50% of its power, it would be much easier for Lu Ming to control it. Boom. Lu Ming waved his hand and the Primal Chaos Flipping Sky Seal smashed towards Mo He. Even with 50% of his full power, his attack power was still terrifyingly strong, surpassing the power of Lu Ming's 13 strikes of storing power. The Primal Chaos Flipping Sky Seal was like an ancient divine mountain as it smashed towards Mo He. The vast power and shocking aura caused Mo He's face to change drastically. Mo He roared and turned around to block. His demonic saber slashed out continuously, hoping to block the attack. Boom. The splitting demonic saber slashed at the Primal Chaos Flipping Sky Seal. Not only did it not split the Primal Chaos Flipping Sky Seal, but the demonic saber itself was shattered by the Primal Chaos Flipping Sky Seal. The Primal Chaos Flipping Sky Seal continued to smash down. In the end, Mo He used his demonic saber to block in front of him. An Emperor's spiritual weapon armor appeared on his body. Together with the domain, it blocked in front of him. Boom. The Primal Chaos Flipping Sky Seal smashed down heavily. Mo He's body shook violently as he retreated frantically. His face was pale as he vomited large mouthfuls of blood. His hands that were holding his saber were trembling non-stop. The bones in his wrists had been broken. He had paid such a heavy price to block the Primal Chaos Flipping Sky Seal. However, there was a loud rumbling sound from above as another Primal Chaos Flipping Sky Seal came crashing down. Ah! Mo He roared angrily as he exerted all his strength to defend himself. Bang! This time, Mo fell to his knees and coughed up a mouthful of blood. His arms exploded, and his demonic saber flew far away. As for Mo He's body, even with the protection of his ruler armor, he was unable to withstand all of the power. The frightening power shattered many of Mo He's bones. However, to Mo He's despair, the 3rd Primal Chaos Flipping Sky Seal came crashing down on him. No! This time, Mo He roared in despair. This time he would not be able to block it. If he could not block it, he would die. Come out! Mo He roared as a small black pagoda flew out from between his eyebrows. A vast aura emanated from it. A sacred weapon. This small pagoda was a sacred weapon. The sacred weapon expanded rapidly and collided with the primal chaos flipping sky seal. The small black pagoda was sent flying. Emohi vomited blood again as he rolled on the fighting ring, leaving a trail of blood on the ground. He broke the rules by using a sacred weapon. Use a sacred weapon and kill him. The disciples of Dragon God Valley roared. Whoosh. The Saint Realm Elder of Dragon God Valley stepped out from the pavilion behind Dragon God Valley. His eyes were cold as he said, "Using a sacred weapon on the fighting ring will result in death." The Sage Realm Elder struck out with his palm, and a huge palm print pressed down on Emohi. "What are you doing?" An elder rushed out from the pavilion behind the Empyrean demon sect. He struck out with his palm, sending out a blade light that shattered the Saint Realm Elder's palm print. The Saint Realm Elder of Dragon God Valley looked coldly at the Saint Realm Elder of Empyrean demon sect and said, "Before the battle began, I already announced that anyone who uses a sacred weapon will be killed. Are you trying to stop me?" Elder, save me." Emohi screamed in horror. The Saint Realm Elder of Empyrean demon sect frowned and said, "How about we spare him this time?" "Spare him? You should ask the Taoists of the other sects if they agree." The Saint Realm Elder of Dragon God Valley sneered. Whoosh, whoosh. Many figures stepped out from the pavilions. They were the Saint Realm Elders of the 13 sections. The rules have been passed down for tens of thousands of years. We can't break them. Since they've violated them, kill them. The Elder of Life and Death Sword faction was the first to speak. "That's right. If everyone uses a sacred weapon, what's the point? How can we tell how strong the younger generation is? It's just a competition of how many sacred weapons they have. So we must kill him." The Demon Castle Elder said. "I agree. We must kill him. If he didn't use a sacred weapon, he would have been killed already." "I agree." The elders of the other sects spoke one after another. Emohi's face was filled with despair. Only the elders of Celestial Divinity sect and Poison Desire sect didn't speak. "No, I don't want to die." Emohi roared and turned into a ray of demonic light, about to rush into the distance. Die. The Saint Realm Elder of Dragon God Valley roared and a terrifying sound wave rushed toward Emohi. Emohi's body exploded in midair. Even the sacred weapon pagoda didn't have any effect. Lu Ming's heart trembled. Is this the strength of a Saint Realm Elder? He didn't even attack. He just roared and killed Emohi. Chapter 1544. Lu Ming, this sacred weapon is your spoils of war. Keep it. The Saint Realm Elder of Dragon God Valley said. "Thank you, Elder." Lu Ming did not stand on ceremony and kept the small pagoda sacred weapon. Of course, he also kept Emohi's storage ring. These were his spoils of war and he did not stand on ceremony. Humph. The Elder of Sky Universe Demon Sect glanced at Lu Ming coldly before he turned around and returned to his pavilion. The other sect elders also returned to their pavilions. "Lu Ming, you've done well. You've made a great contribution this time. The sect will reward you accordingly." The Saint Realm Elder of Dragon God Valley said with a smile. This made you, Blizzard Silver City, and the others in the spectator stands jealous. Lu Ming smiled and returned to platform 10. He sat down cross-legged and waved his hand. A large pile of origin stones appeared. Lu Ming devoured the origin stones and started to recover. Lu Ming had used up a lot of energy in the previous battle. He did not have much true origin left. Everyone on the spectator stands looked at Lu Ming with fear. In this small gathering, 3 top geniuses had died at the hands of Lu Ming. If Emohi had not used a sacred weapon, he would have been killed by Lu Ming. Therefore he had been killed by Lu Ming. 3 top geniuses from Heavenly God Sect, Sky Universe Demon Sect, and Poison Desire Sect. This was a great loss. In the past treasure peddling gatherings, such a situation rarely happened. Moreover, Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the peak of LV4 Martial Royal Realm. It was a miracle that he had achieved such a result. In the treasure peddling gatherings, top geniuses who had reached LV6 Martial Royal Realm were extremely difficult to kill. However, this time Lu Ming had killed 3 of them. Back then, the Divine Sun's cultivation was at the peak of LV6 Martial Royal Realm and he had only killed 2 geniuses of this level in the treasure peddling gatherings. Now, the Divine Sun was the top of the top 10 geniuses. Lu Ming had already broken the record of the Son of God. The 13 sects and forces all had different thoughts in their minds. The challenges continued. After Lu Ming's challenge, it was the turn of the Demon Castle on Platform 13 to challenge. This was because the Piyuan family on Platform 11 and the Blood Demon House on Platform 12 had already been eliminated. After the Demon Castle challenge ended, this round also came to an end. Next, it was the Heavenly Divinity sect's turn again. The Heavenly God sect's people glanced at Lu Ming with deep fear. They then sent out one person to challenge the other sections. Next, it was the Sky Universe Devil sect's turn. Although they wanted to avenge Mo, no one dared to challenge Lu Ming, so they could only challenge the other sections. Lu Ming sat cross-legged on the platform, but no one dared to challenge him. Soon, it was the Desire Poison sect's turn. The Desire Poison sect still had a top genius who had defeated Tian Shui previously. However, when he looked at Lu Ming, his eyes were filled with deep fear. How would he dare to challenge Lu Ming? He sent out another person to challenge the other sections. When it was the Dragon God Valley's turn again, no one dared to challenge Lu Ming. When it was Lu Ming's turn again, everyone's eyes fell on Lu Ming. They didn't know who Lu Ming was going to challenge this time. Everyone's hearts were beating fast. Especially the Heavenly Divinity sect, the Sky Universe Devil sect, and the Desire Poison sect. Whoever was challenged by Lu Ming would be courting death. Lu Ming stepped onto the platform. After the cultivation just now, his true yuan had completely recovered. The devouring power allowed him to recover his true yuan by devouring origin stones at an astonishing speed. No one could compare to him. Lu Ming's gaze fell on the Desire Poison sect's side. He wanted to challenge the only top expert left from the Desire Poison sect. Just now, this person had challenged Tian Shui. He wouldn't let him off so easily. The Desire Poison sect's expert stepped onto the platform with an ugly expression. However, the moment he stepped onto the platform, he immediately rushed to the back. He wanted to rush off the platform. Many people were speechless. This person had a superior earth spiritual body. He was as famous as Mo He and Wu Qiandu. However, he didn't even dare to fight and wanted to rush off the platform. It was clear that this person was afraid of Lu Ming. Kill? Lu Ming charged towards this person. However, this person's spiritual body was a poison spiritual body. His vitality was extremely tenacious. Moreover, he wanted to escape and didn't want to fight. On this small platform, it was difficult for Lu Ming to kill him. In the end, his opponent successfully rushed off the platform at the cost of a certain amount of injuries. Lu Ming sighed inwardly. Was a pity? In this way, the Heavenly Divinity sect, the Sky Universe Devil sect, and the Desire Poison sect, a total of 7 top experts, were all defeated. The competition ended prematurely. There wasn't much suspense in the rest of the competition. With Lu Ming holding the fort alone, no one dared to fight him. Every time it was Lu Ming's turn, he would choose a genius from the Heavenly Divinity sect to kill. This made the geniuses on the Heavenly Divinity sect's platform extremely afraid. In the end, in order to survive, they purposely didn't fight and rushed off the platform. They even challenged the Sky Universe Devil sect and the Desire Poison sect in order to preserve more lives. The 3 sects were forced to such a state by Lu Ming alone. This was rare. After this battle, Lu Ming's name was destined to spread throughout the Tsang continent. The challenges continued. Because the Heavenly Divinity sect's method was equivalent to admitting defeat, they were the first to be defeated. This move of the Heavenly Divinity sect is really beautiful. Where did they learn it? Someone from the Dragon God Valley mocked. The Heavenly Divinity sect's disciples on the spectator stand all flushed red, but no one retorted. They didn't have the face to refute. Before the treasure pedestal meeting, the Heavenly Divinity sect had announced that they would be the champion 3 times in a row. But now it had become a joke. If they hadn't used the correct strategy to eliminate the 3 weakest sects in advance, they might not even be able to enter the top 10. After the Heavenly Divinity sect was eliminated, Lu Ming targeted the Desire Poison sect. Lu Ming considered that Xian Yinqing was the saintess of the Sky Universe Devil sect, so after killing Mo He didn't continue to challenge the other disciples of the Sky Universe Devil sect. This made the disciples of the Sky Universe Devil sect heave a long sigh of relief. The Desire Poison sect was in a miserable state. They were all frightened, and in the end, they adopted the Heavenly Divinity sect's method and became the second sect to be eliminated. As the competition continued, the number of people left from each sect decreased. Even the Life and Death Sword sect only had a few people left. In this battle, the Life and Death Sword sect was the same as before. Although they had fewer people, they were all elites with terrifying combat strength. Luo Xiang also rose in this battle. With his cultivation of the LV5 Martial Royal Realm, he had killed many LV6 Martial Royal Realm geniuses. Gradually, one sect after another was eliminated. However, there was still one person sitting cross-legged on the 10th platform. Lu Ming. Lu Ming was the only one left in the Dragon God Valley. However, Lu Ming was as steady as a rock and didn't move at all. In the end, Will Lu Ming be the last to leave the Dragon God Valley in first place? Someone muttered. Many people looked at each other in dismay. If that was the case, it would be a legend that would be passed down for hundreds of years. Whoosh. A sword light flashed and Luo Xiang stepped onto the fighting stage. Lu Ming, how about we spar? Chapter 1545. Was Luo Xiang going to challenge Lu Ming? Many people were surprised and looked forward to the battle. Lu Ming was undoubtedly the biggest dark horse this time. He was only a LV4 martial royal realm cultivator, but he had killed a few top earthly spiritual bodies and forced the heavenly god sect, poison sect, and the other sects to challenge other sects and lose on purpose. Luo Xiang was not weak either. Those who knew Luo Xiang knew that he was a terrifying person. He had stopped at the peak martial saint realm for 15 years to nurture his sword soul. Now he was able to kill LV6 martial royal realm geniuses as a LV5 martial royal realm cultivator. His strength was unfathomable. Moreover, the life and death sword art was terrifying. What would happen if Luo Xiang challenged Lu Ming? Lu Ming stood up and stepped out of the fighting ring facing Luo Xiang. Lu Ming, how about we settle this in one move? Luo Xiang said. Sure. Lu Ming said. To be honest, he had a good impression of Luo Xiang. Luo Xiang was a true sword cultivator. He was sharp, decisive, and righteous. He had his own bottom line. Previously, when the Heavenly God Sect, Heavenly Universe Demon Sect, and Poison Sect were hunting the Dragon God Valley, Luo Xiang could not stand it anymore and killed the Heavenly God Sect's experts. He was a man who lived for the sword. Lu Ming, you have to be careful. My life and death swordsmanship can determine life and death with one move. It has the meaning of, I live and you die. If you can block my move, you win. Luo Xiang warned. Give it your all. If I die under your sword, I can only blame myself for not being good enough. Lu Ming said. There was a strong desire to fight in his eyes. He wanted to see the life and death sword art that was famous in the Tsang continent. Clang. Unsheathing his battle sword, Luo Xiang's body emitted a terrifying aura that soared into the sky. At that moment, Luo Xiang seemed to have turned into a peerless sword. He was no longer a human but a sword. However, the sword in his hand was not a sword but a person. At that moment, Luo Xiang's sword seemed to have come alive with a soul. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. He felt a strong pressure from Luo Xiang. It was rare to see a LV5 martial royal realm cultivator giving him such a strong pressure. Lu Ming's true essence began to circulate rapidly. The Emperor's spiritual weapon long spear appeared in his hand and the chaotic domain spread out. At the same time, Lu Ming's muscles and bones were wriggling slightly, ready to launch a terrifying attack at any time. Whoosh. At that moment, Luo Xiang made his move. A sword gleam cut through the void and pierced toward Lu Ming. Under this sword light, the void seemed to have been pierced through. Everything in the world seemed to have lost its color. It was as if this sword light was the only thing left in the world. Terrifying, sharp, and accurate. At this moment, Lu Ming felt as if there was a terrifying sword aura pressing down on his body, making it difficult for him to move. In the face of this sword, it was as if he could only be killed. At this moment, there was an earth-shattering dragon roar from Lu Ming's body. The dragon roar was vast and mighty, as though a real dragon had ascended to the 9 heavens. Lu Ming's true yuan surged as he broke through the Luo Xiang sword art. He merged with his spear and thrust forward. He had used the 13th strike of the accumulating force. The spear was covered in the chaotic domain. The sword art and the spear seemed to be the only things in the world at that moment. Clang. The spear and the sword art collided with each other like two meteors in the sky. A blinding light was emitted from the point of impact. It was like the sun had suddenly exploded, causing the heavens and earth to be filled with white light. Many people felt a piercing pain in their eyes. Those with weaker cultivations could not help but close their eyes. How terrifying. Who won? Those with stronger cultivations opened their eyes wide and stared at the scene before them with their true yuan. The blinding light disappeared in a flash. When it disappeared, the crowd could see a figure flying backward and landing on the fighting ring. The figure took a few steps back before coming to a stop. Luo Xiang. The one who retreated was Luo Xiang. At that moment, Luo Xiang's face was extremely pale. His hand that was holding the sword was trembling slightly. Lu Ming stood motionless. Dragon scales appeared on his body. What a terrifying sword. Lu Ming let out a long breath. There was a trace of shock in his eyes. In the moment of collision, Lu Ming's chaotic domain that covered his spear had been pierced through by Luo Xiang's sword chi. The terrifying sword chi followed the spear and broke into his body. Dragon scales appeared on his body to block the sword chi. Even so, there was still a tearing pain on the surface of his skin. From this, one could see how terrifying Luo Xiang's sword was. The life and death sword art. One sword could decide life and death. Every sword was a sword that could kill. Luo Xiang was much stronger than when he was in the Tsang Emperor's secret realm. This strength did not refer to the increase in cultivation, but the ability to fight against those of the same level. At that time, Lu Ming's spiritual body was only a low-grade earth spiritual body, but he could still defeat Luo Xiang. At that time, Luo Xiang was on the same level as Wang Jian and Shi Tian. But now, Luo Xiang could easily kill Wang Jian and Shi Tian of the same level. Spiritual body is still a mid-grade earth spiritual body, but it can release such a sword. Unbelievable. Lu Ming thought. I lost. Luo Xiang put away his sword and clasped his fists towards Lu Ming. That sword could be said to be Luo Xiang's strongest sword. If he couldn't defeat Lu Ming with that sword, he would lose. After saying that, Luo Xiang turned around and jumped off the stage. Lu Ming did not chase after him. He and Luo Xiang were originally exchanging pointers. After Luo Xiang jumped off the stage, Lu Ming turned around and returned to the platform. The challenges continued. The following battles calmed down, but there were undercurrents surging. Because more than 30 rounds had passed, there were very few people left on each platform. It was about to end. The remaining people were all experts. After a few more rounds, there were less than 10 people left on the 13 platforms. However, the remaining people were all top experts. Most of them were at the level of Bai Mo, Han Sun, and Mo. At this time, the people from the Heavenly God sect and Sky Demon sect had all been eliminated. A new round had begun. It was the Heavenly King Palace's turn to challenge. The Heavenly King Palace was very strong, not weaker than the Sky Demon sect and Poison sect. Now there were only 2 people left. Both of them were top experts. There was only one person left from the Demonic Moon sect. The leader of the Demonic Moon sect was also a top expert. There was only one person left from the 9 Heaven Sword sect, also a top expert. There was only one person left from the Linglong Palace, also a top expert. There was also one person from the Life and Death Sword faction and the Good Demon Castle. Including Lu Ming, there were a total of 8 people. There were only 8 people left. On the surface, the Heavenly King Palace was the strongest with 2 people left. However, at this time all the platforms were silent. The 2 top experts from the Heavenly King Palace glanced at the other people, but the one who they looked at the most was Lu Ming. The powerful figures from the other sects also cast their gazes on Lu Ming. Their gazes were solemn. Chapter 1546. According to the rules, the last person standing would get 7 Imperial Jade Pills as a reward. Who wouldn't want that? But if they wanted to get the Imperial Region Pills, they would have to defeat the others. Among the 8 people present, Lu Ming was undoubtedly a mountain that everyone who wanted to get first place had to overcome. Previously, Lu Ming had already displayed his terrifying combat strength and was able to kill top experts. The other 7 people were all wary of him. No one was confident that they would be able to defeat Lu Ming alone. There was a high chance that they would be defeated. Therefore they were extremely cautious in challenging him now. Heavenly King Palace, it's your turn. Hurry up and challenge him. The remaining Sky Prides from the Demon Castle said. What's the hurry? One of the Sky Prides from the Heavenly King Palace said coldly. Everyone, all of you want to get first place, right? A youth in purple gold armor from the Heavenly King Palace said. Isn't that obvious? The Sky Prides from the Demon Castle said. Of course. Who doesn't want to get first place? That's 7 Imperial Region Pills. Not only that, but you can also become famous in the Tsang state. The leader of the 9 Heaven Sword sect said. The others nodded. That's right. We all want to get first place. But I'll be honest. With Lu Ming here, none of us can get first place. The youth in purple gold armor from the Heavenly King Palace said. The others were silent. It was obvious that they agreed. Then what do you want to do? The Sky Prides from the Demon Castle asked. Let's team up and take turns to defeat Lu Ming. Then we'll fight it out. The youth in purple gold armor from the Heavenly King Palace said. Lu Ming glanced at the 2 from the Heavenly King Palace. He wasn't too surprised. With the combat strength that he had displayed previously, he had already expected that the other sects would take turns to fight him. Just like what the youth in purple gold armor had said, if they didn't defeat him, the others wouldn't be able to get first place. However, would it be that easy to defeat him? Lu Ming's lips curled into an inexplicable smile. I don't agree. There are 2 people from the Heavenly King Palace. Taking turns to fight him is beneficial to you. The Sky Prides from the Demonic Moon sect on the 4th platform sneered. Xiexia, this is the only way. If you don't do this, I'll challenge you now. Are you confident that you can defeat me? Even if you win, how much combat strength do you have? Even if I don't challenge you now, you will challenge someone else later. Who do you think you can challenge? The Heavenly King's Palace's purple golden armored youth asked a few questions, causing the others to fall silent again. That was indeed the case. After that, every battle would be a battle of the peak. No one could guarantee that they wouldn't be injured after defeating their opponent. That would only benefit the people behind them. In the end, no one was a match for Lu Ming. They had no other choice. I agree. The Demon Castle's genius was the first to agree. His geographical position was the best, so he could take turns fighting Lu Ming. After all, it would be his turn last. After so many rounds, Lu Ming would most likely be defeated. He would be at the back and could conserve his strength. I agree too. The Ling Long Palace's outstanding talent also spoke. The Ling Long Palace's position was also relatively towards the back. In the end, the Nine Heaven Sword sect nodded in agreement. In the end, only Xie Sha from the Demonic Moon sect was left, and his expression was ugly. His position was only behind the Sky King Hall. After the Sky King Hall's challenge, it would be his turn. I will be the first to challenge. The purple golden armored youth from the Sky King Palace said. All right, I agree. In the end, Xie Sha also nodded in agreement. At this point he had no other choice. Luckily, the purple golden armored youth was the first to challenge Lu Ming. At least he could exhaust some of Lu Ming's battle strength. When the time came, he might have a chance. After Xie Sha agreed, the purple golden armored youth from the Sky King Hall stepped onto the battle stage. He looked at Lu Ming and said, Lu Ming, how about you fight with me? As you wish. Lu Ming stepped out and landed on the battle stage. The purple golden armored youth's eyes were solemn as he said, Lu Ming, how about we fight? Let's spar without killing each other. What do you think? Sure. Lu Ming said. He had already offended the Heavenly God sect, Sky Universe Demon sect, and Poison Desire sect. He didn't want to offend any more sections. Seeing that Lu Ming had agreed, the purple golden armored youth heaved a sigh of relief. To be honest, it was a lie to say that he wasn't afraid of Lu Ming. After all, he was the one who had suggested taking turns to fight Lu Ming. He was really afraid that Lu Ming would kill him in a fit of anger. He wasn't confident that he could get out of the battle stage successfully. Be careful. The purple golden armored youth's body emitted a purple gold light. Even his skin had turned purple gold, making him look like a heavenly king. Boom. The purple golden armored youth stepped onto the battle stage. His body was like a giant beast as he charged towards Lu Ming. He threw out a punch, causing the void to tremble. The purple golden armored youth's fist smashed towards Lu Ming. Without a doubt, he was a genius on the same level as Han Sun and Mo Hao. If it was a normal battle, even Lu Ming would have to put in a lot of effort. However, Lu Ming didn't plan to fight a normal battle with the youth. Lu Ming's hands moved at a rapid speed like a phantom. A huge chaotic cyclic sky seal appeared in Lu Ming's hand. The chaotic cyclic sky seal wasn't at full strength. Like the previous battle with Mo Hao, it was only at 50% of its power. 50% of its power was enough. Lu Ming threw the chaotic cyclic sky seal at the purple golden armored youth. The purple golden armored youth's face changed drastically. He had seen the terrifying power of this move when Lu Ming had fought with Mo Hao. Heavenly King Pagoda. The purple golden armored youth roared. His purple gold body swelled and he grew taller. The purple golden armored youth's body shone brightly as he threw out both palms at the chaotic cyclic sky seal. Boom. The purple golden armored youth's palms hit the chaotic cyclic sky seal. His burly body shook violently as the purple golden armored youth's body flickered and exploded. Bam. The purple golden armored youth couldn't even stand properly. His bones creaked as he knelt down and spat out a mouthful of blood. Boom. At this time, Lu Ming started to form the chaotic cyclic sky seal again. Wait a minute, I don't want to fight anymore. The purple golden armored youth shouted. Then he rushed to the side of the fighting ring and flew to the spectators' stand behind the Heavenly King's hall to heal his injuries. Lu Ming didn't chase after him. This could save his true essence. The chaotic cyclic sky seal that was halfway formed dissipated. The others looked at each other in dismay. The purple golden armored youth was defeated by Lu Ming in one move and rushed off the fighting ring. Was the gap in their combat strength so big? The gap is not that big. Lu Ming's move should be his most powerful unique move. Its power is shocking. However, such a unique move consumes a lot of vital essence. It is also very terrifying. That's right. I believe Lu Ming can only use a few moves with such a move. Chapter 1547. Lu Ming returned to the 10th platform. Next it was Xiesha's turn. Xiesha's face turned ugly. The purple golden armored youth had only blocked one of Lu Ming's attacks before he was defeated. God knows how much true essence Lu Ming had used. If he were to challenge Lu Ming now, he was not confident at all. However, even if he went back on his promise and gave up on challenging Lu Ming, he wouldn't be able to make it to the end. If he didn't challenge Lu Ming, he would challenge others. However, none of the remaining challengers were weak. Even if he won, he would definitely be injured. Then, the next challenger would definitely challenge him and he would definitely lose. Fight. Xiesha gritted his teeth. He knew that he wouldn't be able to make it to the end. He might as well challenge Lu Ming and leave a good name for himself. With a movement of his body, Xiesha landed on the fighting ring. He looked at Lu Ming and said, "Lu Ming, how about we fight?" Lu Ming smiled faintly. He took a step forward and returned to the fighting ring. But Lu Ming didn't waste any time. He stepped onto the platform and formed a seal with his hands. A chaotic flipping sky seal appeared in his hands. Boom. Lu Ming threw the chaotic flipping sky seal at Xiesha. Xiesha's face changed drastically. Evil chi surged from his body. A blood-red moon appeared in his hands and he threw it at the chaotic flipping sky seal. Boom. There was an earth-shattering explosion. The blood-red moon and the chaotic flipping sky seal clashed. After a few breaths, the chaotic flipping sky seal collapsed. Xiesha's body was sent flying and he spat out a mouthful of blood. He looked at Lu Ming in shock. He finally understood how terrifying Lu Ming's chaotic flipping sky seal was. What kind of attack is this? Why is it so terrifying? Xiesha thought to himself. Bam. Lu Ming stepped forward and walked towards Xiesha. "I've lost this battle." Xiesha shouted and rushed down the fighting stage. Like the purple golden armored youth, he admitted defeat. These people had selfish motives. After receiving the first move, they understood that they were no match for Lu Ming. Otherwise, given their strength, they could receive the second move of the chaotic flipping sky seal. However, in that case they would be seriously injured. Like the purple golden armored youth, they were going to lose anyway. Why fight so hard? If they were severely injured, it would affect their cultivation. It would be better to leave it to the next challengers. Therefore, Xiesha was the same as the purple golden armored young man. After receiving one attack, he immediately admitted defeat. This time Lu Ming did not return to the platform. His gaze landed on the 9 Heaven Sword Sect powerhouse. "Next you should be challenging me, right? Come down." Swoosh. With a flash of sword light, the genius of the 9 Heaven Sword Sect stepped onto the battle stage. "Just like before, let's spar and not fight to the death," the prodigy of the 9 Firmament Sword Sect said. "Sure," Lu Ming said, and a chaotic flipping sky seal appeared in his hand. Lu Ming didn't want to waste time and threw the chaotic flipping sky seal at the 9 Heavenly Sword Sect's disciple. The huge chaotic flipping sky seal was like a mountain, completely enveloping the opponent. In such a battle platform, it was difficult for the opponent to dodge. He could only take it head-on. A sword chime sounded and a bright sword light shot up to the sky, slashing at the chaotic flipping sky seal. In the next moment, the sword light shattered and the chaotic flipping sky seal slammed down, causing the 9 Heavenly Sword Sect's disciple to vomit blood. His eyes were filled with unwillingness. He didn't want to lose like this, but he didn't know how many more moves Lu Ming could make. Fight. The 9 Heavenly Sword Sect's disciple became one with his sword and turned into a bright sword light, slashing at Lu Ming. Buzz. Lu Ming's body was covered in the chaotic domain. Another chaotic flipping sky seal appeared in his hand and attacked the 9 Heavenly Sword Sect's disciple. Oh no! The 9 Heavenly Sword Sect's disciple was shocked and quickly retreated. He wanted to dodge, but under the chaotic flipping sky seal he couldn't. Break! The 9 Heavenly Sword Sect's disciple slashed out hundreds of times. The bright sword light collided with the chaotic flipping sky seal, causing sparks to fly. The 9 Heavenly Sword Sect's disciple grunted as he was blasted off the battle platform by the chaotic flipping sky seal. His clothes were stained with blood and his face was as pale as a sheet. After taking 2 consecutive blows from the chaotic flipping sky seal, his injuries were more serious than the previous 2. How can Lu Ming's attack be so powerful? Indeed, it's too powerful. There's no way to fight it. The key is, how many times can he make such an attack? He's already made 4 attacks in a row. He should be reaching his limit soon. In the battle platform, Lu Ming looked at the Linglong Palace's disciple. The Linglong Palace's disciple was a beautiful woman. In fact, all the disciples of the Linglong Palace were women. Each of them was as beautiful as a flower. The Linglong Palace's disciple stepped forward with a beautiful smile on her face. She said softly, "Mr. Lu Ming, please have mercy on me." Her fragrance made one want to take pity on her, making one reluctant to make a move. However, Lu Ming condensed a chaotic flipping sky seal and threw it at the other party. The beautiful woman's face changed. She waved her hand and countless petals appeared. The petals formed a huge hand and pulled at the chaotic flipping sky seal. However, the result was the same. The huge hand collapsed and the beautiful woman slid 100 meters away on the battle platform. Blood flowed from the corner of her mouth. "Mr. Lu Ming, you don't know how to be gentle with a woman." The beautiful lady wiped away the blood at the corner of her mouth and glared at Lu Ming, seemingly coquettish and angry. "Fairy, you have amazing combat strength. If I were to be gentle with you, I would be the one to lose." Lu Ming took a step forward. The chaotic aura in his palm was rich and it kept on rolling. The beautiful woman had amazing combat strength. She was the least injured after taking his chaotic flipping sky seal. "Young Master Lu Ming, I wonder how many moves you can unleash with such a powerful move?" The beautiful woman smiled. "Why don't you give it a try?" Lu Ming smiled. Another chaotic flipping sky seal formed in his hand. The beautiful woman looked solemn. Countless petals swirled around her. The endless petals were colorful, making the beautiful woman look like a goddess. Boom. Lu Ming attacked for the second time. The second chaotic flipping sky seal blasted out. This time, the petals around the beautiful woman formed a shield in front of her. The chaotic flipping sky seal pressed down and the shield exploded. The beautiful woman retreated to the edge of the battle platform. Her body trembled and she spat out a mouthful of blood. "Fairy, do you want to try again?" Lu Ming asked. The beautiful woman's expression changed. Finally, she sighed and turned to leave the battle platform. Lu Ming had defeated another person. At this moment, the whole place was silent. Lu Ming had already defeated 4 people consecutively. Every one of them was a top-notch prodigy, a top existence who participated in the small gathering this time. However, Lu Ming had defeated 4 people consecutively. In addition to the 3 people that Lu Ming had killed previously, this time, Lu Ming alone had defeated 7 top-notch geniuses like them. Chapter 1548. However, this was not the end. There were still 3 people left. Would Lu Ming continue to create miracles? Would they be able to witness the birth of a miracle? After the beautiful girl from Linglong Palace, it was the turn of the strongest genius from Life and Death Sword faction. He was a cold-looking young man in a black robe. Just by standing there casually, he seemed to be emitting wisps of sword chi. He took a step forward and landed in front of Lu Ming. Powerful sword chi whizzed out and filled the fighting ring. "Make your move." The genius from Life and Death Sword faction said indifferently. He was not like the others who had agreed with Lu Ming beforehand that there would be no life or death battle. For Life and Death Sword faction, there was no such agreement. Their swords were too dangerous. Once they struck, it would be a life or death battle. Facing the genius from Life and Death Sword faction, Lu Ming did not dare to be careless. Boom. A chaotic cyclic seal appeared in Lu Ming's hand and blasted toward his opponent. Clang. The battle sword was unsheathed and a terrifying sword radiance cut through the void and slashed toward the chaotic cyclic seal. The dazzling sword radiance hit the chaotic cyclic seal and made an unpleasant sound. Bang. In the end, the terrifying sword radiance and the chaotic cyclic seal collapsed at the same time and dissipated in the air. Lu Ming and the genius from Life and Death Sword faction did not move at all. He blocked it. The genius from Life and Death Sword faction blocked Lu Ming's attack. How terrifying. Life and Death Sword faction is indeed worthy of their name. Their combat strength is so terrifying that they can block Lu Ming's attack head-on. Terrifying. The others are no match for them at all. I don't know how many more moves Lu Ming can make like that. This is going to be interesting. The fact that the genius from Life and Death Sword faction could block Lu Ming's attack attracted a lot of discussion. At the same time, many people were excited and were guessing who would win. Lu Ming was at a disadvantage. He had already fought a few people in front of him and the terrifying attacks had already been unleashed 7 times. Would Lu Ming's vital essence be able to withstand it? On the platform, the only remaining genius from the Fiend Castle and a genius from the Sky Seat Palace both had extremely grave expressions on their faces. The genius of the Life and Death Sword faction and Lu Ming were too strong. With the 2 of them around, they had no hope of reaching the end. Let's hope that both of them are seriously injured. The Sky Pride of the Heavenly King's Palace thought to himself. Not only him but the young man from the Demon Castle also thought the same. If Lu Ming and the young man from the Life and Death Sword faction were both injured, then they would have a chance. On the fighting ring, Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. To think that his opponent was able to block his primal chaos flipping sky seal unscathed. His combat prowess was truly terrifying. Again? The genius of the life and death sword faction had an intense battle intent in his eyes as he slashed out with his battle sword. Another terrifying sword light slashed towards Lu Ming. Boom. Lu Ming once again condensed the primal chaos flipping sky seal and collided with his opponent. This time it was still a tie. What a powerful sword technique. I can only increase the power of the primal chaos flipping sky seal. Lu Ming thought to himself. He formed a seal with his hands and another primal chaos flipping sky seal was condensed. However, the power of this primal chaos flipping sky seal was 70% of Lu Ming's full power. A terrifying aura filled the air and everyone was shocked. How can this be? Lu Ming's attack seems to have become stronger. This is unbelievable. Did he not use his full power just now? The scene was in an uproar as everyone was shocked. Lu Ming had not used his full power when he had unleashed such a terrifying attack. Now he had increased the power of his attack. What was Lu Ming's limit? Boom. The primal chaos flipping sky seal, which was 70% of its power, was directed towards the genius of the life and death sword faction. Life and death in a thought. The genius of the life and death sword faction said coldly. Then a sword light burst forth as he became one with his sword. A terrifying sword light slashed towards the primal chaos flipping sky seal. Boom. There was an earth-shattering explosion. The sword light and the primal chaos flipping sky seal dissipated. A figure retreated rapidly to the edge of the fighting ring before he could stabilize himself. It was the genius of the life and death sword faction. At this moment, the genius of the life and death sword faction was bleeding from the corner of his mouth. I've lost. After a moment of silence, the genius of the life and death sword faction said. He took a step forward and rushed down the fighting ring, landing on the spectator stand of the life and death sword faction. Phew. Secretly, Lu Ming heaved a long sigh of relief. He felt that he was lucky. The genius of the life and death sword faction was not seriously injured. If he had continued to fight, he would have been in trouble. This was because his true essence was about to be exhausted. He had used the primal chaos flipping sky seal so many times. Although he had not used his full power, the consumption of his true essence was still shocking. After so many times, his true essence was severely depleted. With the defeat of the genius of the life and death sword faction, there were only 2 people left on the fighting ring. Next, it was the turn of the youth from the demon castle. Do you want to continue to challenge me? Lu Ming looked at the youth from the demon castle. The youth from the demon castle looked terrible. However, he had no choice but to fight. Boom. The youth from the demon castle landed on the fighting ring, causing it to rumble. Lu Ming, I don't believe that your true essence is endless. The youth from the demon castle let out a roar. His body swelled rapidly and turned into a giant ape that was dozens of meters tall. The ancient divine ape was a terrifying divine beast. There was no doubt that the true form of the youth from the demon castle was an ancient divine ape. Moreover, it was a pure-blooded ancient divine ape, a true divine beast. The ancient divine ape let out a roar. A huge iron rod appeared in its hand and it smashed towards Lu Ming. Wind element skill. This time, Lu Ming did not use the primal chaos flipping sky seal. Instead, he used the wind element skill to dodge the attack of the ancient divine ape. Many people were stunned. Why did Lu Ming stop attacking? Although the ancient divine ape was strong, it was at most on the same level as Mo. It was not as strong as the genius from the life and death sword faction. Why did Lu Ming not defeat it directly? In the next moment they all knew the answer. Lu Ming waved his hand and a pile of origin stones appeared. The devouring power in Lu Ming's hand exploded and he started to devour the origin stones. He is absorbing the origin stones to recover. His true essence can't continue, it's all used up. Many people shouted. The eyes of the people from the Heavenly King's Hall and the Demon Castle lit up. Lu Ming had finally exhausted his true essence? The ancient divine ape was even more excited. The iron rod in its hand smashed towards Lu Ming like a storm. If he did not use this opportunity to defeat Lu Ming, he would not have another chance. Lu Ming used the wind element skill and dodged the attacks of the ancient divine ape. At the same time, he devoured the origin chi of the origin stones and refined them rapidly. Boom, boom, boom. Shadows of the rods smashed on the fighting ring, causing it to rumble non-stop. Lu Ming's body flickered as he shuttled through the shadows of the rods. The ancient divine ape is not good at speed. Damn it. Chapter 1549. At this moment he was the most anxious person. He could not wait for the ancient divine ape to blast Lu Ming off the fighting ring. It would be best if Lu Ming retaliated appropriately and injured the ancient divine ape. That would be perfect. That way he could easily defeat the ancient divine ape and clinch the victory. However, the ancient divine ape was not good at speed. Although its attacks were strong, it could not hit Lu Ming. Don't run. The ancient divine ape roared. Its iron rod kept swinging, but it could not hit Lu Ming. Lu Ming ignored it and focused on refining the origin stones. Junior brother Lu Ming, go for it. Tian Shui and Xuaningxin cheered for Lu Ming from the Dragon God Valley stands. Lu Ming will win. The disciples of the Dragon God Valley also cheered. Right now they were getting closer to the final victory. Most of the disciples of the Divine Dragon Valley hoped that Lu Ming would emerge victorious. It had been many years since the Divine Dragon Valley had won the first place at the Treasure Ding Ding meeting. Of course, there were a few who did not want Lu Ming to win. Those were the disciples of the Silver Dragon Valley and Hiyu. The ancient divine ape will smash him to death. Hiyu's eyes widened as he stared at the fighting ring. He did not want Lu Ming to win. Instead, he hoped that Lu Ming would be defeated or killed by the ancient divine ape. The disciples of the Silver Dragon Valley had similar thoughts. Unfortunately, they were destined to be disappointed. Lu Ming's movement technique was fast. The ancient divine ape was not good at speed. No matter how Hiyu attacked, Lu Ming would always be able to dodge it. The fight went on for more than 10 minutes. No, this can't go on. Lu Ming keeps dodging. What's the point? Let's declare him the loser. That's right. Are we going to keep this up? The disciples of the Monster Castle yelled. Humph, there is no rule in the treasure sorting party that says that you can't dodge. Movement technique is also a part of your combat power. The disciples of the Dragon God Valley sneered. Then if this continues, when will it end? 3 days? 5 days? Lu Ming is absorbing origin stones to restore his true essence during the competition. This is simply impossible. The origin energy he absorbs is less than the energy he consumes using his movement technique. If this continues, then he won't be able to finish the competition in half a month. The people from the Demon Castle retorted. The people of Dragon God Valley remained silent with cold faces. Indeed, if this were to go on, who knew when it would end? Furthermore, in the midst of the competition, absorbing the ores would definitely not be fast. This was not the way to go. Who said it would take 3 to 5 days? At this moment, Lu Ming's figure stopped and a faint voice was heard. Then a dragon's roar was heard and a punch was thrown out. Boom. Lu Ming's fist collided with the iron rod of the ancient divine ape, blocking the iron rod's attack. Not running anymore? Many people were stunned. If you don't want to run, then you'll lose. The ancient godly ape roared and continued to attack Lu Ming with the iron rod. This time it was even more powerful than before. You're the one who will lose. Lu Ming formed a seal with his hands, and a huge chaotic flipping sky seal appeared above the ancient godly ape's head and pressed down on him. It's that move again. How is this possible? Didn't he use up all his true essence? How can he use it again? Impossible. How can he absorb and refine the origin stones so quickly? Many people shouted in disbelief. They did not know the wonders of the devouring power. The devouring power could devour and refine the ores at an astonishing speed. Although it had only been a few minutes, it was enough for Lu Ming to recover a lot. It was enough for him to use the chaotic flipping sky seal at 50 to 60% of its strength a few times. The chaotic flipping sky seal pressed down, and the pressure made the ancient godly ape's heart palpitate. He could not care less about attacking Lu Ming and swung his iron rod upward. Boom. The huge iron rod hit the chaotic flipping sky seal, and a loud boom was heard. The ancient godly ape roared and his huge body shook violently. He kept retreating and the ground rumbled when he stepped on it. The ancient godly ape's arms kept shaking, and he almost lost his grip on the iron rod. Blood kept flowing out of his fangs. Buzz. The sky shook and another chaotic flipping sky seal was formed. I admit defeat. The ancient godly ape roared and his body shrank rapidly. He ran out of the fighting ring. Lu Ming smiled and waved his hand. The chaotic flipping sky seal in the sky dissipated. The ancient godly ape rushed down the fighting ring. There was no need to continue the fight. He knew that he would lose when Lu Ming formed 2 chaotic flipping sky seals in a row. Hence he admitted defeat. Another person. Lu Ming had defeated another person. In addition to the 3 people he had killed, 9 top supreme talents had been defeated by Lu Ming. There was only 1 person left, and that was 10 people. Come on, let's decide the winner. Lu Ming looked at the last person, the supreme talent from Heavenly King Hall. The supreme talent from Heavenly King Hall stepped onto the fighting ring and looked at Lu Ming with a solemn expression. Lu Ming, although you have absorbed some origin stones, you haven't recovered much. How many more moves can you make? The supreme talent from Heavenly King Hall asked to test Lu Ming. Why don't you give it a try? Lu Ming smiled. Of course. The supreme talent from Heavenly King Hall was filled with fighting spirit. His body started to turn golden. There was only one battle left. The supreme talent from Heavenly King Hall would not give up. Perhaps Lu Ming did not have much true origin left. As long as he could withstand a few more moves, he would be able to defeat Lu Ming. He had to take a gamble and fight with all his might. Heavenly King Apocalypse. The supreme talent from Heavenly King Hall turned golden. His body swelled up like the youth in purple armor, but the color was different. A golden giant sword appeared in his hand, and he charged at Lu Ming. At that moment, a chaotic flipping sky seal appeared in Lu Ming's hand. Boom. The chaotic flipping sky seal flew out and collided with the supreme talent from Heavenly King Hall. In the golden light, the supreme talent from Heavenly King Hall was sent flying. The golden light around his body dimmed and he spat out blood. He was injured in one move. However, the supreme talent from Heavenly King Hall did not give up and continued to charge forward. He was betting that Lu Ming's true origin would be depleted soon. However, to his despair, another chaotic flipping sky seal appeared in Lu Ming's hand. Boom. This time, the supreme talent from Heavenly King Hall was even more injured. Many of his bones were broken and his body shrunk. His aura was much weaker. However, there was still a look of determination in his eyes. He did not want to give up. Boom. Another huge primal chaos flipping sky seal appeared in the sky. I have lost. At that moment, the supreme talent from Heavenly King Hall said helplessly. He knew that it was impossible for him to win. With this move from Lu Ming, he would definitely die. He struggled to charge out of the fighting ring. Lu Ming looked on calmly. The chaotic flipping sky seal did not attack. After the supreme talent from Heavenly King Hall rushed out of the fighting ring, Lu Ming waved his hand and the chaotic flipping sky seal disappeared. Whoosh. Chapter 1550. This battle was really not easy to win. If he didn't have the chaotic flipping sky seal, a heaven-defying domain-type martial technique, he wouldn't have been able to win against so many experts. That is, unless his cultivation base was one level higher. We won, Lu Ming won. Dragon God Valley won first place. The disciples of Dragon God Valley shouted excitedly. Some of them were so excited that they were trembling with tears in their eyes. The Dragon God Valley had a hard time in this battle. From the beginning they were targeted by the Heavenly God Sect, the Sky Universe Demon Sect, and the Poison Sect. They kept killing the disciples of Dragon God Valley. At that time they were furious and helpless. They even thought that they would be the first to be eliminated and not be able to participate in this treasure sorting meeting. However, they did not expect the situation to turn around. When there were only 4 people left, the Dragon God Valley started to fight back and took the initiative. In the end, when Lu Ming was the only one left, he defeated his opponents consecutively with his invincible talent and clinched the first place. With such a huge contrast, the disciples of the Dragon God Valley were very excited. Of course, Yu and the disciples of Silver Dragon God Valley all looked gloomy. However, the disciples of the Heavenly God Sect, the Sky Universe Demon Sect, and the Poison Sect looked even worse. In this battle, the 3 great sects could be said to have lost everything. They had suffered a double loss and suffered heavy losses. Although they had killed many people from the Divine Dragon Valley, they were those with weak cultivation levels and were not very talented. However, those who had died in the hands of Lu Ming and the rest were true geniuses. Many of them were elites with medium earth spiritual bodies. In particular, the 3 people who were killed by Lu Ming were elites with high earth spiritual bodies. They had suffered heavy losses. The people of the other sects also had complicated expressions. At this moment, everyone's eyes were fixed on the fighting ring, on the handsome and tall figure. In a sense, this treasure sorting meeting was a grand event for one person. That person was Lu Ming. Lu Ming alone dominated this competition. This was something that had never happened since the Treasure Ding Assembly was established. The treasure peddling meeting this time seemed to be held solely for Lu Ming. Ah, good. In the pavilion of the Dragon God Valley, the Saint Realm Elder stepped out and laughed. He said good 3 times, showing how excited the Saint Realm Elder was. Now it's time for the reward. The Saint Realm Elder of Dragon God Valley looked at the pavilion of the Celestial God Sect. The Sage Stage Elder of the Celestial God Sect flew out with an ugly expression. He reluctantly took out a jade bottle and said, The last person remaining in this small meeting will be rewarded with 7 Emperor Domain pills. Then he tossed the jade bottle to Lu Ming. Lu Ming caught it and opened it to take a look. There were 7 sparkling and translucent Emperor's Domain pills inside. They were dazzling and resplendent, and they emitted a rich medicinal fragrance. Just a whiff of the medicinal fragrance was enough to make one feel comfortable all over. Countless envious and jealous gazes were cast at Lu Ming. Lu Ming smiled and looked at Tianshui, Xuanixin and Han Sun. He said, "Senior brother Han Sun, senior brother Tianshui, senior sister, come to the battle stage." They were stunned and stepped onto the battle stage one after another. "Senior brother Han Sun, this Emperor's Domain pill is for you." Lu Ming poured out an Emperor's Domain pill and handed it to Han Sun. Han Sun was stunned and he quickly declined, saying, "I can't accept this. The rule of the small meeting is that only the last person remaining will receive the reward. You're the last person, so the reward naturally belongs to you." Han Sun shook his head. "Senior brother Han Sun, you don't have to be so polite. You were seriously injured in the battle with Saint Yu. This Emperor's Domain pill is what you deserve." Lu Ming said and handed the Emperor's Domain pill over. Seeing Lu Ming's sincere attitude, Han Sun hesitated and said, "Then Han Sun will thank junior brother Lu Ming." Saying this, he received the Emperor's Domain pill with joy. The Emperor's Domain pill was extremely helpful to him. With the help of the Emperor's Domain pill, he would be able to rank up to the 7th layer Martial Dominator realm in no time. "Senior brother, senior sister, there are still 6 pills left. We'll take 2 each." Lu Ming glanced at Tianshui and Xuanixin. "No way. Junior brother, it's all because of you that you were able to come first in the battle. We didn't help you at all." Xuanixin shook her head. "That's right. I'm worried that you'll share it with us." Tianshui rejected too. "How about this, you'll take 1 each, what do you think?" Lu Ming said with a smile. Tianshui and Xuanixin hesitated for a moment before agreeing. After giving 1 to Tianshui and Xuanixin, Lu Ming kept the remaining 4 Emperor's Domain pills. The 4 Emperor's Domain pills should be able to improve his cultivation. Wait. At that instant, a few figures entered the battle stage. They were Hiyu, Yinqing, and a few other disciples of the Silver Dragon Valley. The one who spoke was Hiyu. "Lu Ming, are you going to keep the rest of the Emperor's Domain pills? So many of us have taken part in the trial. Are you planning to keep them all to yourself?" Hiyu said with a hollow laugh. "Oh, what do you want?" Lu Ming said calmly. "Of course we'll share them." Hiyu said with a hollow laugh. "Share them? Bullshit, the rules of the trial state that only the last person will be rewarded. Why should junior brother Lu Ming share the Emperor's Domain pills?" Tianshui snapped in an unpleasant tone. "Humph, we all contributed to Lu Ming being able to stay until the end. How could we not share them?" Hiyu said. "Contributed?" Lu Ming said as he looked at Hiyu with disdain. "You're a coward and you didn't follow the rules. You were the first to rush up and you purposely lost. Is this your contribution?" "I did it on purpose to leave behind a useful body. Otherwise I'd just be throwing my life away. Moreover, we were facing such a situation in the beginning. So many of our brothers died because you offended the 3 great sects of the Heavenly God sect." Hiyu quibbled and made a false accusation in the end. "Is that so?" Lu Ming said coldly. Suddenly Lu Ming moved. He took a step forward and slapped Hiyu. Hiyu was shocked. He had never expected Lu Ming to attack him. Slap. There was a crisp sound of a slap. Lu Ming had slapped Hiyu's face directly. Hiyu's body was sent flying like a sandbag. He landed heavily on the ground below the fighting ring. Half of his face was smashed. Lu Ming did not want to waste his breath on such a person. He would fight if he could. Hiyu was completely dumbfounded. He lay on the ground and covered his smashed face as he stared blankly at Lu Ming. "What right does a piece of trash like you have to share the Emperor's Domain pills?" Lu Ming said coldly. At this moment, Hiyu came to his senses and shouted crazily, "Lu Ming, you're audacious and lawless. Do you think you can do whatever you want just because you have some strength? Senior and junior brothers, am I right? All of us have contributed, so why should the reward be given to him alone?" Chapter 1551. However, those youths were all looking at Hiyu with disdain. Lu Ming had gotten the reward himself. They were not so despicable as to split the reward with Lu Ming. You. Hiyu was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood when he saw everyone's disdainful gazes. He looked at the Sage Realm Elder and said, "Elder, you must uphold justice. Shut up and get lost. Don't embarrass yourself here." The Sage State Elder scolded coldly and looked at Hiyu with disgust. He turned pale and stood there tongue-tied. Do you want to be slapped too? Lu Ming looked at the people from Silver City. The people from Silver City turned pale. They did not dare to say a word and quickly left the fighting ring. Alright, this meeting has ended perfectly. Disciples of the 7th level and above, go back and prepare for the treasure sorting meeting. The sage state elder of Dragon God Valley said and stepped into the air. Buzz. At this moment, there was a terrifying fluctuation in the sky. A ray of Saint Light fell from the sky and attacked Lu Ming. This ray of Saint Light was too terrifying. It was like a divine sword and its speed was unbelievable. Danger. Danger. At this moment, Lu Ming sensed a fatal danger. The muscles all over his body tightened and his hair stood on end. His instincts told him to retreat, to dodge, but his body seemed to be frozen in place, unable to move at all. Who is it? The sage state elder of Dragon God Valley roared, but it was too late to help. The terrifying ray of Saint Light was about to land on Lu Ming's head. At this moment, there were ripples in the space around Lu Ming like water waves. Poof! The ray of sword light pierced Lu Ming's head. However, Lu Ming's body shattered like glass. It was an afterimage. Then the space rippled. Lu Ming's body reappeared a few meters away. On Lu Ming's shoulder, Bubble's body glowed as it chirped. It seemed that Lu Ming really thought that he was going to die just now. That was an attack that he couldn't resist. Fortunately, Bubble acted in time. The pressure in the air grew even stronger. Lu Ming looked up and his pupils shrank. A white figure was walking down from the sky step by step. Son of God. He was the Son of God who was known as the leader of the top 10 geniuses. Many people were shocked. The Son of God had appeared and even attacked Lu Ming. Could it be that Lu Ming had killed so many people from the Celestial Divine Sect and ruined the Celestial Divine Sect's plan to come in first place? Hence, the Son of God wanted to kill Lu Ming out of anger? A terrifying pressure emanated from the deity's body, pressing down on Lu Ming, Tianque, and Xuanixin. It was as if a mountain was pressing down on them. Space-time domain. It seems that you were the one who secretly sabotaged the Dragon Palace. The Son of God said indifferently as he looked down at Lu Ming coldly. Finally, his gaze fell on Bubble and a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. Lu Ming didn't say anything. He knew what the Son of God was talking about. The Son of God was talking about the sabotage of his God-forbidden ancient void talisman in the Dragon Palace. The attack just now was a test. Bubble had used the space-time domain, which proved that the person who sabotaged the Dragon Palace was Lu Ming. Of course, if it wasn't Lu Ming, the attack just now would have killed Lu Ming. Why would the Son of God care if he killed the wrong person? Then the Son of God glanced at Tianque and Xuanixin and said coldly, "You were the ones who took away the Dragon Palace's treasury?" "Yes, it was us," Lu Ming said. "Treasures depend on luck and wisdom. Those who are fated will get them." What a joke. Luck and wisdom. Everything is in vain in front of absolute power. The Son of God said indifferently. He stood in the air, his body emitting a milky white holy light like a deity. His tone was full of dominance and confidence in his own power. Lu Ming sneered and said with a hint of mockery, "How did that treasure fall into our hands? After I kill you today, the treasure will still be mine." Strong murderous intent burst out from the Son of God's eyes. The Son of God had won first place in 2 consecutive treasure sorting meetings and was the leader of the top 10 prodigies in the Zhangzhou state. Everything he did was smooth sailing. No one could compete with him for any treasure. But last time in the trip to the Dragon Palace he suffered many losses. They had used the Divine Restriction Ancient Void Talisman, but Lu Ming had secretly destroyed it. Later on they had chased after the Black Real Dragon's corpse, but the Black Real Dragon's corpse had escaped in the end. As for the Dragon Palace treasure house, it had fallen into the hands of Lu Ming and the other 2. Unknowingly, he seemed to have suffered a great loss in front of Lu Ming and the other 2. Therefore he had to kill Lu Ming and the other 2, especially Lu Ming. The surrounding people had different expressions, but they all understood that Lu Ming and the Son of God must have had a conflict because of an opportunity. And from the looks of it, the Son of God was at a disadvantage. No wonder his murderous intent was so strong. Haha, Lu Ming actually offended the Son of God. Serves him right. Serves him right. Not far away, Hiu, Silver City, and the others were shouting in their hearts. They gloated and wanted the Son of God to kill Lu Ming immediately. Boom. Holy light shone from the Son of God's body. Endless holy light condensed into a long sword that stood between heaven and earth. Its vast power made many youths tremble. Swoosh. The terrifying sword light slashed violently toward Lu Ming. At this moment, black wings appeared behind Lu Ming's back and a shield appeared in front of him. Tian Shui and Xuening Xin both took out their holy weapons. How could they just sit and wait? Stop! The Saintess Elder of Dragon God Valley roared. She stepped in the air like a true dragon and reached out a dragon claw toward the sword light. Boom! Heaven and earth roared. The dragon claw and the sword light dissipated. Old man, why are you meddling in the affairs of the younger generation? The Saintess Elder of Heavenly God Sect rushed out from the pavilion and slammed his palm toward the Saintess Elder of Dragon God Valley. The two of them clashed and the sky trembled. Their bodies shook and stood in opposite directions. Vast Saintess aura filled the air as the two of them faced each other. Go away! The Saintess Elder of Dragon God Valley shouted. I told you, why are you meddling in the affairs of the younger generation? Let them settle it themselves. The Saintess Elder of Heavenly God Sect sneered. That's right. The treasure auction has ended. We old men have no reason to meddle in the affairs of the younger generation. The Saintess Elder of Heavenly Universe Demon Sect said coldly. Then the Saintess Elder of Desire Poison Sect also appeared. He locked onto the Saintess Elder of Dragon God Valley to prevent him from meddling. The Saintess Elder of Dragon God Valley looked terrible. These people were determined to kill Lu Ming here. Is the Heavenly God Sect such a sore loser? Seeing that Dragon God Valley and Lu Ming won first place, you want to send people to kill Lu Ming. Are you allowed to win but not others? Chapter 1552. Nonsense. The Sage Realm Elder of the Celestial God Sect shouted and looked at Qiu Yingying coldly. Qiu Yingying raised her head stubbornly and looked back at him. That's right. The Celestial God Sect is such a sore loser. If you had said so earlier, we wouldn't have competed with you. We would have given you the first place. That's right. Let the other sects not participate. Tell the world that the Celestial God Sect is the first in the world. The other disciples of the Dragon God Valley also shouted and glared at the deity and the Sage Realm Elder of the Celestial God Sect. They directly said that the deity wanted to kill Lu Ming because Lu Ming had won first place. That was why the Celestial God Sect wanted to kill Lu Ming. Shut up! The deity shouted coldly. His voice was like thunder, and a terrifying aura pressed down on the disciples of the Dragon God Valley. The disciples of the Dragon God Valley were shocked, as if a mountain was pressing down on them, making it hard for them to breathe. I, the deity, have never needed a reason to kill. But today I will give you one. The deity said indifferently. Because they have done something they shouldn't have done. Therefore they must die. Even if today's meeting didn't happen, they must die. Hee, what do you mean by something you shouldn't have done? Didn't you just let a few people with lower cultivation than you take away your treasures? Deity, how dare you kill people? A deep voice was heard. In the void, a purple light flashed and a figure appeared in the sky. Zifeng. The demon of the Dragon God Valley, Zifeng. You want to stop me? The deity looked at Zifeng coldly. If you want to kill the people of the Dragon God Valley, we must fight. Zifeng replied. You are no match for me. The deity said coldly. We haven't fought for 3 years. Not necessarily. Zifeng said with a strong fighting spirit in his eyes. Is that so? Then I will kill you first. The deity was very aggressive. He took a step forward and the world rumbled. Terrifying saint light shot up into the sky and turned into a snow-white saint sword, slashing towards Zifeng. Brr. Zifeng let out a loud roar, and the sound of a dragon's roar reverberated in the air. Purple light radiated from his body, and dense purple dragon scales appeared on his skin. 2 dragon horns actually sprouted from his forehead. As for Zifeng's hands, they transformed into dragon claws. With a roar, Zifeng charged at the Son of God. His claws continued to claw out, shattering the Son of God's holy blade. Holy light slash. The divine child's expression remained calm. He clenched his fist in the air and holy light coalesced into a holy blade, slashing at Zifeng. Boom, boom. The 2 monstrous geniuses continued to fight in the air, exchanging more than 10 moves. The sky seemed to be divided into white and purple. The oppressive pressure made it difficult for people to breathe. How terrifying. Is this the power of the top 10 monstrous geniuses? It's amazing. I've seen semi-sage experts fight before. But they weren't as strong as this. They can easily kill an ordinary semi-sage expert, right? How terrifying. How could someone below the Saint Realm reach such a level? Many people cried out, feeling extremely shocked. Even the Sage Realm elders had grave expressions on their faces. Clearly, these Saint Realm experts had no choice but to pay attention to such combat prowess. The sky was completely covered by white and purple light. 2 figures were crisscrossing each other. Occasionally dragon roars could be heard. Boom. Suddenly there was a terrifying tremor in the sky. A figure quickly retreated, taking dozens of steps back in the air before coming to a stop. Was Zifeng. At this moment, there was a deep cut on Zifeng's body that went straight to his bones. There was a terrifying power of holy light that was constantly eroding Zifeng's body. There was a trace of blood at the corner of Zifeng's mouth. His aura was somewhat weak. Could it be that Zifeng was defeated? In the air, the Son of God strolled out. His clothes were neat and tidy and his aura was stable. It didn't seem like he had just experienced a great battle. Everyone was shocked. It seemed that the Son of God had won, and it didn't seem like a difficult victory. The Son of God was indeed the leader of the top 10 monstrous geniuses of the Tsang state. Although they were both top 10 monstrous geniuses, Zifeng didn't seem to be a match for the Son of God. I've said it before. You're no match for me. Today I want to kill the three of them. No one can save them. The Son of God said, full of confidence. No one could save whoever he wanted to kill. This was the dominance of the Son of God. Originally, if he wanted to kill Lu Ming and the other two, he could have chosen to do it elsewhere. That way there would be less resistance and it would be easier. However, he chose to do it here because he was that domineering. He wanted to kill Lu Ming and the other two in front of everyone to build his reputation. Ah! At this moment, Lu Ming laughed. His laughter was full of mockery. What are you laughing at? The Son of God said coldly. I'm laughing at you, Son of God. You want to kill me only because you're afraid. Why do you have to find so many high-sounding reasons? Lu Ming laughed. I'm afraid. What a joke. What do you have that makes me afraid? The Son of God said. Because of my potential. Today you've seen my potential. You're afraid that I'll catch up to you in the future. You're afraid that I'll take the first place in the treasure sorting convention 3 years later. That's why you're afraid. You're afraid of my potential. That's why you want to kill me today to prevent future troubles. Lu Ming said loudly. The words caused the hearts of many to shudder. The potential that Lu Ming had displayed this time was indeed shocking. With a cultivation of the 4th layer martial emperor realm, he had defeated and killed 10 top experts consecutively and obtained the first place in the treasure ordering party. In the history of the Tsang continent, there had never been such a shocking achievement since the treasure ordering party was established. Lu Ming did have the potential to be a threat to the Son of God. Lu Ming's cultivation was still weak now, but in another 6 or 9 years, would he be able to defeat the Son of God? Could it be that the Son of God was not afraid at all? Such a thought emerged in many people's minds. The Son of God wore a cold expression as he said, You will never be my match. I have no match in the Tsangzhou continent. My opponents are outside of the Tsangzhou continent. The Son of God spoke with great confidence. Among his peers in the Tsangzhou continent, there was no one worthy of his attention. He had set his sights outside of the Tsangzhou continent to compete with the peerless geniuses outside of the Tsangzhou continent. Even the terrifying geniuses of the monarch forces were his match. Since you are so confident, I will challenge you now. In 3 years, at the treasure sorting convention, we will fight to the death. Do you dare? Lu Ming said loudly, his voice echoing throughout the entire place. Lu Ming's voice was also filled with great confidence. He had also come this far by stepping over the bodies of countless geniuses. He was also confident that he was invincible. The Son of God had a better background. He had been cultivating in the heavenly god sect of Yuanlu since he was young. The cultivation environment there was much better than Lu Ming's. Moreover, the Son of God was at least 7 or 8 years older than Lu Ming. Now, the Son of God's cultivation was much higher than his, which was why he could look down on him from the sky. However, he was confident that in a few years, he would be able to catch up to the Son of God and stand in front of him as an equal. He would not be looked down upon like he was now. Chapter 1553. The deity stood in the air and looked down at Lu Ming. He did not change his mind because of Lu Ming's words. His eyes were filled with killing intent. Ah, what a joke. What kind of provocation is this? You are clearly afraid. Or rather, the celestial sect is afraid that I will grow stronger. So, they sent you here to find a reason to kill me. Otherwise, why would they not even dare to accept my challenge? Lu Ming said. No matter how glib your tongue is, you will still die today. The deity shouted coldly. Holy light burst out and formed a holy light blade that illuminated the area. Zifeng let out a dragon's roar and charged at the deity. Get lost. The sage realm elder of Dragon God Valley roared. He wanted to help Zifeng, but he was blocked by the sage realm elders of the celestial sect. In addition, the elders of the desire poison sect were glaring at him. Let's go. Lu Ming sent a message to Tian Shui and Xuanixin and prepared to retreat. However, at this moment, the clouds in the sky surged and a foot appeared in the void. This foot was like the foot of a giant. It was huge and came down from the sky, stomping down on the deity. "Who is it?" The deity roared. Holy light burst out and he slammed his palm into the sky, forming a holy light palm print that blasted towards the giant foot. However, when the palm print came into contact with the giant foot, it collapsed. The giant foot did not stop and continued to stomp on the deity. The deity roared and a white jade pagoda appeared on his body. The white jade pagoda expanded and a vast sage realm aura burst out. Boom. The giant foot stomped on the white jade pagoda. The pagoda shook violently and the light shield on the pagoda collapsed. Bam. The deity's body fell like a meteorite and crashed heavily on the fighting ring. A terrifying roar came from the fighting ring and cracks appeared on it. One should know that the fighting ring was extremely hard. Lu Ming and the others had not been able to leave a mark on the fighting ring, but now the fighting ring had cracked. The deity's face was pale and he spat out a mouthful of blood. He struggled to get up and his hair danced in the wind. He was filled with killing intent as he stared at the sky. A burly figure appeared in the sky and stepped down. The figure seemed to be in his 30s. He had a burly figure and was emitting a vast aura. "Third senior brother, it's third senior brother. Third senior brother is here. That's great." Tian Shui and Xuanixin shouted excitedly when they saw the man. "Third senior brother?" Lu Ming's heart stirred. His master, the Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley, had a total of 9 true disciples. However, Lu Ming had only met his second senior brother Long Yuanshan, Tian Shui and Xuanixin. He had not met any of the other senior brothers and sisters. It was said that this third senior brother, Yang Tianzong, had broken through to the Saint Realm more than 10 years ago. He often went out to train. Who would have thought that he would appear here? 7th junior brother, 8th junior sister, long time no see. Yang Tian, Zhang Tian and Xuanixin nodded. They then looked at Lu Ming and said, "This must be junior brother. You are indeed a dragon among men." Lu Ming greets third senior brother. Lu Ming cupped his fists at Yang Tianzong. "Aha, there's no need to be so polite. Let's settle this first." Yang Tianzong laughed and looked at the deity. He sneered and said, "You are very arrogant. Come, let me see what you can do." Boom. Yang Tianzong took a step forward and a terrifying aura emanated from his body. It was the aura of a sage, the aura of a sage. The terrifying aura of a sage pressed down on the deity. At the same time, Yang Tianzong stretched out his hand and a huge dragon claw appeared, grabbing at the deity. Whoosh! A terrifying demonic saber slashed out from the side. A combat sword made of poisonous gas pierced through the void and collided with the dragon claw, blocking it. At the same time, 2 elders appeared in front of Yang Tianzong. They were the Sage Realm elders of the Desire Poison sect and the Sky Universe Demon sect. "This is a matter of the younger generation. Why are you, a sage, interfering? Let them settle it themselves. If you want to fight, I will accompany you," the elder of the Sky Universe Demon sect said coldly. The elder of the Desire Poison sect did not say anything, but his attitude said it all. His body was filled with poisonous gas that kept rolling. "2 old men, I will deal with you first." Yang Tianzong's eyes turned cold as he roared like a dragon. Dragon scales appeared on his arms as he took a step forward and charged towards the Saint Realm elders of the Desire Poison sect and the Sky Universe Demon sect. "Kill! Kill!" The elders of the Desire Poison sect and the Sky Universe Demon sect shouted as they charged at Yang Tianzong with terrifying auras. Boom! 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 There were 5 to 6 explosions in the sky. Then the crowd saw 2 figures frantically retreating. Their bodies were trembling and there was a claw mark on each of their bodies. Their bodies were almost pierced through and their bodies were covered in blood. They had lost. The 2 Sage Realm elders of the Desire Poison sect and the Sky Universe Demon sect had joined forces and attacked together. However, they had been defeated in just 5 to 6 moves. They had been injured by Yang Tianzong and their clothes were stained with blood. The difference in their combat strength was too great. "This time I will spare your lives. Next time I will kill you," Yang Tianzong said coldly. The 2 Sage Realm elders of the Desire Poison sect and the Sky Universe Demon sect had ugly expressions on their faces. However, there was fear in their eyes. "Also, let me correct you on one thing. I'm still a few years away from 50 years old. Therefore, I am still part of the younger generation. As for cultivation, this kid is a sage to be and he is 7 to 8 years older than my junior brother. If he can attack my junior brother, why can't I attack him?" Having said that, Yang Tianzong looked at the deity's son again. Boom. Yang Tianzong suddenly took a step forward and a giant foot that looked exactly like Yang Tianzong appeared in the sky and stomped down on the deity's son again. The deity's son shouted as he tried to block the attack with his holy weapon. However, he was almost flattened by the attack. He knelt on the ground and vomited blood. Don't you think that you are strong? Aren't you just trash in front of me? Yang Tianzong mocked. You have only cultivated for 10 more years than me. If you give me 10 more years, no, 5 more years, I will be able to stomp you under my feet. The deity's son shouted angrily as his eyes turned red. He was the deity's son and he was extremely talented. Ever since he rose to power, he had been surrounded by many people. He had never been humiliated like this before. He had knelt on the ground in front of everyone. At that moment he was furious. He wanted to kill Yang Tianzong and everyone else who had witnessed the scene. You are not qualified to challenge me. If you want to challenge me, you will have to defeat my junior brother in 3 years' time. If you can defeat my junior brother, I will give you a chance to challenge me. Yang Tianzong sneered. All right. The deity's son shouted as he looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming, I accept your challenge. We will fight at the treasure sorting meeting in 3 years' time. I will take your life in 3 years' time. Lu Ming said coldly. Aha, how arrogant of you. However, let me tell you this. I will definitely break through to the Saint Realm in 3 years' time. If you want to challenge me, you will have to defeat my junior brother and pass the treasure sorting meeting. Only then will you be qualified to challenge me. The deity's son said coldly as he regained his confidence. He firmly believed that he would not be defeated. Chapter 1554. The divine son will break through to the Saint Realm in 3 years. Many people were shocked. However, it was normal. The divine son had been in the Sage-to-Be realm for almost 10 years. With his talent, it would not be difficult for him to break through to the Saint Realm. Once he broke through to the Saint Realm, his status would be completely different. He would truly enter the upper echelons of the Zhangzhou state. At the same time, he would not be able to participate in the treasure sorting convention. No one else would have a chance if a Sage-to-Be participated in the treasure sorting convention. In other words, if Lu Ming wanted to challenge the divine son, he would have to pass the treasure sorting convention. If he was killed at the treasure sorting convention, there would be no way to challenge him. In 3 years, Lu Ming won't stand a chance. Someone shook his head and sighed. That's right. He won't stand a chance. Others shook their heads. Lu Ming was only in the LV4 martial royal realm. In 3 years, no matter how fast Lu Ming improved, it would be extremely fast for him to reach the LV8 or even the LV9 martial royal realm. However, what was the use of reaching the LV8 or LV9 martial royal realm? How could he fight with the divine son? Even if the divine son was still in the Sage-to-Be realm, Lu Ming would not be his match. Once the divine son broke through to the Saint Realm, Lu Ming would not stand a chance. It was not impossible for someone to become a Sage-to-Be before reaching the Saint Realm. Since ancient times, not many people had been able to do so. Every one of those people was a terrifying genius whose name shook the world. Then I'll let you live for 3 more years. The divine son said coldly. Then, without saying anything else, he turned and left. He turned into a beam of saint light and disappeared. Let's go. The Saint Realm elder of the Celestial God sect shouted and left. The disciples of the Celestial God sect hurriedly followed and left. After the people of the Celestial God sect left, the people of the Sky Universe Demon sect and the Poison sect also left. Then the people of the other sects also left. Lu Ming, if there's a chance, let's fight again in the future. Luo Xiang from the Life and Death Sword sect said loudly. Okay, let's fight another day. Lu Ming said. Goodbye. Luo Xiang cupped his fists and left. Thank you for your help, third senior brother. Lu Ming, Tianshui and Xuanning Xin cupped their fists at Yang Tianzong. Haha, you and I are brothers, there's no need to be so courteous. This time I just happened to pass by Tsang Mountain and wanted to take a look. I didn't expect to encounter something like this. Yang Tianzong laughed heartily. Third senior brother, youngest junior brother defeated and killed 10 prodigies with superior earthly spiritual bodies all by himself and won first place in the treasure sorting party. Xuanning thought. Oh. Amazing, amazing. Little junior brother is truly blessed by the heavens. It's still master who has good taste. Yang Tianzong's eyes lit up. He hadn't been here for long, so he didn't know that Lu Ming had won first place at the treasure ordering convention. Senior brother, you flatter me. After that, everyone chatted as they flew toward the Dragon God Valley. Among the crowd of Dragon God Valley, Hiyu, Silver City, and the others were filled with unwillingness. Damn it, even under such circumstances, Lu Ming managed to escape. Hiyu cursed in his heart. Soon, everyone returned to the Dragon God Valley. Junior brother, junior sister, you've had a great battle. You should go back to your rooms to heal, Yang Tianzong said. Tian Shui and Xuanning nodded. They had been severely injured in the previous battle and were far from recovering. Many of the other disciples of Dragon God Valley were also injured and had returned to their rooms to heal. Everyone returned to their rooms. When Lu Ming returned to his room, he took out a pile of origin stones and devoured them to recover his true origin. Half a day later, Lu Ming had fully recovered. At this moment, Lu Ming waved his hand and a few storage rings appeared in his hand. He had obtained all of them from killing his opponents at the treasure sorting party. Lu Ming began to count them. When he was done, Lu Ming was overjoyed. This time he had gained a lot. One should know that the people he had killed were all prodigies and were extremely wealthy. Needless to say, there were hundreds of millions of origin stones. There were also dozens of spiritual weapons of the Emperor level. There were even as many as 6 sacred weapons. In particular, there were 3 sky-piercing flying shuttles. The 3 sky-piercing flying shuttles were found in the storage rings of the 3 top prodigies, Mo He and Wu Qiandu. It was really a case of searching high and low for something only to find it by chance. Lu Ming had always wanted to buy a sky-piercing flying shuttle. He did not expect to obtain 3 at once. Lu Ming picked one, erased the mark of its original owner and began to refine it. It was very easy to refine the sky-piercing flying shuttle. In less than a day, Lu Ming had refined it. The sky-piercing flying shuttle floated above Lu Ming's palm and changed its size according to Lu Ming's will. After playing with it for a while, Lu Ming put away the sky-piercing flying shuttle and took out the flowing element gloves to refine it. In the blink of an eye, another 3 days had passed. In the past few days, news of what had happened at the Treasure Ding Ding convention had quickly spread throughout the Tsang Mountain. Furthermore, it had spread to the entire Tsang province at an extremely fast speed. Lu Ming's name shook everyone's heart. The most talked about in this competition was Lu Ming's name. He had defeated and killed 10 top prodigies all by himself and obtained first place. In the end, he had challenged the God's Son. 3 years later, he would fight the God's Son to the death. Although no one was optimistic about Lu Ming's chances, believing that Lu Ming would be able to fight the God's Son in 3 years, many people remembered the name Lu Ming. 3 days later, the flowing element gloves were refined by Lu Ming. With a thought, the flowing element gloves turned into liquid and wrapped around Lu Ming's right palm. As Lu Ming injected his true yuan, the flowing element gloves became heavier and heavier. In the end, even Lu Ming's arm was trembling slightly. So heavy, so heavy. Coupled with the primal chaos domain and the hell-suppressing heaven skill, how terrifying would the power of this punch be? Lu Ming's eyes were filled with anticipation. He couldn't wait to find an expert to test it out. With a thought, the flowing element gloves seemed to come alive and burrowed into Lu Ming's skin, disappearing without a trace. With a thought, it would reappear again. It was very convenient to use. It's time to leave, Lu Ming muttered under his breath. There were still 5 days before the start of the treasure sorting assembly, but Lu Ming planned to leave and return to the Dragon God Valley to cultivate in seclusion. After all, he had seen the strength of the God's Son, Zifeng, Wang Jian, and the rest of the top 10 prodigies of Tsang State. There was no point in staying and watching the treasure sorting assembly. It was better to seize the time and cultivate. For Lu Ming, time was the most important thing. Lu Ming got up and walked out to find Tian Shui. "Junior brother, you're leaving?" Tian Shui asked in surprise. "Yes, I came to the treasure sorting assembly to see the strength of the top 10 prodigies of Tsang State. Now that I've seen it, there's no point in staying any longer. So, I plan to return to the Dragon God Valley." Chapter 1555. "Oh, in that case, junior brother, I'll lend you my sky-piercing flying shuttle," Tian Shui said. "There's no need. I already have the sky-piercing flying shuttle." Mo He and the others contributed many good things. Lu Ming smiled faintly and took out 2 holy weapons, returning them to Tian Shui. "Say goodbye to 8th senior sister for me." Lu Ming cupped his fists and soared into the air, flying out of the Tsang Mountain. After leaving the range of the Tsang Mountain, Lu Ming waved his hand, and the sky-piercing flying shuttle appeared. It rapidly expanded until it was 100 meters long. The doors opened and Lu Ming entered the sky-piercing flying shuttle. This sky-piercing flying shuttle was very similar to Tian Shui's, and its grade was about the same. They were both low-grade sky-piercing flying shuttles. The higher-grade sky-piercing flying shuttles were faster, but they were shockingly expensive. Ordinary people could not afford them. After Lu Ming put away the origin stones, he determined the direction of the Divine Dragon Valley and drove the sky-piercing flying shuttle. Whoosh! The sky-piercing flying shuttle turned into a beam of light and disappeared, quickly flying in the direction of the Divine Dragon Valley. As for Lu Ming, he sat cross-legged in the sky-piercing flying shuttle and took out a jade bottle. The jade bottle contained the rewards of the treasure-peddling meeting, the 4 Emperor Domain pills. Even with the sky-piercing flying shuttle, it would take about half a month to return to the Divine Dragon Valley. He could use this time to cultivate and refine the 4 Emperor Domain pills. Lu Ming poured out an Emperor Domain pill and swallowed it. Boom. After the Emperor Domain pill entered his stomach, it immediately turned into surging energy. What a strong energy. It is more than 10 times stronger than the Emperor Domain fruit. Lu Ming was not shocked. Instead he rejoiced. The Emperor Domain pill was indeed a pill that could raise a mid-stage martial monarch's cultivation by 1 layer. Its medicinal effects were shocking. It was refined with 9 Emperor Domain fruits and other precious herbs. Following that, Lu Ming focused and started to refine the medicinal energy. Time passed quickly and 7 days passed in the blink of an eye. In 7 days, Lu Ming refined the 4 Emperor Domain pills. Peak 5th layer martial monarch. Lu Ming opened his eyes and felt the vast and boundless energy in his body, and a look of joy appeared on his face. Within 7 days after refining the 4 Dominator pills, Lu Ming's cultivation had improved by 1 layer, reaching the peak of the 5th layer martial dominator realm. What others could achieve with just 1 Emperor Domain pill, Lu Ming had to use a total of 4 Emperor Domain pills to achieve. But Lu Ming was still very satisfied. His cultivation had increased by 1 layer, and it was unknown how much time Lu Ming had saved. This was something that could improve both his origin energy and domain. Now Lu Ming's chaotic domain had also reached the peak of level 5. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, if he participated in the treasure banquet, he could easily defeat a genius like Mo He. There was no need for him to use the primal chaos flipping sky seal. The treasure auction has already begun, right? Lu Ming's heart thumped. Then he shook his head with a smile and closed his eyes to consolidate his cultivation base. In the blink of an eye, another day had passed. Late at night, in the vast mountains, Lu Ming's space-piercing flying shuttle flashed across the sky like a meteor. Boom. Lu Ming was cultivating when the space-piercing flying shuttle suddenly shook violently. Someone is attacking the space-piercing flying shuttle. Lu Ming suddenly opened his eyes and looked outside through the crystal glass of the space-piercing flying shuttle. Above the pitch-black clouds, a few large hands came down from the sky and heavily bombarded the space-piercing flying shuttle. Rumble. The space-piercing flying shuttle shook violently as if it was about to explode. Then a large hand grabbed the 100-meter-long space-piercing flying shuttle and smashed it into a nearby mountain. Boom. The mountain shook and shattered, sending debris flying everywhere. Damn it. Lu Ming's eyes were cold. His body moved and he rushed out of the space-piercing flying shuttle. The space-piercing flying shuttle shrank rapidly and was put away by Lu Ming. In the pitch-black night sky, a dozen black figures appeared and surrounded Lu Ming. Kill? Without any superfluous words, one of them said coldly. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. More than a dozen terrifying sword lights stabbed toward Lu Ming at an astonishing speed. 7th layer martial royal realm, all of them are experts above the 7th layer martial royal realm. There are even some 8th layer martial royal realm experts. Lu Ming's eyes widened. These people were all experts. None of them were below the 7th layer martial royal realm. They were all high-level martial royal realm experts. Without any hesitation, the black feather wings appeared. With a flap, Lu Ming soared into the sky. Whoosh, whoosh. A few terrifying sword lights suddenly appeared above his head. 8th layer martial royal realm. The people who appeared above his head were all 8th layer martial royal realm experts. Who is it? Countless thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. Who wants to kill me? He had only told Tian Shui when he came out, but Tian Shui would not betray him. It was very likely that someone had been watching Lu Ming. As soon as Lu Ming came out of the Tsang Mountain, he had been targeted. The reason why they had only attacked now was that they were waiting for Lu Ming to lower his guard. They had also confirmed that there were no experts following Lu Ming and that Lu Ming was alone. Kill? Lu Ming roared. The divine sword art burst out and formed a terrifying soul attack toward the people above his head. However, the other party's body merely trembled slightly and he seemed to be fine. The sword gleam did not stop and he continued to charge toward Lu Ming. The divine sword art is useless. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. At the same time, the black dragon spear appeared in his hand and he thrust it forward. Whoosh! A ray of spear light destroyed a ray of sword light and directly pierced through a black-robed figure. The destructive power wiped out all the life force of that person. LV8 Martial Royal Realm expert was killed by Lu Ming. However, the other sword lights were already close to Lu Ming. The black wings flapped and blocked Lu Ming's body. Clang, clang. The sword light stabbed Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's body shook and he was sent flying. Whoosh. With the help of this force, Lu Ming performed the wind origin skill. The black wings flapped again and he rushed forward. Buzz. The black dragon spear swept out and turned into a 1,000-meter spear ray. A cultivator of the 7th Royal Martial Realm was hit by the attack. 13 streams of energy overlapped and his body exploded. The terrifying energy swept towards a second cultivator of the 8th Royal Martial Realm. That cultivator screamed in agony and was killed as well. With the black dragon spear in his hand, Lu Ming's attack was even more powerful. Even without the holy weapon, Lu Ming's cultivation was at the peak of LV5 Martial Royal Realm. It was not too difficult for him to kill an ordinary LV8 Martial Royal Realm expert. With the holy weapon, it was easy for him to kill an ordinary LV8 Martial Royal Realm expert. Lu Ming killed 2 people in a row. However, the other sword lights fell on Lu Ming. Lu Ming blocked with the black wings, but his body was also sent flying. After all, his opponents were LV7 and LV8 Martial Royal Realm experts. Although Lu Ming could kill those above his level, he could not deny their terrifying attack power. They were all high-level Martial Royal Realm experts and their attack power was absolutely terrifying. If the sword light fell on Lu Ming, even if Lu Ming did not die, he would be injured. Attack with all your strength. A voice was heard. Kill, kill. The sword light continued to stab at Lu Ming. However, some of them changed their swords to sabers and shouted. The terrifying saber light tore through the void and lit up the night sky, slashing at Lu Ming. This is the silent saber art. Chapter 1556. The intentionless saber art was the ultimate technique of the intentionless saber sect, one of the 13 top sects of the Tsang continent. There were people from the intentionless saber sect among them. However, there was no conflict between him and the intentionless saber sect. Why would the intentionless saber sect want to kill him? Also, who were the other people who used swords? The heavenly divinity sect, the heavenly demonic sect, or the poison desire sect? Lu Ming's mind was filled with thoughts, but he did not stop moving. A shield appeared and expanded rapidly, hovering behind Lu Ming. He then flapped his black wings. Lu Ming randomly chose a direction and dashed toward it at high speed. The black dragon spear continued to thrust forward, emitting a terrifying spear glow that penetrated the air and collided with his opponents. Bang! Bang! A deafening explosion took place in the sky. Lu Ming broke through the opponent's attack and pierced the dantian of an 8th-level martial emperor with his spear, killing him instantly. At the same time, the black feather wings were like 2 heavenly sabers. With a slash, 2 7th-level martial emperors were split into 2. Buzz! In front of him, a magnificent saber glow slashed toward Lu Ming, as if it could break the heavens and earth apart. 9th layer Martial Dominator Realm. Lu Ming's eyes widened rapidly. At that moment, Lu Ming was completely exhausted, thus he could not counterattack. He could only hold the black dragon spear in front of him. Dang! The saber glow struck the black dragon spear, causing it to vibrate vigorously. Lu Ming's figure was knocked backward. Behind him, a storm of attacks was launched. The sword glow and saber glow landed on the sacred weapon shield and knocked it flying. Lu Ming's body felt slightly numb, as he could feel the qi and blood in his body turning restless. There were too many experts, all of them at the advanced Martial Dominator realm. Sending so many people to kill Lu Ming was a sure kill move, as they were determined to take Lu Ming's life. There was nothing to be said, as this was a battle of life and death. Lu Ming let out a roar as a dragon's cry was heard from his body. Dragon scales appeared on the surface of his skin. At the same time, the 3rd bloodline appeared, causing a force to surge into Lu Ming's body, causing Lu Ming's strength to grow stronger. Kill. The black wings on Lu Ming's back flapped wildly, bringing about gusts of wind. In a flash, Lu Ming's figure rushed to the rear. The black dragon spear swept out with the power to sweep away 1,000 soldiers. Lu Ming killed the 2 7th-level Martial Emperor experts who were dashing toward him at high speed. Kill. 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 Lu Ming used his black feather wings and shield to protect himself. With the black dragon spear in his hand, he used all his strength to kill his way into the crowd. The 13 accumulating power strikes was simply too powerful. Combined with the power of a sacred weapon, an ordinary 8th-layer Martial Dominator would not be able to withstand it, let alone a 7th-layer Martial Dominator. With his long spear, Lu Ming seemed to have transformed into a killing machine, constantly reaping lives. Of the dozen or so experts, only a few were left after being killed by him. Of course, he had also been struck many times. However, with the protection of the Saint weapon shield and the black feather wings, as well as his freakish dragon god battle physique, he had not suffered any serious injuries. However, at this moment, several figures appeared in the dark night. This time there were 20 to 30 people, all of whom were high-level martial dominators. So many experts, they really think highly of me. Lu Ming's eyes were cold. It was shocking to see such a terrifying force being sent out at once. Kill? Kill. 6 figures stepped out, unleashing terrifying auras. They were all 9th layer martial dominators. Swish. Below him, a terrifying sword ray was launched at Lu Ming. It was another 9th layer martial dominator. Get lost. Lu Ming bellowed as he executed the 9-dragon sky stomp. He took 9 consecutive steps and 9 dragons danced in the air, charging toward the person below. Boom. The sword ray collided with the 9 dragons, producing a terrifying explosion. Following this, the sword ray shattered the 9 dragons and continued to slash at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's figure moved and he moved horizontally in one direction. However, there was still a 9th level martial emperor in that direction. There were 9th layer martial dominators in all directions. Kill. The black dragon spear swept out toward the 9th layer martial dominator behind him. So what if he was a 9th layer martial dominator? He would still kill him. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, even without a sacred weapon, he could fight against an ordinary 9th layer martial dominator and even kill him. With a sacred weapon he was even more fearless. Clang. The black dragon spear collided with the opponent's saber. The opponent's body shook violently and he was sent flying. Kill. Lu Ming targeted this and continued to charge toward the other party. The black dragon spear became 1,000 meters long and pressed down on the opponent. Boom. The opponent tried his best to resist, but he could not stop it. He spat out mouthfuls of blood and was sent flying. However, Lu Ming used the wind origin skill and chased after the opponent. Let's attack together. A cold voice was heard as the other 9th layer martial dominators charged at Lu Ming. Their terrifying attacks knocked away the sacred weapon and shield. Some of the attacks landed on the black wings, causing Lu Ming's body to shake violently. However, Lu Ming's eyes were still firm as he stared at one of the opponents and charged at him. Another spear thrust out and that person spat out mouthfuls of blood. His arm was broken. Whoosh. In the end, Lu Ming threw the black dragon spear out. The black dragon spear pierced through the air like a black lightning bolt. It contained the terrifying power of the 13th strike and suddenly exploded, piercing through the 9th layer martial dominator. A terrifying force vibrated and the 9th layer martial dominator's body exploded. Lu Ming suddenly turned around and threw a punch at one of the 9th layer martial dominators. The flowing element gloves appeared and he poured his true yuan into them. The flowing element gloves rapidly became heavier. Boom. This punch contained the power of the chaotic realm and the hell-suppressing skill. It was terrifyingly powerful and could destroy anything. When the fist collided with the opponent's battle sword, the Emperor's battle sword was unable to withstand the force and exploded. The terrifying fist energy bombarded the body of the cultivator of the 9th Emperor realm. He screamed in agony as his body was pierced through and exploded. In an instant, 2 9th layer martial dominators were killed. His sacred weapon is too powerful. Some people were astounded. Even the 9th layer martial dominators were killed. Back off and kill him with your sacred weapons. Someone in the sky said coldly. A few 9th layer martial dominators backed off, but a few others stepped forward. Their auras were also 9th layer martial dominators. There were too many experts. There were more than 10 9th layer martial dominators. Furthermore, the 9th layer martial dominators were even more terrifying as they all had sacred weapons. One of them had a blood-red pagoda floating above his head, emitting a terrifying aura. Another person held a battle blade in his hand. That battle blade was also a holy armament. The third person held an iron rod, which was also a sacred weapon. The fourth person had a mountain floating above his head, which was also a sacred weapon. The 4 9th layer martial dominators controlled 4 sacred weapons to seal off the area. Attack. The person in the sky gave the order. Kill. Chapter 1557. The power of a 9th layer martial dominator controlling a sacred weapon was too terrifying. Lu Ming did not dare to face the attack head-on, as he continued to dodge the saber glow. Will dispersing light. That person spat out this sentence coldly. That saber gleam actually split apart all of a sudden, biting Lu Ming's body tightly. No matter how fast Lu Ming was, he actually could not avoid that saber gleam. It's really the intentionless saber art. You guys are from the intentionless saber sect. Lu Ming let out a furious roar. He had seen the geniuses of the intentionless saber sect using the intentionless saber art at the treasure pedestal meeting. The person's eyes were cold and emitted a strong murderous intent, as the saber glow did not stop. Dang. Lu Ming blocked the attack with the sacred weapon shield and the black feather wings, but after being struck by the saber glow, his body shuddered violently and was sent flying like a cannonball. In the process of being sent flying, Lu Ming spat out a mouthful of blood. The power of a ninth-layer martial dominator controlling a sacred weapon was too shocking. Even with the protection of the sacred weapon, Lu Ming was still injured. Bang! Above him, a strong gust of wind was blowing, as a terrifying pressure pressed down on Lu Ming. A pitch-black mountain was pressing down on Lu Ming. Another expert made his move, also aiming a sacred weapon at Lu Ming. Bang! Lu Ming channeled his true energy into the flowing force gloves as he executed the heavenly art of suppressing hell and threw a punch at the small mountain. Bang! A shocking explosion took place as the small mountain was sent flying by Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming's body fell to the ground like a meteorite. Lu Ming spat out another mouthful of blood as his arm trembled slightly. Bang! An iron rod, which was thousands of meters long, swept toward Lu Ming like a pillar that could hold up the sky. Lu Ming used the black wings to protect his body. With a boom, Lu Ming was sent flying. He crashed into a huge mountain, causing it to crack. The ninth-layer martial dominator realm was the peak of the martial dominator realm, granting him a terrifying strength. Previously, Lu Ming had managed to kill the two cultivators at lightning speed with the help of his sacred weapon, but it did not mean that a ninth-layer martial dominator realm cultivator was weak. On top of that, there were 4 ninth-layer martial dominators controlling the sacred weapons. Their combined strength was even more terrifying. Lu Ming was no match for them at all. Bubbles, let's go. Lu Ming called out Bubbles. Under such circumstances, the only way out was to retreat. It was unwise to fight head-on. As for Ming Lian's second body, Lu Ming had no intention of calling him out. Given the cultivation of Ming Lian's second body and the fact that he didn't have a saint artifact to protect him, he would only be killed if he called out. Chirp chirp, the bubble cried out and opened up a space-time tunnel. Lu Ming and Bai Yunfei rushed in. However, at the next moment, Lu Ming seemed to have knocked into a wall and his body was blocked. The space-time tunnel had lost its effect. Buzz. Inscriptions appeared in all directions. Over 10 black-robed cultivators stood in different directions. Each of them had a formation disc floating above their heads, sealing off the space. Such a meticulous plan. Lu Ming's heart turned cold. It was obvious that the enemy was serious about killing them, as they had taken all of Lu Ming's trump cards into consideration. They also knew that Lu Ming had Bubbles with him, allowing him to escape using the space-time tunnel. The enemy had already set up a space-sealing formation to seal off the space. Even Bubbles would not be able to escape. It was not that Bubbles' space-time domain was not powerful enough, but that Bubbles' cultivation was too low, while the enemy's cultivation was too high. Bubbles had no chance of escaping with the help of the formation. Take down the space-time spirit mouse. The black-robed cultivator in the sky spoke once again. Buzz. 12 black-robed cultivators stepped forward with formation discs floating above their heads. They sealed off the space and surrounded Bubbles. Boom. At this moment, a huge pagoda came crashing down on Lu Ming. The attacks of the 4 experts arrived again. Flapping his black wings, Lu Ming dashed forward at lightning speed, not wanting to collide with the huge pagoda. However, what greeted him was a terrifying saber light. The 4 experts controlled their sacred weapons and attacked together, not giving Lu Ming any chance to catch his breath. There was no way to avoid it. Lu Ming threw a punch. The shadow of the prison-suppressing monument was faintly discernible. Boom. The fist collided with the saber light. Lu Ming destroyed the saber light, but his body was also sent flying. The 12 black-robed cultivators sealed off the space and surrounded Lu Ming, trying to suppress Lu Ming in the space. Fight. A fierce look flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. The third bloodline continuously poured energy into Lu Ming's body. Not enough, more. Lu Ming roared in his heart, madly borrowing the power of the third bloodline. The power in the third bloodline seemed to be endless. As the power crazily poured in, Lu Ming's body exploded with a terrifying killing intent. Lu Ming's eyes turned blood red and so did his hair. It was as if he was bleeding. At this moment, the huge pagoda came crashing down. Get lost. Lu Ming punched out. Dong. A terrifying sound was heard and the sky trembled. The huge pagoda was sent flying by Lu Ming. Lu Ming's body trembled and he stepped on the void, retreating more than 10 steps. However, he still managed to block it, unlike before when he was sent flying and vomited blood. Boom. A huge iron rod swept toward Lu Ming from one side, accompanied by a loud rumbling sound. Everything in its way was about to be smashed into smithereens. Lu Ming punched out again and it collided with the huge rod. Buzz. The huge rod kept vibrating, and it was sent flying by the terrifying power. However, Lu Ming was the same, and he was sent flying 1,000 meters, creating a passage of air waves in the sky. However, in the sky, a small mountain came crashing down on Lu Ming. The four of them joined forces and their attacks seemed endless. Not enough, still not enough, more, more, more. Lu Ming roared and he threw caution to the wind. The power of the third bloodline poured into Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's body swelled because of the terrifying power. His hair was blood red, and his eyes were like a demon from the abyss of hell. Kill? Lu Ming roared, and endless killing intent, together with the divine sword art, spread out in all directions. Although these people had already prepared for the divine sword art's defense, the endless killing intent still made them shiver and their hearts tremble. Boom. Lu Ming punched the small mountain above his head, and this time, Lu Ming's body did not move at all. Kill? Lu Ming stomped his foot, and with a swoosh rushed out, and rushed towards the person who was controlling the divine weapon. The other party's true yuan boiled, and he slashed out a terrifying saber light. Lu Ming's punch directly shattered the saber light, and he rushed towards the other party at an extreme speed. The terrifying killing intent shrouded the other party, and his face turned pale. Splitting light with a thought, saber breaking the firmament. The divine sword vibrated, and in an instant, it slashed out hundreds of times. However, the hundreds of saber lights eventually condensed into 9. The 9 saber lights connected head to tail, and they continuously slashed towards Lu Ming. The terrifying saber intent constantly cut Lu Ming's body. However, it was blocked by a layer of terrifying energy on Lu Ming's body. Bam. Bam. Chapter 1558. Kill? The iron fist punched out, causing the void to tremble violently. The other party's expression changed drastically as he used the sage saber to block. Clang. The other party was sent flying and crashed into a mountain peak, vomiting blood. Lu Ming stepped forward, wanting to rush up and kill this person. Die. Suddenly, a loud shout came from the sky. A black light flashed, and an invisible force bombarded Lu Ming's spiritual deity. The defensive armor on the spiritual deity shone and blocked the attack, but it kept trembling. A soul attack. Lu Ming's heart trembled. At this moment, buzz, buzz, buzz. Around him, at least a dozen people attacked at the same time, using soul attack techniques to attack Lu Ming. Lu Ming's spirit deity was shaken. These people were all high-level martial emperors, and one of the soul attacks belonged to the person who gave the order. It was terrifyingly powerful. If not for Lu Ming's powerful soul and the spiritual deity's defensive treasure, his soul would have been destroyed. This is the divine sword art. You are from the evil spirit sect. Lu Ming roared. He finally knew who the other party was. The evil spirit sect. They were definitely from the evil spirit sect. They were not from the heavenly divinity sect, the heavenly universe demon sect, or the poison desire sect, but from the evil spirit sect. The evil spirit sect had targeted him. More than a dozen experts attacked Lu Ming with soul attacks. At this moment, the attacks from the pagoda, the small mountain, and the giant rod also arrived. Brr. Lu Ming roared like a wild beast. More energy surged into his third bloodline, filling Lu Ming's heart with endless killing intent. His mind was almost drowned by the endless killing intent. Boom. He sent the giant iron rod flying with a punch. Then, his black wings flapped crazily and bombarded the small mountain and the pagoda, sending them flying. Then he took a step forward and charged toward the expert who was controlling the saber. Let's go. The expert was shocked and wanted to escape, but his body stiffened when Lu Ming's terrifying killing intent enveloped him. Lu Ming flew over. His black wings were like blades as he killed this person. Lu Ming grabbed the saint artifact, and with a flap of his black wings, he charged towards the expert controlling the small mountain. From all directions, soul attacks continuously rushed towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming forcefully withstood the soul attacks and charged forward. Clang. The holy saber slashed down at the other party who used a small mountain to block, but the small mountain was sent flying. The other party's face was pale as he quickly retreated. On the other side, the huge pagoda charged towards Lu Ming, wanting to rescue the cultivator controlling the small mountain. Whoosh! Lu Ming threw out the holy blade in his hand to block the pagoda. Lu Ming's figure did not stop as he continued to attack his opponent. With a punch, the other party was unable to recall Xiao Shan in time and could only block it with his own strength. However, in Lu Ming's current state, his strength was astonishing. The opponent's spirit weapon was directly torn apart by Lu Ming's punch. The terrifying fist force killed the opponent in the air. Retreat, retreat. The other two were shocked. They did not dare to get close to Lu Ming and frantically retreated. Lu Ming's current state was too terrifying. He was completely like a legendary bloodthirsty demon, extremely terrifying. I'll do it. At this moment, the black-robed man who had given the order in the sky moved. He took a step forward and unsheathed his sword. A beam of sword light instantly crossed the void and slashed towards Lu Ming. It was fast, extremely fast. Moreover, the terrifying pressure made even Lu Ming almost drown in the endless killing intent. He was shocked. The sword light reached Lu Ming's throat in an instant. It was going to cut off Lu Ming's head. This was a half-saint with 1 foot in the saint realm. It seemed that there was only 1 level difference between a half-saint and a 9th-level martial royal realm, but the combat strength of a half-saint was much stronger than that of a 9th-level martial royal realm. It was easy for a half-saint to kill a 9th-level martial royal realm person. At this moment, Lu Ming let out a loud roar. At the critical moment, he moved to the side. In the end, Lu Ming's chest was still swept by the sword light. The genuine vitality, the chaotic field, and the dragon scales on his skin were directly cut open, revealing a deep sword wound. Even his bones were broken and blood flowed out. At the same time, the terrifying sword chi kept drilling into Lu Ming's body, trying to destroy Lu Ming's physical body. There was no doubt that the weapon used by the black-robed man was also a holy weapon. Otherwise, it would not have such terrifying power. The black-robed man did not kill Lu Ming. The black-robed man's sword light turned again and slashed towards Lu Ming's waist. The black-robed man flapped his wings and swept towards Lu Ming. Clang. The sword light cut the black-robed man's wings. The black-robed man's wings vibrated violently. A terrifying force bombarded Lu Ming. Lu Ming flew backwards and smashed into a mountain, breaking it apart. There was a loud explosion. The next moment, Lu Ming's body flew out from the rubble. A 5th-level martial royal realm person has such strong vitality. No wonder the elder asked us to send so many people. This person must be killed as soon as possible. Lu Ming's tenacity made the black-robed half-saint feel a little dignified. He stepped out and turned into a beam of sword light, attacking Lu Ming. The terrifying sword power made Lu Ming's hair stand on end and his muscles tense, even though he was far away. It's the power of the Dharma. Lu Ming let out a low growl. The black-robed man was obviously a half-saint who had mastered the Dharma. He was extremely powerful. There were strong and weak half-saints. A half-saint who had mastered the power of the Dharma was absolutely terrifying. The sword light approached Lu Ming in an instant. Chirp, 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 chirp. Chirp. A transparent bubble suddenly appeared above the black-robed half-saint and enveloped him. However, the black-robed man's body was almost unaffected. The sword light burst out and directly broke the transparent bubble. Space-time spiritual mouse, controlling time and space. Is really mysterious. Unfortunately, it's too weak. The black-robed half-saint said in a hoarse voice. 2 black beams of light shot out from his eyes and pierced Lu Ming. Whoosh, whoosh. 2 black beams of light also shot out from Lu Ming's eyes. They used the holy sword skill at the same time. After the black beams of light collided, the black-robed half-saint directly defeated Lu Ming's. The sword light did not stop and continued to attack Lu Ming. The black-robed man was a half-saint who also practiced the holy sword skill. His soul power was stronger than that of an ordinary half-saint. Even though Lu Ming's soul power was dozens of times stronger than that of a martial artist at the same level, he was still weaker than the black-robed man. Chirp, chirp, chirp. The black-robed man swung his sword and shattered the chirp. Chirp, 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 chirp. Break. Chapter 1559. The black-robed half-saint slashed Bubbles' body with his sword. Bubbles' body shattered like glass. It was a spatial afterimage. Bubbles' real body had appeared on the other side of the black-robed half-saint. With a wave of his claws, the space-time domain enveloped the opponent. On the other side, Lu Ming's black feather wings flapped and slashed towards the black-robed half-saint like 2 blades. At the same time, his genuine vitality rushed into the flowing energy gloves and punched his opponent. Whoosh, whoosh. Facing the joint attack of Lu Ming and Bubble, the black-robed half-saint's face did not change at all. His sword radiance bloomed and he slashed twice. The first slash broke Bubble's spacetime domain. The second slash blocked the attack of the black feather wings and hit Lu Ming's fist. Boom. Lu Ming's fist seemed to have hit a terrible force. Lu Ming's body shook violently and he was sent flying. At the same time, a strong force passed through the flowing energy gloves and blasted into Lu Ming's body, causing Lu Ming to spurt blood. The power of the Dharma. Lu Ming was shocked. The power of the Dharma was too strong. The Dharma was the foundation of heaven and earth. A world was made up of different Dharma. Its power was far stronger than a domain. No matter how mysterious Lu Ming's chaotic domain was, it was still a domain. It could not withstand the erosion of the Dharma. Unless in the future, Lu Ming could transform the chaotic domain into the chaotic law. Then it could suppress other Dharma. Chirp chirp. Bubble screamed and performed the spacetime domain. His body flashed around the black-robed half-saint and he attacked continuously. The black-robed half-saint could not attack him at all. Get lost. At this time, the black-robed half-saint seemed to be really angry with Bubble. He shouted coldly and a terrible aura burst out from his body. A terrifying true essence, like a black demonic flame, was burning fiercely, bombarding in all directions. The black-robed half-saint burst out his strong genuine vitality and crushed it in all directions. As such, Bubble was unable to dodge and was sent flying by the surge of true essence. Suppress him. The black-robed half-saint's cold voice sounded. Buzz. The 12 black-robed men controlled the formation plate and suppressed the bubble, sealing the void. Boom. The black-robed half-saint used his powerful vital essence to blast the bubble into that area. The 12 black-robed men controlled the formation plate and sealed off the area, trapping the bubble in the void. Chirp chirp. Bubble screamed and used the spacetime domain wanting to rush out. However, the void seemed to have turned into an iron wall. It was completely sealed and Bubble couldn't rush out at all. Let him go. Lu Ming roared and flapped his black wings, rushing towards the 12 black-clothed men. Kill. The black-robed half-saint slashed horizontally with his sword. The sword radiance was thousands of meters long. It hit Lu Ming and sent Lu Ming flying. Today none of you will leave. This place will be your burial ground. The black-robed half-saint said coldly. He took a step forward and became one with the holy weapon. He turned into a beam of brilliant sword light and stabbed toward Lu Ming's glabella. Fast, too fast. It was so fast that Lu Ming couldn't react in time. Moreover, a terrifying force locked onto Lu Ming, causing Lu Ming's muscles to tremble slightly. Whoosh. In an instant, the sword radiance approached. The terrifying sharpness pierced Lu Ming's glabella, causing pain. Brr. At the critical moment, Lu Ming roared. He reached forward with his right hand and grabbed the blade of the black-robed half-saint's holy weapon. Buzz buzz buzz. The holy weapon rubbed against the flowing element glove, making ear-piercing sounds and sparks. Although Lu Ming had grabbed hold of the sacred weapon battle sword, he was still pushing it forward slowly. With your cultivation, don't even think about grabbing my sword. Kill. The black-robed half-saint roared. His vital essence exploded and the holy weapon became stronger. It pushed Lu Ming back. Boom. After retreating for a while, Lu Ming crashed into a mountain. The entire mountain shook violently and almost exploded. Buzz buzz buzz. The sound of the sword rubbing against the glove became louder and louder. The sword was slowly approaching Lu Ming's glabella. Bang. Lu Ming's left hand was covered with dragon scales. It turned into a dragon claw and grabbed the blade, preventing it from moving forward. If this sword pierced through his glabella, the terrifying destructive power would erupt and he would definitely die. However, Lu Ming's left hand didn't have the flowing element glove. The blade of the holy weapon was so sharp that it directly cut through the chaotic field and vital essence covering his hand. It cut through the dragon scales on his hand. Lu Ming's hand was bleeding. His entire hand was almost cut off. Brr. Lu Ming ignored the pain and tried his best to stop the sword. You can't stop it. The black-robed half-saint kept urging his power. The force of the sword was getting stronger and stronger. Buzz buzz. On the other side, the 12 black-robed men sealed the void. The range was getting smaller and smaller. Bubble had nowhere to run and was about to be caught. Power, I need power, great power. At this moment, Lu Ming roared in his heart. His power was too weak. In the vast Yuan continent, his power was too weak. A martial emperor was like an ant. He desperately needed great power. He ignored the consequences and used the power of the third bloodline. If you want power, I'll give it to you. At this moment, a vast, deep, and ethereal voice sounded from the third bloodline. Boom. When the voice sounded, Lu Ming felt an explosion in his head. Then, his consciousness seemed to have entered the third bloodline. What entered his eyes was an incomparably huge and boundless sea of blood. The sea water seemed to be filled with endless blood. However, at this moment, the waves rolled and a face appeared in the boundless sea. It was a huge and boundless face. A pair of cold eyes looked at Lu Ming. "Power, I'll give it to you." The huge face opened its mouth and a voice sounded. Boom. At this moment, endless murderous intent drowned Lu Ming. At this moment, Lu Ming seemed to have sunk into endless darkness. Only endless power surged into his body. Puff, puff. At this moment, Lu Ming's hair was growing crazily. It was at least 2 meters long and it was dancing in the wind. Lu Ming's body was wriggling rapidly. In the end, hideous bone spikes grew out of his body. Lu Ming's eyes turned completely red. There was no trace of rationality in them. Brr. Lu Ming let out a roar like a wild beast. Kill, kill, kill. Lu Ming let out a loud roar and a terrifying power suddenly erupted. Clang. The power blasted into the holy weapon combat sword. The power passed through the combat sword and blasted into the arm of the black-robed half-saint. The black-robed half-saint's body shook violently. His arm exploded. He spat out blood and retreated. His eyes were filled with disbelief. "You, what kind of monster are you?" The black-robed half-saint roared in shock. Chapter 1560. Kill, 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 kill. Lu Ming roared. He had completely lost his mind. There was only one thing in his mind, which was to kill everyone, kill all the living creatures in the world. Swoosh. Lu Ming threw out the holy weapon in his hand. The holy weapon whistled and tore through the void. It was so fast that a LV-8 Martial Royal Realm expert was pierced by the holy weapon and died on the spot. Swoosh. The black wings were covered with a layer of blood-red light, which made them even more powerful. With one flap, Lu Ming appeared in front of the black-robed half-saint and clawed at him. The black-robed half-saint's pupils contracted and he quickly retreated. However, he soon found that it was useless. Lu Ming's claw was faster than his retreating speed. It clawed at his body. Then Lu Ming's other claw also clawed at his body. The half-saint's holy weapon armor was as fragile as paper. "No!" the black-robed half-saint screamed in horror. In the next moment, Lu Ming roared and tore the body of the black-robed half-saint into pieces. His spiritual spirit flew out in horror and was crushed into ashes by Lu Ming's foot. A half-saint who had comprehended the law was torn apart and killed by Lu Ming. "Kill, kill." Lu Ming roared. After killing one person, Lu Ming's killing intent became even stronger. Swoosh. With a flap of the black wings, Lu Ming rushed toward the 12 black-robed men who were imprisoning the bubble. "Imprison him." One of the black-robed men roared and tried to control the disc to imprison Lu Ming. Swoosh. Lu Ming's claw tore the space apart. The space shook, but it could not imprison Lu Ming at all. In a flash, one of the black-robed men was killed. After one of the black-robed men was killed, the formation that imprisoned the space was broken. The bubble seized the opportunity and flew out. "Kill, kill." Lu Ming roared continuously and his black wings flapped wildly. The other men in black were killed by Lu Ming one by one. They did not even have the chance to escape. Chirp chirp, the bubble flew toward Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming grabbed at the bubble as if he did not know the bubble. The bubble hurriedly used the space-time domain and retreated to avoid Lu Ming's attack. Chirp chirp chirp. Bubbles looked at Lu Ming from afar. There was a look of anxiety in her big black eyes. Brr. Lu Ming let out a beast-like roar and charged toward the others. "Not good. Run." When the rest of the people saw that Lu Ming had easily killed the half-sages, they did not dare to fight back. But at this moment, Lu Ming's body was filled with boundless power. The black wings were strengthened by this power. The power of the sacred weapon seemed to have been completely stimulated and its speed was terrifying. Lu Ming's body flashed and appeared behind the 9th layer Martial Royal Realm expert who was controlling the sacred weapon iron rod. "Go to hell." The black-robed man was terrified. He waved the sacred weapon iron rod in his hand and swept it toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming punched out and the sacred weapon iron rod was sent flying. The terrifying power flowed through the iron rod and into the black-robed man's hand, causing the black-robed man's palm to explode. Then Lu Ming's body flashed. The black-robed man could not fight back and was torn apart by Lu Ming. Then Lu Ming's body flashed and charged toward another black-robed man. With a wave of his hand, the black-robed man was killed. Then Lu Ming's body flashed continuously. Hunting and killing took place in the void. Lu Ming killed each black-robed man with one move. Screams echoed in the night sky. There were dozens of black-robed men, all of whom were above the 7th layer Martial Royal Realm. They fled in all directions. Lu Ming was like a demon chasing them everywhere. Half an hour later, Lu Ming caught up with the last black-robed man hundreds of thousands of miles away and killed him. This time all the black-robed men who had come to kill Lu Ming were killed. After killing so many black-robed men, Lu Ming's killing intent did not weaken at all. Instead it became even stronger. The cold killing intent made people shudder. Kill, kill, kill. Lu Ming roared. His heart was filled with endless killing intent. He wanted to kill everyone in the world. Chirp, chirp. Bubbles appeared not far away. She looked at Lu Ming with worry and fear, not daring to get close. Whoosh. Lu Ming suddenly looked at Bubbles. He flapped his black wings and charged toward Bubbles. Bubbles was shocked. She hurriedly used the space-time domain and retreated quickly. Lu Ming continued to chase, but after a while he realized that he could not catch up with Bubbles. He roared and flew into the distance. Bubbles' body flashed. She swallowed the black-robed men's holy weapons and storage rings one by one. Then she followed Lu Ming from afar, worried. Below his feet were boundless mountains. Lu Ming flew at high speed like a demon cutting through the night sky. In the forest below, some wild beasts and demonic beasts trembled when Lu Ming's murderous intent swept past them. They hid in their respective cave abodes, feeling extremely terrified. Lu Ming's blood-red eyes glanced at the forest below. He did not stop and continued to fly. It seemed that the beasts and monsters below were too weak for him to kill. Boundless mountains flashed past under his feet. A huge castle appeared in front of him. It was built on a towering mountain. There were guards around the castle. Brr. Seeing the castle, Lu Ming let out a loud roar that echoed in the night sky. Who's there? The guards of the castle immediately discovered Lu Ming. Kill? Lu Ming let out a roar and flapped his wings, dashing toward the castle. This is the Lu clan castle. Stop. The guard let out a roar but was killed by Lu Ming in the next moment. Lu Ming dashed past the guards, leaving more than 10 corpses on the ground. Enemy attack. The entire castle was startled. The sound of drums could be heard as experts flew out from the castle. 4th layer Martial Dominator Realm, 5th layer Martial Dominator Realm, and even 8th layer Martial Dominator Realm experts. These people flew out and charged toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming let out a roar and charged into the crowd. A moment later these experts were all dead. Demon? Someone yelled in terror and backed away. Close the gate and activate the formation. Someone in the castle yelled. Following this, the gate was closed and a formation was activated. Kill. Lu Ming charged toward the castle and threw a punch at the formation. Bang. The formation was shattered into pieces. Following this, Lu Ming dashed through the gate and blasted it open. Lu Ming charged into the castle and began a massacre. Demon? Run, run. The entire castle was in chaos as countless people fled in all directions. Demon, I'll kill you. A 9th layer Martial Dominator Realm old man dashed toward Lu Ming and was killed by Lu Ming with a single move. It seemed like the 9th layer Martial Dominator Realm was the strongest in the castle. The others were all below the 9th layer Martial Dominator Realm. Mother, mother, I'm scared. A childish cry could be heard from not far away. It was a 6 or 7-year-old girl. She was extremely cute and her little face was red. At this moment she was incomparably terrified. She was tightly hugging a young woman beside her. Xiang, Xiang. The woman hugged the little girl tightly and glanced at Lu Ming in terror, trying to back away. Roar. Chapter 1561. Mother? The little girl hugged the young woman tightly. Her big eyes were filled with fear and innocence as she looked at Lu Ming. Seeing this pair of eyes, Lu Ming suddenly stopped. This pair of frightened and innocent eyes seemed to have touched Lu Ming's heartstrings. Lu Ming, who had been completely drowned in killing intent, recovered a little. No, no, I can't kill the innocent. That little bit of reason roared. Kill, kill, kill. But more than that, it was endless killing intent. Loud roars rang in Lu Ming's mind, urging him to slaughter the world. Don't kill my mother. The little girl was very scared. She hugged the young woman tightly and looked at Lu Ming with her big eyes. No, I can't kill her. I can't kill her. Lu Ming roared in his heart. His face became extremely ferocious. Brr. In the end, Lu Ming let out a terrifying roar. His figure soared into the sky and flew crazily into the distance. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared without a trace. Xiang, Xiang. The young woman hugged the young woman. Tears fell like rain. Her body was trembling because of fear. Lu Ming roared. His black wings flapped crazily. At this moment, the only trace of reason in his heart was fighting an intense battle with the endless killing intent. Not far away, a white light flashed. Bubbles appeared and looked at Lu Ming worriedly. Bubbles, leave. Leave quickly. Lu Ming roared. He was afraid that once he lost control he would kill even Bubbles. Chirp chirp. Bubbles shook her head and looked at Lu Ming from afar. Lu Ming roared and continued to fly forward. He felt that he was about to lose control. The endless killing intent was about to drown his trace of reason. He was about to turn back into a killing machine. He was unwilling, but the endless killing intent was too strong. It was constantly attacking his reason. At this moment he only wanted to kill all the living beings in the world. Whoosh! Lu Ming flew through the air like a bolt of black lightning. After flying for an unknown distance, a huge forest appeared in front of Lu Ming. In the forest, fierce beasts roared and were full of vitality. Kill! Lu Ming could no longer control himself. He dashed into the forest and tore a giant tiger at the 7th level Emperor realm into 2 halves. Blood bathed his body. Lu Ming's killing intent became stronger. His trace of reason was once again drowned by the killing intent. Lu Ming crazily hunted fierce beasts in the forest. One by one the powerful beasts died in Lu Ming's hands. Brr! A giant bear at the level of half-saint slapped its paw at Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming punched the giant bear's paw directly. Then with a slash of the black wings the giant bear's head was chopped off. At this moment Lu Ming was extremely powerful. He could kill a half-saint instantly. In this huge forest, fierce beasts fell to the ground one after another. Lu Ming was bathed in blood and killed countless fierce beasts. At this moment, a gentle-looking old man suddenly appeared in the sky above the forest. This old man was Lu Ming's master, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. Ming. At the sight of Lu Ming, even the Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley was shocked. What kind of power is this? Bloodline? The Cloud Dragon Valley Master frowned. Chirp chirp. At this moment, Bubble appeared not far away from the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. It waved its little claws and cried out, gesturing non-stop. Spacetime Spirit Mouse. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master's eyes revealed a trace of shock again. He whispered, Minger is really lucky. Even the Spacetime Spirit Mouse is by his side. However, the more lucky one is, the more difficult it will be. After saying that, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master looked at Bubble and said, Don't worry, I won't let anything happen to Ming. After saying that, he took a step forward and headed towards Lu Ming. At this moment, Lu Ming also noticed the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. His eyes were filled with shocking killing intent. He roared and charged towards the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. The black feather wings flapped, bringing with it a violent wind as it slashed towards the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. The Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley had a gentle expression on his face. He used his fingers like a sword and pointed slightly. A sword aura appeared and slashed the black wings. The black wings were blocked. However, Lu Ming roared and threw a punch at the Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley. Ming, wake up. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master roared and the sound waves surged towards Lu Ming. Boom. Lu Ming felt like he was struck by lightning. His body was sent flying and he felt his head buzzing. I'll give you power. At this moment, the voice of the third bloodline sounded in Lu Ming's mind again. An even stronger power surged into Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's body became even more ferocious and filled with endless killing intent. Bam! Lu Ming took a step in the air and charged towards the Cloud Dragon Valley Master in a frenzy. The power of the bloodline. What kind of bloodline is this? Why is it so strange? The Cloud Dragon Valley Master frowned and pressed down with one hand. A huge palm appeared in the air and pressed down on Lu Ming. Lu Ming roared and a bloody light burst out from his body as he charged towards the huge palm. Boom! Lu Ming was pressed down by the huge palm and his body was sent flying. He smashed into the ground and created a huge crater. That giant hand trembled for a moment before collapsing. What a strong power! The Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley muttered and the vital essence in his body surged. Between heaven and earth, an extremely mysterious force was controlled by the Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley. Once again it formed a huge claw and grabbed toward Lu Ming. It was the power of the laws. This time the huge claw contained the power of the laws. Roar! Lu Ming roared and charged out of the crater. The bloody light around his body was almost solid as he charged towards the huge palm formed by the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. Boom! The heavens and earth trembled and a formless shockwave swept out in all directions. The huge trees within a few hundred miles were swept away and exploded. Such destructive power was extremely shocking. One had to know that this was the Yuan continent and not the Divine Wilderness continent. If they were in the Divine Wilderness continent, such a force would be able to crack the ground for thousands of kilometers and pierce through it. Once again Lu Ming was sent flying. However, the huge hand merely trembled for a moment and did not dissipate. It continued to move towards Lu Ming. Boom. Lu Ming charged forward again. Due to the strong power that had entered his third bloodline, cracks had appeared on his body and blood was flowing out continuously. After all, there was a limit to the strength of Lu Ming's body. He had already withstood too much power and could not inject more power into his body. Otherwise his body would collapse. Lu Ming punched the huge palm again and was sent flying once again. However, this time, a second palm formed behind him and grabbed Lu Ming. Lu Ming roared and struggled with all his might, trying to break free from the palm. Suppress. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master muttered. He clenched his fist and his power erupted, grabbing Lu Ming tightly. No matter how Lu Ming struggled, he could not break free. His cultivation was far inferior to the Cloud Dragon Valley Masters. Chapter 1562. Lu Ming roared as blood spurted out, shattering the layer of ice. However, more layers of ice covered Lu Ming's body. Gradually, the layer of ice on Lu Ming's body became thicker and thicker. In the end, it turned into a huge block of ice, sealing Lu Ming inside. Lu Ming's body was sealed in ice and he could not move at all. The terrifying cold air constantly seeped into his body and mind. It was as if it wanted to freeze his murderous aura. Then Valley Master Yunlong waved his hand and a bead flew out, floating above Lu Ming's head. Endless chill seeped into the block of ice and strengthened it. Chirp chirp. Bubble chirped as it flew near the block of ice with a worried and concerned face. Alright, I have suppressed Ming Er's killing intent with my sacred weapon. I will bring him back to the Divine Dragon Valley and place him in the 10,000 years Ice Jade. I will use the chill of the Ice Jade to erase Ming Er's killing intent. Little guy, follow me back to the Divine Dragon Valley. Valley Master Yunlong said. Bubble nodded and landed on Valley Master Yunlong's shoulder. Valley Master Yunlong waved his hand and kept the block of ice that sealed Lu Ming. He then took a step forward and left the place. Not long after, Valley Master Yunlong returned to the Divine Dragon Valley and placed Lu Ming in the 10,000 years Ice Jade. He used the Ice Jade's chill to erase the chill on Lu Ming's body. Time flew by and the days passed. Not long after, the treasure sorting assembly ended and the news of the treasure sorting assembly spread throughout the Tsang state. This time the Heavenly God sect was still the strongest and took the first place. The two ancient treasures were still in the Heavenly God sect's custody. The Heavenly God sect displayed even more terrifying strength in this treasure sorting assembly. The God's Son, ranked first among the top 10 monstrous talents, continued to take the first place and suppress the other monstrous talents. He stood at the peak of the younger generation in the Tsang state and was unrivaled. The most shocking thing was that a new supreme talent had appeared in the Heavenly God sect. He was terrifyingly strong and was only second to the God's Son. He took the second place in this assembly. Since then, the top 10 monstrous talents in the Tsang state were reshuffled and the Heavenly God sect took the first two places. The news of Lu Ming challenging the God's Son 3 years later was pushed to the forefront. There was news that after the God's Son, the God sect's son. Given the deity's talent and the fact that he had been a half-saint for so many years, it would not be too difficult for him to break through to the saint realm. 3 years later, in the face of the Son of God who had reached the saint realm, what did Lu Ming have to compete with him? Many people even said that it was impossible for Lu Ming to compete with the Son of God. This was because if he were to participate in the treasure pedestal meeting, he would most likely be killed by the demon who was ranked second in the celestial sect. However, the Dragon God Valley had suffered a great loss in this treasure ranking meeting. Many powerful geniuses had been killed by the celestial God sect. Even Zi Feng, one of the top 10 geniuses, had returned with serious injuries. Of course, Lu Ming was unaware of all these. In the blink of an eye, half a year had passed. Lu Ming had been frozen in the 10,000-year-old Ice Jade for half a year. On this day, a cracking sound could be heard from the 10,000-year-old Ice Jade. In the end, it cracked completely. Lu Ming opened his eyes after half a year. There was still a hint of murderous intent in his eyes, but it disappeared in a flash. Lu Ming withdrew it. Where am I? Lu Ming looked around. He found that he was in an underground ice cellar. There were ice cubes everywhere. There was a trace of confusion in his eyes. He only remembered that when he was attacked by the evil spirit sect, he had no choice but to borrow the power of the third bloodline. In the end, he was drowned by endless murderous intent and completely lost his mind. Later, because of a little girl, he regained a bit of his mind and rushed into a forest. He couldn't remember what happened after that. What happened after that? Ming, you're awake. At this time, a gentle voice sounded. An elder walked over. Master. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. The elder who came was his master, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. Master, were you the one who saved me? Lu Ming got up and bowed to the Cloud Dragon Valley Master as he asked curiously. I've left a mark on each of you, so I'll be able to sense your location within a certain range. Luckily, your location wasn't too far away from the Dragon God Valley, so I immediately rushed over as soon as I sensed it. If I was too far away, the consequences would be unimaginable. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master said. Lu Ming had a lingering fear. Indeed, if the Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley had not saved him, he would have been reduced to a killing machine from then on. In the end, he would have been besieged and killed by other powerful figures. Chirp chirp, at this time a cry sounded. A white light rushed out from the Cloud Dragon Valley Master's shoulder and flew into Lu Ming's arms. It was Bubbles. At this time, Bubbles was curled up in Lu Ming's arms. Its furry body rubbed against Lu Ming's body. Bubbles? Lu Ming stroked Bubbles' soft fur, feeling very apologetic. Back then he must have done something to Bubbles. Master, how long have I been asleep? Lu Ming asked. Half a year. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master said. Half a year. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He didn't expect that he would be asleep for half a year. My cultivation level. Lu Ming sensed his cultivation level and found that he had broken through. Back then he was at the peak of the 5th level Martial Royal Realm. Now he had broken through to the early 6th level Martial Royal Realm. He reckoned that he had digested some of the endless energy in his bloodline, and the energy in the 10,000-year ice jade had also entered his body, causing his cultivation level to break through naturally in the past 6 months. My chaotic domain has also reached the 6th level. Lu Ming thought to himself. Ming, what happened to you back then? Why did you enter a state of massacre? The Cloud Dragon Valley Master asked. Master, on my way back from Tsang Mountain, I was intercepted by the Evil Spirit Sect. Then Lu Ming recounted what had happened back then. The Evil Spirit Sect, it was actually the Evil Spirit Sect. It seems that the Evil Spirit Sect has really revived. Ming, perhaps because of your performance in Tsang Mountain, you have been targeted by the Evil Spirit Sect. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master's eyes were grave. I have been targeted by the Evil Spirit Sect? Lu Ming furrowed his brows. The Evil Spirit Sect specializes in hunting people with the potential to become Thearchs or directly hunting Thearchs. Perhaps they think that you have the potential to become a Thearch, so they send people to hunt you down. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master guessed. Maybe. Lu Ming muttered. However, he felt that it was not that simple. Perhaps it was related to the prison-suppressing monument bloodline. Back then, he had used the prison-suppressing monument bloodline to destroy Elder Demon Soul's physical body. Elder Demon Soul might not have died. Ming, so you entered that state of massacre entirely because of your bloodline? The Cloud Dragon Valley Master asked. Yes. Lu Ming nodded. I have never heard of such a bloodline. There is actually such a strange bloodline in this world. Ming, try not to use this bloodline in the future or even not. Chapter 1563. Lu Ming nodded. The third bloodline was simply too strange. He felt a lingering fear in his heart. In the third bloodline, the endless sea of blood and the huge face above the sea of blood. What exactly was that? How could there be such a strange bloodline in the world? It was completely different from the other bloodlines. Other bloodlines could not contain such terrifying power. Moreover, it seemed to have its own will. Ming, although I sealed you in the 10,000-year ice jade and used it to erase your killing intent, some killing intent has already seeped into the depths of your heart and soul. This is also a potential danger. In the future, you might be affected by this hidden killing intent and slowly change your personality, becoming a bloodthirsty person. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master said. Master, what should I do? Lu Ming asked. Go out and train. Walk in nature and train your heart. Use the chi of heaven and earth to erase the killing intent in the depths of your soul. Only then will you be able to get rid of the influence of the killing intent. It will also be of great help to your cultivation in the future. To become a sage, you need to control the laws. The laws are also in nature. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master said. Yes, Master. Lu Ming nodded. Go out and train for a year. After a year, return to the Cloud Dragon Valley and I will send you to a place. That place may be of greater help to you when you defeat the Divine Prince 2.5 years later. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master said. Obviously, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master already knew that Lu Ming had challenged the Divine Prince. Master, where is that place? Lu Ming was curious. It's a place filled with endless dangers, but it's also a place filled with endless opportunities. Before you go there, you must eliminate the killing intent in the depths of your spiritual deity. Otherwise, once you enter that place, it's very likely that you'll be affected by the killing intent and become a bloodthirsty person. When you return in a year, you'll naturally know. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master said. Lu Ming had no choice but to give up. By the way, Master, there seems to be an expert from the intentionless saber sect among the people of the evil spirit sect. Lu Ming suddenly said. Thoughtless saber sect? It looks like some sects have already been infiltrated by the evil spirit sect. Ming, I will discuss this with the Valley Master and the other sect masters. You don't have to worry too much. Alright, go out. Old 7, Old 8, I've been waiting for you for a long time. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master frowned, then smiled. Lu Ming nodded. That was related to the top sects of the Tsang state. With his current strength, he could only reveal the information. He couldn't do anything else. He believed that those sect masters would be more concerned about the evil spirit sect infiltrating the top sects of the Tsang state. There was no need for him to worry. Senior brother Tian Shui and senior sister Shui? Afterward, Lu Ming revealed a smile on his face. He followed the Cloud Dragon Valley Master out of the ice cellar and into a glacial valley. This was still a part of the Cloud Dragon Valley. Two figures were waiting outside. They were Tian Shui and Xuaningxin. Little junior brother, you're finally awake. It's great that you're fine. Little junior brother, you slept for half a year. When Tian Shui and Xuaningxin saw Lu Ming, they smiled. 7 senior brother, 8 senior sister, long time no see. Lu Ming also smiled. Then he looked around and said, Congratulations, senior brother and senior sister. You've broken through to the 7th stage Martial Emperor. In half a year, Tian Shui and Xuaningxin's cultivation had improved greatly. They had reached the 7th stage Martial Emperor and entered the ranks of the high-level Martial Emperors. If we don't hurry up, junior brother will catch up with us. Tian Shui laughed and said. You guys chat first. Ming, if you go out, you don't have to report to me. Just come back in a year. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master said and took a step forward. His figure disappeared. Little junior brother, let's go. We haven't seen each other for half a year. Let's go and have a few drinks. Tian Shui grinned. Lu Ming agreed happily. The three of them went to Tian Shui's cave abode. Tian Shui took out more than 10 jars of wine. Xuaningxin was very generous. She picked up a jar and drank it in one go. Junior sister, drink slower. I don't have that much wine for you to drink like that. Tian Shui said eagerly. Stingy. Xuaningxin glanced at Tian Shui with disdain. Tian Shui's face turned bitter. Lu Ming laughed and picked up a jar of wine. The three of them drank to their heart's content. After 3 rounds of wine, Lu Ming said goodbye to Tian Shui and Xuaningxin and strode out of the Cloud Dragon Valley. After a while, a beam of light cut across the void. Lu Ming stepped on the air and left the Divine Dragon Valley. Lu Ming did not take the sky-piercing flying shuttle because it was meaningless. Lu Ming did not have a goal for this trip. Just like what the Cloud Dragon Valley Master said, he wanted to walk in nature and use the chi of heaven and earth to eliminate the killing intent in the depths of his soul. Chirp chirp, in Lu Ming's arms, Bubbles cried. Then she opened her mouth and a long spear flew out from her mouth. Black Dragon Spear. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Back then, when he was surrounded by many evil spirit sect experts, Lu Ming had thrown out the Black Dragon Spear and killed one of them. Later he did not have time to retrieve it. It turned out that Bubbles had kept it. Lu Ming grabbed the Black Dragon Spear in his hand and kept it in his sea of consciousness. Thank you, Bubbles. Lu Ming patted Bubbles' furry little head. Bubbles cried softly and revealed a comfortable expression. Then she opened her mouth and 5 weapons flew out in succession. All of them were sacred weapons. A battle saber, a battle sword, an iron rod, a small mountain, and a pagoda. They were the sacred weapons that the evil spirit sect had used to kill Lu Ming. Haha, Bubbles, you're too awesome. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He waved his hand and kept the 5 sacred weapons. Then dozens of storage rings flew out of Bubbles' mouth. Needless to say, they were all storage rings left behind by those who had killed Lu Ming. Lu Ming was overjoyed and kept all of them. Then he took out all the spirit herbs inside and gave them to Bubbles. Bubbles held a ginseng that was even bigger than its body and chewed on it. Bubbles' cultivation is also improving very quickly. Lu Ming sensed carefully with a smile on his face. The Titan Longhorn Beetle had given Bubbles a time and space crystal back then. Bubbles used this time and space crystal to cultivate and improved very quickly. Lu Ming's flying speed was not fast. After leaving the Dragon God Valley's range, his speed became even slower. He did not have a goal and was moving casually. If he felt something or was deep in thought, he would stop. Sometimes, when he saw beautiful scenery, his mood would be broadened. He would also stop and enjoy the beautiful scenery to nourish his mood. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. That is, suddenly Lu Ming looked ahead and his expression changed. In front of him, on a towering mountain peak, sat a huge fortress. Lu Ming's thoughts couldn't help but return to half a year ago. When he was drowned in killing intent, he had killed his way into a castle. That castle was the one in front of him.